Let's proceed.
Not only that, you're replacing the original public open standard with your own version that
I think it is also more a video about legality stuff.
Someone else created. And
Second, hello, Shield Gamer, how are you?
There was a hidden third E
Look,
that they
you
didn't like to
double.
mention in public: extinguish. Because once you've extended
God damn it,
the old
what
standard with your
happened?
own proprietary
Are you okay?
additions, having effectively hijacked something that someone else had made, you now have control that you can use to extinguish the competition. By the way, that third E, extinguish, isn't just speculation on the part of Microsoft.
Find your halfway through the playlist. Don't you worry.
For obvious reasons, an investigation by the
Hey, I
US
won.
Department
You're
of
so
Justice
cute.
found that the motto
You know, I don't
"Extend,
mind
embrace,
if you guys send me
extinguish" was
huge
used in
playlists and
Microsoft
stuff, okay?
internal
I know some
communications.
of you
And
guys
consider
don't
that the
like
entire
it.
court case
Others
centered
people
around
want
the
to
fact that
see me do
Microsoft was
it.
allegedly
I don't know,
using
bro.
anti-competitive
I just want
practices to
everyone to
bar
be
other
happy,
companies from
okay?
competing with them. The fact that they were literally trying to extinguish the competition didn't work all that well in their
What
favor.
is that,
Pro tip, if you have a business strategy that's evil and illegal, try not to use words that make it sound evil and illegal. And then don't use it in company emails, you doof. The Microsoft example is a bit technical, but it's easy to see
I don't know
examples
what
of a similar
happened with
strategy
Microsoft
used in
and
the
some other.
entertainment world if you
Wait.
look at Disney. Rather than creating their own original stories, they began by embracing folk tales and
True.
classic stories in the public domain, like Sleeping Beauty, Beauty and the Beast, Cinderella, and The Little Mermaid. No problems there. They were open and available for anyone to use. Then they extended these classic fairy tales by creating their own animated versions of these stories with their own spins on them. But then they effectively extinguished competition by replacing the original work with their own. And
No,
when it comes
bro,
to
it
protecting their
doesn't
own
work
characters
like
and
that.
copyright, Disney is fiercely controlling. Unlike Microsoft, Disney has managed to do this without breaking any laws. Technically speaking, they just lobby to change the copyright laws. Mickey Mouse is
Oh
a
my God.
92-year-old character at this point, should technically be in the public domain by now, except for the fact that the laws seem to mysteriously change every time his copyright is set to expire. Strange coincidence, huh? Couldn't possibly have anything to do
that's
with the millions
weird.
of
It
dollars that
shouldn't be
Disney's spending to
available.
lobby Congress every time it happens, could it? Nah. There is some serious irony in the fact that Disney has worked so hard to prevent their characters from entering the public domain, despite the fact that they began as a company by creating their own versions of classic public
It's
domain
kinda bad,
stories.
you know?
And in many cases, Disney's versions of these stories have effectively replaced the originals in the public consciousness, which I gotta say is a shame considering I personally want to re-experience the original Little Mermaid's ending, where, you know, she's given a dagger and has to choose to murder the prince or herself, and the Red Sea at sunset is actually the result of her blood pouring out into the water. Yep, that is the original story. Can't imagine
Bro, I
why
have
people
to
would prefer the
read
Disney
that.
version. Anyway, it's
Jesus.
not all that surprising that you go to the books section of Amazon and search for
Okay.
classic fairy tales like Cinderella. The first thing that pops up is a Disney coloring book. Disney's worked really hard
it's
to
a
make sure
coloring
that
book.
their version of the
And
story
it's
is
cheap,
the
actually.
only version of the story that matters. So is Scott Cawthon guilty of doing the same thing here? Funding fan projects might seem like a generous gesture, but is this really part of his plan for world domination? Well, the short
I don't
answer
know.
here is no. In fact, while his strategy
so
might at first
cute.
appear to have some superficial similarities with the behavior of Microsoft in the 90s, you can actually argue that he's doing the exact opposite of the business
That's cute.
practices that we see from companies like Microsoft and Disney. And this applies to basically every step in the process. For instance, Microsoft worked by embracing public standards or products that other people had created.
Oh,
and
look, it's a
Disney
penguin.
worked by embracing fairy tales and folk stories from the public domain. They were effectively targeting things that other people had created. But here, Scott is honing in on what's effectively his territory to begin with. Scott's own work is the foundation on which these fan creations were made. They exist with his blessing. This is something that we talked about in our FNAF fan art video from last year, but the long and short of it is that while Scott doesn't have the rights to publish work created by fans without their permission, fans don't have the rights to publish work based on his characters without his permission. All the fan creators are working with Scott's blessing, but ultimately it's his characters and intellectual property to do with as he pleases. He's not capturing someone else's folklore and planting his flag in it to claim ownership over it. His flag was already there to begin with. And what's more, he's doing this with the full consent of the fan creators, which brings us to the second E, extend. Rather than trying to extend these fan works for himself in a way that would allow him to claim creative ownership over them the way that Microsoft did, he's leaving the power in the hands of the fan creators and letting them be the ones wants to extend their own fan lore. And lastly, the third E, extinguish. Once again, it feels like Scott's doing the opposite of the original EEE strategy. Rather than trying to quash other creators so that the only thing left in the space is his original FNAF games, the entire point of this initiative is to include and promote other creators who can offer their fan games as an alternative. Not satisfied with only 7 official FNAF games? Here, check out what other people have made. And now,
it's a way of checking out other games and stuff.
Scott Cawthon has given them the development resources to make it happen. So, yeah, I think that far from being an example of a monopolistic business trying to control everything, this is an example of the opposite. Rather than being overprotective with his IP and issuing a cease and desist to anyone who tries to create their own fan game or spin on his creation, Scott is doing the opposite. He's giving the fan community's biggest developers even more resources, all while letting them have control over their own products. If all of this is starting to sound like one big puff piece and you're feeling ripped off that you got this far into a video without any tea being spilled, sorry, the drama you're looking for is in another castle. Because this, to me, feels like the future of the game industry. In the internet age, this age of social media, we are a culture of remixers. We meme, we take other people's creativity, we build upon it.
I'm not like that, bro. I don't take other people's creativity.
Via fan fiction. And that is something that should be welcomed, embraced.
But okay.
If your product is important enough in someone's life that they want to develop their
one thing is comparing me, it's okay, one thing is accusing me. Bro, imagine.
That is a compliment. You hire them. You bless their work. You be a mentor to them. Whatever it is. I can't help but think about Sonic Mania, which was created by a team known for their work in the Sonic fan game and
oh my god, look at that animation, it's great!
Gave them the keys to the kingdom to produce what's probably the best canonical Sonic game in recent history. Now contrast Scott and Sega's behavior with Nintendo, banning Twitch live streams for games that were paid for and played on release day, shutting down fan games because they were worried about competing with their own products, shutting down tournaments run by people that are still really passionate about a multiplayer game that was originally released back in 2001.
Guys, I got something for you.
Sorry to pick on you, Nintendo, but I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't think it was deserved. These are bad moves. When games like Pokemon Uranium or another Metroid 2 remake come out, you just kill them. You stomp on them. What could be and are in many cases fully fleshed out games made by creators who spent years putting them together out of a love for your work. You put them through a shredder.
Wait a moment,
congratulations, you protected your IP, but you killed the love of your community in the process. And from a purely financial standpoint, heck, you could have just embraced those projects. Could have hired those people on, you polish them up a little bit, you had 2 quick and easy money makers. If you're thinking about it from just the pure cold-hearted dollars and cents, that is money you left on the table. Period. I'm sorry. Times have changed. Industry needs to change with them. With so many scummy, exploitative, and downright crummy business practices that exist within the gaming industry, it can be easy to lose sight of the positive stories. But it's not only Nintendo that are doing it right.
You know, it's other companies, bro.
Examples of how some companies are able to succeed by doing the right thing. Maybe we can
I have a game that was on originally My Little Pony game, a fan game, okay, and that's where, you know, did stuff. So it's now based on horses. Okay, it's not My Little Pony.
The Fazbear
It's a fighting game.
Is a great example of what can happen when fans love a game franchise, and the franchise is willing to love them back. I just wish more people were paying attention. But hey, that's just a theory.
FNAF Cinematic Universe.
Thanks for watching.
Well, I guess that's true. Ooh, ambience. You know, but, my love plays a game called Nightmare Cart. It was based on Bloodborne, you know. And the guy just straight out made a warning to them. What's the problem when people create stuff? The thing is, if they're not winning money with that, what's the problem, you know? It's free.
What did you do today, Jay? I went to the movies. We watched.
But if it was selling stuff, it's a problem. But it's not. It's free.
Spilled my popcorn everywhere. Did you do that, Jake? Were you there?
What is happening?
Jake. Then I went to the arcade. I ate a bunch of pizza there. I got red tomato sauce all over my mouth and more red on my clothes. There were so many other kids there.
Now it's time. What?
I love you, Jake.
Oh, what is that?
I love you. Open the cabinet, Jake.
Okay, it's good. Let's proceed.
Come over here. Open
Why is it blood there?
Open it. Open it. Open
Oh my god.
Open the damn gate.
Well, why did you ask to open it if you could open it by yourself? That's kind of weird.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Game Theory, where
Game
today
Theory.
the theory is coming from you. That's right.
Really?
Just because we're all still waiting for Security
Okay.
Breach to release doesn't mean that FNAF theorists
no,
out
I
there
guess
have
it
been
already
twiddling their
released.
thumbs. In fact, the lack of a new game has prompted the community to go back and comb over all the pieces that were in place for us before. Pieces that we might have overlooked or missed the first time out. And it was this thorough re-review of the clues that prompted what may be the biggest fan theory to blow up in over a year. And that's saying a lot, since 2020 was full of us connecting massive pieces of this franchise.
Bro, I don't know, man. I
with the
wasn't
help
in
of
the
Fazbear's
FNAF
Sprites, throughout last
fandom
year's
there.
videos, we managed to
I still
pinpoint
not,
the year of
okay,
the
but
children's incident
I don't
as
know what
1985.
happened,
We
bro.
solidly connected Foxy Bro to Michael Afton. We even concluded the high likelihood that 2 spirits are trapped inside Golden Freddy, not just one. Our vengeful spirit Cassidy, as well as our Bite of 83 victim, the Crying Child. But have you ever noticed that that kid doesn't have a name? I mean, it's been 6
Yeah.
years since he was introduced into the franchise in FNAF 4, and we still don't have any hints as to what Crying Child's name might actually
Bro,
be.
those
when
tears
he's
are big.
experiencing literally any other emotion. Wait, is that Crying Child? But no, that's Happy Child, and that's Angry Child, and that's Confused Child, that's Apathetic Child, that is Passionate Child. Nope, not that one. Ooh, is that Emotionally Repressed Child? Hashtag relatable there. But really, take
Bro,
a moment to
what?
think about
Okay,
that. We
I
know
guess.
the puppet's name, Charlie, and her father, Henry.
Okay.
We know that baby was originally Elizabeth Afton. Purple guy / Springtrap is William Afton. Other
Okay.
purple guy is Michael Afton. There's the missing children's incident victims, Jeremy, Fritz, Susie, Gabriel, and Cassidy, the vengeful spirit, who is at least one of the things trapped inside Golden Freddy. I mean, there
Okay.
is a name for pretty much every single character in this franchise, except for this one kid. The one kid who, wouldn't you know, was
but what
also
about Balloon
important enough
Boy?
to have
Yeah.
the first on-screen
Balloon Boy
death
just
of the
there.
series.
Ah,
Feels
Jesus.
like we should probably be able to solve this one by now, right? Like,
Yeah.
we should probably have gotten a name for him somewhere along the line, or at the very least, the
Or
means
just
by
Craig
which to
Child.
solve for his name. The pieces have got to be in place for us, right? Well, today might just be the day where we solve exactly that. One
Okay.
Reddit user named Wolfie1740 Kingdom thinks that they've cracked the code to finally solve the final name of the FNAF mystery, to finally give the Crying Child, the Bite of 83 victim, a proper identity. So break out your
Lol.
tambourines, theorists,
Look at
because
tambourine,
it's
so
Morty
cute.
time. It's a theory review.
Morty?
Leave your theories in the comments below. I'll pick my favorites in the next episode of Morty.
Now, today's theory
Morty.
starts where all the best theories begin, dabbing Chica.
Yes!
That's right, folks, we're back to the most
Let's
important
go.
lore item in the whole franchise. Not any of the novels. Certainly not the games. Those are just afterthoughts at this point. Nope, it's back to the children's activity book,
Let's
FNAF
go.
Survival Logbook. In a
That-
past
that
FNAF
book
theory,
is
we had a huge
essential, I
revelation
guess,
about
for
how
every
this thing
theory.
works. Basically, there are 3 people present within this book. There's Mike,
Okay.
who's alive and always writes everything in red pen. There's Cassidy, who haunts the book and speaks in ghostly faded text. But there's
Okay.
a second spirit here, the Crying Child, who's forced to communicate by actually altering the words that are found in the book. The example that
Yeah.
proves it is right here. Cassidy says, "The party was for you," and the Crying Child responds on page 89 by altering the text of the book to read, "It was for me." We
Bro,
know FNAF
imagine
4's
if I
party
got that
wasn't for
book, I
Mike, and we
actually
know
would,
Cassidy wouldn't be saying this
solve
to
it as an
themselves.
activity
As such,
book.
it must be Crying
They
Child
should do really
acknowledging what
want it
Cassidy
just
is
an
saying.
activity
Same thing
book,
here on
normal
page
one.
59 with
It would be
Cassidy
cool.
asking, "What do you see?" And Crying Child answering on page 109, "I can't see." Again, altering the actual print of the logbook. So that alone was pretty huge, and it went a long way to supporting the theory
Yeah,
that
but
both
what's the
Cassidy
name?
and Crying Child possess Golden Freddy. And that alone would be pretty awesome. But it still leaves a major part of this book unsolved. You see, on
Why?
page 95, there's a loose thread that's never been tied up. One that
what
has
is that?
personally driven me crazy for years. It's a grid where you're told to draw an 8-bit Foxy. Just another random activity in this
Oh,
children's
so cute.
workbook, right? Wrong. The grid is numbered, and you can see in faint print that you're supposed to put letters into the squares, with the first few already being put in. So in
Okay.
our quest to solve Golden Freddy's name years ago, we collected the page numbers where the phrase "my name" appeared, we added them together per the instructions
Yeah,
given
I
in the
don't
book,
think- I
and then
don't
we
think
plugged
that
those
works.
coordinates into the Foxy alphabet grid to get the name Cassidy. Good game, everyone. Let's all treat ourselves to some orange slices and and give ourselves a pat
Oh,
on the
so
back
cute.
for solving another piece of the lore. Except, that's not how it worked. You can imagine my surprise and confusion when the numbers got plugged into not the alphabet grid that was clearly being telegraphed to us, but rather the word search.
Lol.
And apparently we were right to do that since
Calm
Scott
down.
Cawthon himself confirmed in his FNAF movie announcement the critical role that a child named Cassidy plays within the lore. But all of this still means one thing. The alphabet grid is awkwardly left completely unused, despite it obviously needing to be used to solve one of the mysteries within this book. And that's where Wolfie 1740 stepped in. In the book, there's one Cassidy question that's left hanging. On page 31, Cassidy asks, "Do you remember your name?" Of course he does. He's the crying child.
Yeah,
Crying child
best
his friends call him,
best
like,
name
victim for short.
ever.
Just rolls off the tongue. But seeing that the
Best
logbook
name
helped to solve for Cassidy's name, Wolfie suspected that it might also be helpful in solving this other name, using, you guessed it, the Foxy alphabet grid. What Wolfie noticed was that the crying child specifically uses the Knight's 4 and 5 shift rating questionnaires to speak with Cassidy. For the first 3 nights, the section reads as follows: overall, fulfillment, health, stress, purpose, hope, and existential dread. But on nights 4 and 5, you have other things mixed in here, like I'm scared, and it was for me. So Wolfie reverse engineered things, taking Bite Victim's answers and matching them to the page numbers where Cassidy asks the question. To quote from Wolfie's own post, the first one is I can hear sounds. The page it's responding to is 75, which says, does he still talk to you? And one trend to notice is that all 4 pages have a piece of blood on it. Next is it was for me, which is responding to page 103's question of the party was for you. Third is I can't see, responding to page 59's what do you see? And last is I'm scared, which stumped me, so I went off of what I already had. End quote. He then fully filled out the Foxy chart with alphabet, and going in the order that Bite Victim's answers appear, he followed the grid code to find the following 4 letters: E-V-A-N. Evan.
Oh my god, finally!
After 6 years, could it possibly be that Evan
finally,
is the name
bro,
of the crying child? I'm not sure. Or at least I'm not convinced off of this alone. Don't get me wrong, I don't think that this is a bad theory at all. Quite the contrary, in fact. Anything that tries to figure out the true purpose of that stupid Foxy grid is gonna get credit in my book. The problem here is the methodology. Throughout the book, Cassidy asks a lot of questions, but only 4 of them actually matter. Wolfie also points out the bloodstains, but there are bloodstains on a lot of the pages throughout this book, not just those 4. And even then, an answer like I can hear sounds to the question of does he still talk to you, it feels just a bit off. It's not very precise. You know, it feels random, arbitrarily trying to fit pieces together in a book that has been crafted to be anything but arbitrary. I mean, the Cassidy code alone required you to find 6 numbers, find a page that points to another page on what to do with those 6 numbers, and then translate all 6 of them into the word search. Multi-step puzzles like this have to be precise in order to work. And while the puzzle pieces in Wolfie's theory
I wouldn't solve this kind of stuff. Like, why?
You know, I mean, even Wolfie
but
admits
okay, I
that
guess
finding
people
the last
like it,
N
and
was a
that's
bit of
kind
a
of
stretch,
fun.
and it forced him to break
I
his
just
own
don't do it
methodology.
because
in fact,
I would
another Reddit user,
get very frustrated and stuff.
Godzilla3105, tried to correct for that to find the N in a different way. One of the other lingering threads of the book is a series of tally marks written by Mike that never quite add up to anything. They're never used, or at least their true use has never been discovered, but again, similar to the Foxy grid, they must mean something, right?
This is a waste of time, I don't know,
I
bro.
realize that there's a magazine Foxy is holding on the first page of night 1 that has 5-3 on it. When you add 5 and 3, you get 8. Then I took every single tally mark set in the book and added them together. I got this from the idea of how the whole quiz thing at the end of the shift says tally up your score. Putting all of these together gives you 47. 47 on the Foxy grid gives you the letter N. End quote. Again, it sounds good on paper, and I love the attempt to make sense of it all, but the why of it just doesn't line up for me.
Where is the why?
Add tally marks to this number on Foxy's magazine? How are those elements related? And why would they be connected to a completely different set of 3 numbers gotten from a completely different set of clues?
I don't know, bro. Don't ask me that.
The story just doesn't hold. Contrary to what Godzilla says in their post, there is no tally up your score at the end of those nightly surveys. Thus, the rationale rationale just doesn't hold up. In short, it all feels like we're convinced that we have a solution to the problem, and we're trying
Maybe
to back our
that's
way
not the
into how
name.
to get there. This is classic confirmation bias, where, as you conduct research, you try and find sources to justify your belief, or you retrofit the data to fit the conclusion that you're looking for. And I should know about confirmation bias, because lots of our theories over the years play with that very concept. Mario is a villain, provided you ignore all the times that he saves the kingdom. You play as the king in Hollow Knight, as long as you squint really hard during this one cutscene that might disprove that. For me, theories like those are all about telling a story, connecting dots that definitely exist within a game that flip your understanding of the plot, but also sometimes go against what is much more likely and probably much more intended by the developer. And the theories that I tend to focus on
I don't like Mario then. I like Luigi more, actually.
One or two tend to disprove it. They're just
I
meant
don't,
to be fun thought experiments,
after
I like
even before learning that, I liked it more Luigi. Luigi's
really
cuter.
Careful. While I love both of these posts, FNAF theories tend to be about trying to solve things.
I even have a t-shirt of Luigi.
And as a result, the methods by which we come to conclusions require more scrutiny. And here, the methodology of arriving at the name Evan just doesn't hold up as well as I'd like. But that doesn't mean the name Evan doesn't hold up. Because here's the twist, friends. This isn't just coming from the logbook. Shortly after Christmas, the Fazbear Frights book series released its latest installment, Blackbird, and it contains what is to date the most moving story in this franchise. The Real Jake, short story number 2, tells the tale of 9-year-old Jake, who's dying as a result of a tumor in his brain. With his mother prematurely passed away and his father overseas in the military, Jake is under constant care by the young Margie. But there's one other special person in Jake's life, a mysterious figure named Simon, who speaks to him at night from a small cabinet in his room. Quote, the first night Simon had talked to Jake, Simon had made it clear he would be in the cabinet until Jake got well enough to walk to the cabinet. When you can do that, I'll be here waiting for you. End quote. And while it seems like Simon should be a sinister force, since, you know, this is a FNAF book after all, it's actually an expression of love. Margie had created this small doll named Simon with a walkie-talkie inside of him that allows Jake's father to speak to his son, distorting his voice to make him sound younger. Simon every night insists that Jake speak about what the real Jake is doing, the one who isn't afflicted with cancer, the one who is outside playing with his friends. All of this was intended to give Jake hope, with Margie updating the doll every few nights with food stains and scrapes on his knees to reflect the adventures that the real Jake has been having. It's a beautifully sad story with some legitimate surprises that I'm actually not going to spoil here. But the reason I bring it up is that, strangely, it is the only one of the 18 Fazbear Fright stories so far that has no explicit connection to FNAF. At all. Zero. Every other story thus far has mentioned a Fazbear Pizzeria or connected back to a familiar animatronic in some way. This one doesn't. Yes, it does have some lore connection to the ongoing Stitch Wraith storyline, but the lack of anything FNAF stands out like a sore thumb when every other story thus far has connected back in some way. Maybe there's some secrets. Why the name of Jake's father stands out so strongly. Jake's father is named Evan, which alone is interesting, but becomes much more noteworthy when you consider that he has a brother named Michael, his only living family. And not only that, this is how Michael is described in the book. Quote, he's a little different. He's intense about making money, and he's really good at it. Just the way he is can make him seem like he's not
be on the
so he's like a cyborg with bad
Freddy
programming, end quote.
Stuff.
Two brothers, one named Michael who gets compared to a human-robot hybrid. Where have I heard that one before?
Father. It's me, Michael.
And that's just the surface level stuff, friends. Looking deeper, this is a story about a father communicating with his son via walkie-talkie, just like we see in Sister Location. Heck, you see him communicating through the walkie-talkie that is in a plushie. In the real Jake, it's Simon the doll with a walkie-talkie inside of him. In the games, it's psychic friend Fredbear with a walkie-talkie. Both children suffer from a severe head wound, Jake with his brain tumor and crying child with the bite of 83. In the story, Jake goes on to possess the Simon doll, only for him to then pass on to the Stitch Wraith, sharing that endoskeleton with another soul named Andrew. In the games, could it be that our crying child dies in the hospital and goes on to possess psychic friend Fredbear, which then somehow gets him passed into the golden Freddy suit, where he then shares it with another soul named Cassidy? And all of this is happening in a story that has no connection to FNAF, but very clearly has a connection to FNAF. I'm just saying that the absence makes it all the more conspicuous. In short, I'm not convinced that the FNAF survival logbook is solved or anything like that. Right now, I'm just not sure the methodology for arriving at a final name is really as solid as I'd like it to be to enter my personal headcanon. But strangely enough, the name Evan feels like we're onto something. It has some very compelling evidence to support it from the real Jake story. So at this point, I want to hear from you. Let me know. Are you sold on the crying child being Evan alongside his older brother Mike? Or is this yet another example of Scott trying to bury the lead a bit and confuse us by using the same name a bunch of times, shoving Michael in a bunch of places where he doesn't belong? All I know is that I can't wait for the next book coming out in March. At this point, forget Security Breach. It's all about those sick book drops, my friends. Because let's be honest with ourselves. At this point, uncovering the lore of FNAF requires more reading than your typical JRPG. But hey,
what is a
that's
JRPG?
Just a theory. A game theory.
I'm sorry
Thanks
for the question.
Watching. And hey, if you missed our first quest to solve the security logbook, that video is on screen right now. It properly conveys my frustration with the series. And if you're interested in joining us on our ongoing quest to solve all the mysteries of FNAF, make sure you bite that subscribe button. Your frontal lobe will thank you, because let me tell you, the last time I told you I was stumped about a puzzle in the security logbook, less than a week later, Cassidy was solved. I wouldn't be surprised if something similar happened this time. In the meantime, my friends, I'll see you all next week.
Okay, next one.
Ladies and gentlemen, today we're kicking off Game Theory's 10th anniversary month. Yes, I am that old. April 18th will officially mark 10 years since the first episode of Game Theory was uploaded. For context, my debut was the same year that everyone fell in love with the Pop-Tart cat flying through space, and Rebecca Black's Friday was the most watched video on YouTube, and yet we still call them the good old days. Anyway, to celebrate the channel being older than dirt, all month long we'll be doing special events, like remastering an old theory or two, giving you a behind-the-scenes look at what it actually takes to do these things in 2021, and capping it all off with a live stream celebration on April 30th to thank you guys for an unreal decade of overanalysis. There's also a commemorative 10th anniversary gold foil shirt filled with Easter eggs from the past 10 years of episodes if you want to celebrate alongside us. That's available right now below this video and only until the end of the month, so if you're interested, grab it before it's gone. As for today's episode, well, it wouldn't be an anniversary of this channel without an episode about FNAF. And what better way to cover our longest running series than doing it rewind style.
Rewind?
That's hot.
Not that
That's
rewind.
hot.
I'm talking
Oh
about editing it in all the styles that we've had across the 10 years of this channel. So without further ado, let's talk about new developments in FNAF in game theory styles through the ages.
I'm watching a very good movie. Which movie it is? I'm interested. Look, Minecraft. Wait, it's glitching. So how's game theory so far? Some stuff makes sense, some stuff is really confusing, and I learned some stuff about law because some of episodes are about law.
A lot of new FNAF content. A game
like what you should do, what you shouldn't do.
That I haven't talked about
it's kind of random, but it appears some videos are about that.
Revealed as part of a charity stream. And sometimes, dear Webiverse, you have ideas, random thoughts that are floating around your head, but not enough to make a full theory out of. Maybe enough for a game hypothesis, perhaps, but not so much for a fully fledged
Why is there an
so
S?
today I'm gonna nab those little theory nuggets hovering around my head and serve them up on a delicious platter for you to munch on. In true Fazbear Frights fashion, I'm gonna present to you 3 mini theories covering the upcoming security breach, the twists I expect that we'll see in the game, and where the franchise might be headed next. Because I think the information is starting to leak out. With delays in this new game causing it to lag behind, I think other parts of the franchise, especially the books, are starting to surge ahead, and might already be giving us
that's from Heavy Rain.
The breach. So without any further ado, hop aboard, friendos, because this theory train is about to leave the station. Woo! Woo!
It's so cute. What episode are you on now?
Theory number 1, the Glamrocks are secret.
Game theory, 3 new FNAF security breach theories.
Secretly toy.
Or you can say I'm on episode 46.
Animatronics. Recently, my good friend Dawko held a 24-hour charity stream benefiting the World Wildlife Fund, which, first off, congratulations to him to reaching his goal. The reason I bring the stream up here, though, is that as Dawko crossed different donation milestone goals, he was able to unlock screenshots from the upcoming security breach game, which, by the end, amounted to 20 images in total. And while most of them are just better angles of places that we saw in the recent gameplay trailer, there were a few that had details that really stood out.
So cool. I actually like the place. Look at that.
In the game in the form bottom of Bonnie Bowl. Whether Bonnie is physically in the
so
game
scary,
or if
it
this is
looks
just an Easter
fancy.
egg reference is unclear, but it's a huge detail because up to this point, Bonnie has been absent from all the imagery of the glam rock animatronics, seemingly replaced by the newcomer Montgomery Gator. It had led everyone, myself included, to think that the game was just pulling the sister location, where, if you'll remember, Chica was actually absent from the Funtime lineup, replaced by new characters like Baby and Ballora.
Oh wait,
But
is
no,
Funtime
Bonnie
Chica
is here
here?
at the Pizzaplex, if not physically, then at the very least from a lore perspective, leaving the only missing face from the core four to be Foxy, and we'll get back to that in a minute. Other interesting shots included a view from what appears to be inside of Montgomery Gator's mouth, and while this certainly could be a walkway to a different part of his Gator Golf section of the restaurant, considering we see decorative heads on the walls and different photos from the stream, the view from inside his mouth just doesn't line up for me. It feels too high up to be a walkway, too closed of a mouth to have humans walking through it like they'd be walking through a golf course. Instead, and admittedly this is a bit of a long shot, could this be an indication that we're actually going to be riding inside of Monty at some point in this game? It might seem outlandish, but it actually fits with what's already been leaked out about this title. In case you weren't aware, Funko Pop leaked out this statue of Security Breach, where we see our character Gregory hiding inside of Glamrock Freddy, indicating that at least one of the animatronics, Freddy himself, will be working alongside us to survive against Vanny the Killer Rabbit. So why not the other animatronics too? Looking at the characters side by side, we see that both Freddy and Monty seem to have a similar build and the same flip-open chest cavity. And consider this, we're stuck in the Pizzaplex, meaning that we'll presumably need ways to unlock different sections as the night goes on.
Why we are stuck
one way
then?
to do that is by unlocking new abilities from the animatronics themselves.
So cute.
We see in the gameplay trailer that Monty is able to break through locked chain link fences. Maybe instead of him using that ability to chase us, it's us inside of him using it to access new parts of the park. Kind of like Zelda, except, you know, animatronic murder themed. Like I said, a bit of a long shot, but admittedly it'd be a pretty interesting gameplay mechanic that kind of aligns with stuff that we
for a moment I thought that was Fallout 3 gameplay.
The biggest
because of the darkness,
picture, where we see a shattered version of Glamrock Chica abandoned in what's labeled the sewer. And while that alone alludes to some darker sections of the game, it's how she's dismantled that I wanted to call attention to. Chica has no beak. And as anyone who's been on this 6-year ride alongside me might remember, Chica missing her beak in this series is a big deal. Way back in the days of FNAF 4, Scott went out of his way to draw our attention to Chica missing her beak.
So, completely out of nowhere, Scott emailed me saying, clue. During the minigames in FNAF 4, why would the tiny toy Chica be missing her beak?
Oh my gosh, and even in the asset you see Chica's beak lying on the ground.
Wow, so many memories coming back from that one.
Oh, so
that
cute.
was such a cool stream and such a cool day. Anyway,
hi everyone, please put the dog inside your house.
In
Take
FNAF
them.
4, there's a tiny toy Chica with a beak.
I will put the dog inside our house. Don't you worry, Mom. It's my mom. Thanks. My mom just thanks, Mom, I did it. Also cute tiny emotes, thank you.
On the ground, which itself is a reference to
Sorry,
way back in
wait,
FNAF
it said. Let's wait till the ads are over. Wait, let me see. What is this? I don't know. I don't know who Conche is, but that's my mom sending a message to put Rex inside the house. Rex is already inside the house, okay? Don't you worry too much.
Where the new version
But
of Chica
yeah,
at
I'm
the time
here.
dubbed Toy Chica would lose her beak when she went on the attack. So to see Glamrock Chica here missing her beak seems to be Scott and Steel Wool suggesting that she is
Back.
none other
Yay!
than a reskinned version of the toy animatronic dating back to FNAF 2. And while that might seem like a leap in logic, the closer you look,
Thank
the
you, my
more
love.
this seems to be the case.
Glitch cat. It's okay, Mom. It's okay. Thank you.
Look at the similarities in the face shape, eye size, and hair feathers between Toy Chica and Glamrock Chica. Same round head, same slimmer body
You're so
shape.
adorable,
Heck, if
Mom.
we're
Thank
truly
you.
getting old school with it, let's count fingers and toes, friends. 4 fingers and 3 toes on Glamrock Chica. Just like the 4
Why
fingers
though?
and 3 toes on Toy
So
Chica.
specific.
Which, mind you, is not the same as every other iteration of Chica. Even
Whoa.
the material that she's made out of appears to be the same. That hardened, glossy outer shell that would crack and shatter rather than rip or tear or mold like you see with the other old versions of the animatronics. Want even more proof? Remember how I said that Foxy isn't present in this game yet? Well, you know the
Yeah.
only animatronic without a toy version? Foxy. It was true in FNAF 2, no toy Foxy. It was true in the FNAF 4 minigame. Bonnie, Chica, Freddy, but no Foxy. And here again, if these are indeed reskinned toy animatronics, there's no
So cute.
toy Foxy. Follow the missing Foxy, my friends. Follow the Foxy. Now, why would this matter? Well, it actually matters a lot. If you can remember back that far, the toy animatronics are actually meant to be friendlies to children. You don't have to take my word
so
for it.
cute.
Let's listen to another blast from the past explain it.
They've spent a small fortune on these new
Oh my god, Mom, that's a
facial
cute tiny
recognition
mode. Thank you,
systems.
Mom.
They're all
That's
kind of
adorable.
some kind of criminal database,
So
they
beautiful.
can detect a predator a mile away. Someone may have tampered with their facial recognition systems. The characters have been acting very unusual, almost aggressive towards the staff. They interact with the kids just fine, but when they encounter an adult, they just stare.
They interact with
Lol.
kids just fine. The reason they attack us in the game is that we're an adult, a security guard that looks an awful lot like William Afton. But kids are fine.
Aw,
Again, if
so
Security
cute,
Breach
so
is all
adorable.
about animatronics
This is
helping
Concha.
Gregory against the
Okay.
threat of Vanny,
You'll
this
get used to
makes
the
perfect
finger and toe
lore
cut because
sense.
most things are
Gregory is a
intentional.
kid. The toy
Ah,
animatronics
okay,
are
thank you,
designed
Shiny
to
Pikachu.
protect kids.
Actually, the
Coincidence?
emote
I
already
think not.
almost
Between
says
the
your
visual
name,
similarities,
original
the missing
name.
Foxy, and the lore connections, I think that this one
That's
might
so
just be a
cute.
slam dunk. But hey, that's just a theory. My first theory of the day. We've still got 2 more to cover.
Okay.
Theory number 2, Elizabeth Afton is the real villain.
Oh my
Over in
God.
Bookland, things are getting weird, which, you know, when it comes to a series where a rotting flesh suit filled with
Jesus
robots spaghetti is
Christ.
normal, is saying a
My
lot.
fingers
So get
is
around
too
to me
fat.
being impregnated by a video game and giving birth to a baby
Oh, Mom,
rabbit.
there's
in the
no
next
problem.
mini-theory.
I know
But
you
first, I
can
wanted to
type
touch
on
a
the phone
security
too
breach
well,
theory that
but
I've been
it's
banging
okay,
on for
don't
about a month
worry.
now.
Also,
The fact
cute
that we're
tiny
going to
mood,
redeem
thank you.
Vanny the killer for some sort of good ending in this game. I feel like the evidence for this has been pretty convincing thus far.
Don't
Her
you
being
worry
called
too
a
much,
reluctant
Mom. I can
follower in FNAF
understand
VR's
you.
audio recordings, the fact that in FNAF AR we have a series of emails from a
Ooh.
character named Ness, as in Vanessa, Vanny, actively searching for such contradictory
Ooh,
terms
look.
as help and how to induce compliance in human subjects, indicating Glitch Trap's control over her is not complete and she's trying to escape his grasp. There's more, but I've covered all that in much more detail in a previous theory. Suffice it to say, I feel good about that theory as it applies
This
to
game
security
loves
breach. But now we're
bunnies.
getting
There's a
even
lot of
more
bunnies
evidence from
in FNAF, I
outside of
guess.
the games via the most recent
bears.
Fazbear Frights book, The Cliffs. At this point, we're at book number 7, so you're probably aware of how these things work. 3 short horror stories set in various corners of the FNAF universe, followed by an epilogue that continues an ongoing narrative about a creature named the Stitch Wraith, with Scott telling us that
Jesus
details
Christ,
from
that's
these
so
stories
scary.
will give clarity to the lore of the games. So what's new this
But in
month?
my
the
part, he's in the
latest epilogue,
FNAF
we have
movies.
a
Wait,
lot
he
of
re-
things
he
going
is?
on. William Afton, having just
I never saw the
exploded
movies
his
now
body in
yet.
the previous story, now
Do you
possesses a
recommend
bunch of
seeing the
trash and
movies?
machine parts. He's
Or
basically
no?
acted
People
like a
say
vacuum,
it's
sucking
they're
in
bad but
everything around him to
funny,
create,
you know?
no joke, a giant 15-foot tall trash
Jesus,
rabbit that the book
that's
calls
tall.
the Afton Amalgamation.
The
And if you
Afton
think that sounds weird,
Amalgamation.
yes. Now, I am not going to sit here and say that we will at some point in this series be forced to fight a giant trash bunny
Jesus.
possessed by a serial killer. No, the reason I bring Trash Afton up is that what he does in the book seems relevant to our ongoing Vanny theory. Quote again, the problem was that when the trash monster stabbed the detective,
Trash
it
monster. monster.
infected him with the spirit of the horrible man.
Infected him with the spirit? Nah, bro, that's so dumb.
The detective with evil. But what if it did more?
Nah, bro,
than
that's...
that? What if it killed him? Jake had to get the infection out. Afton,
bro,
at
that's
this
so...
point in the lore, is
that's
just an
that's
infection,
not possible.
a virus that needs to be extracted
that's
in order
so
to
random.
save the
Oh, look,
host's body.
Norton.
But it can be
I have
transferred just by a
Norton.
touch or a
But if you
small
don't
wound.
pay
And so
Norton,
yet
it looks
again,
like a
we get even more
virus. I'm
evidence
not
for innocent
joking.
people getting Afton infused into their bodies and needing
Look,
to
so
be
many
cleansed,
people.
just like I've been predicting with Vanny this whole time. But there's another
yes, when I
reason that
try
wanna talk
something,
about
my
this
finger
epilogue.
click
Sure,
letters
the main action
and...
of the story is focused
Oh,
around our
don't
heroic
worry,
detective
Mom, it's
teaming up with the
okay. I
Stitch Race to
understand
use the
you. You're
screaming
cute.
mask of the
Don't
puppet to destroy
worry.
the giant Afton trash
I
bunny,
understand
which is
you.
every bit
Okay.
of fever dream insane as it sounds. But while
There's
all
no
of this chaos
problem
is
with
going
that.
on,
Also,
there's
cute
someone
animal,
else running
thank
around
you.
controlling things behind the scenes.
Okay.
Baby. Throughout the battle, we continuously catch short glimpses of a long-necked female animatronic. This, my
FNAF 4
friends,
movie is a
Baby.
waiter
The
named
long neck
Ness
is actually a
because
callback
Scott
to
likes
book one of
his
the series and her story
since
to be beautiful.
Nester. He
Anyway,
plays
she
Toy
fuses up
Bonnie
with
in FNAF
Afton
2 movie.
amalgamation until they start using the puppet mask against it, at which point she pieces out. And it's only
Okay,
then,
that's good.
after she leaves,
Sorry,
that
community,
Afton
it's
loses.
okay,
We get
Mom, it's okay,
confirmation of
don't
this
you
in the final
worry.
sentences of the story. One
Cute
final
animal,
quote, the
thank
awful
you.
man's spirit wasn't as powerful
Okay, I
as it
guess
had
I will
pretended
watch the
to be.
movies one
Afton's
day,
spirit
probably.
was barely hanging on to this reality. Something besides
Don't worry.
Afton had been controlling the trash rabbit, and whatever it was,
Trash
it was
rabbit,
worse.
Jesus,
the
that's
real
a
threat
name.
here wasn't Afton at all, it was Baby. She's the one at the end of the story who escapes to fight another day. She's the one who leaves the cliffhanger. And that, my friends, is weird. Let me explain myself. I think everyone, Scott included based on his Reddit posts, was surprised when Security Breach didn't come out last year. And just like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, when you have an elaborate connected lore, release dates
Look, a
lining
galaxy,
up
so
matters
cute.
a lot. Except for one problem. When the ship is already sailing and there are so many companies and moving pieces and agreements involved, changing
Yeah.
launch dates becomes
Scholastic
really hard
Pro,
and
those books
potentially
are for
really
school?
expensive. To my
That's
knowledge,
weird.
the book release dates never really shifted despite the game getting delayed. So could this epilogue be a preview of what's coming after Security Breach? Think about it. In the Stitch Wraith story, Afton
Jesus
is doing
Christ,
what
it's
we expect him to
scary.
do in Security Breach. He's acting like a virus infecting someone. In this case, Vanny, who then needs to be cleansed. But then Fazbear Frights effectively ends
poor
Afton's
toy,
story.
bro.
It outright calls him weak. He's defeated by the
Weak.
mask, and it sets up Baby to become the ongoing big bad moving forward. What I'm saying is that what if this book was supposed to come after Security Breach had been released?
I'm still
But
confused
now,
about
because
this
of the game's
game.
delay, we're getting a preview of what it's setting up moving forward. In the trailer for Security Breach, we get this
Squash is
line.
most common book selling company. Ah,
Maybe
okay, I
there
didn't know
really are some
that.
tricks up
Thank
this
you,
game's sleeve,
Shiny
but what
Pikachu.
could Baby be
I don't know
working on
much
moving
about
forward?
that stuff.
Well, for that,
Thank
it's
you
time
for
to talk
telling
about
me.
Theory number 3. Theory number 3, the Body Snatchers.
The
And now
Body
it's time for
Snatchers,
Matt
I guess-
Matt's final thought. Or
I guess
final
that's
theory,
normal
I suppose.
already
Man,
in
those
this
were really
game.
cringy for those first couple episodes. Why did I think that was a good idea? Anyway, I'll keep this one a bit shorter since the episode's getting long, but basically at this point we've got ourselves 21 short stories in Fazbear
Okay.
Frights, and they cover everything from haunted animals to killer dolls to deadly video games. But there's one consistent
Okay.
theme across a shocking number of these stories: body snatching. In book number 1, we have To Be Beautiful, where Baby steals a human girl's body piece by piece so she can take over her identity. In book number
That's
2,
kind of
we have Lonely
depressing.
Freddy, where a boy is lured to the back of a Freddy Fazbear's pizzeria and mind swapped into a Freddy doll so the animatronic
Yeah,
AI
that's
can go out
actually
into the real
happens
world
too.
posing as him. In book number 3, we have Room for One More, where mini Renas shove themselves into a security guard's stomach so they can escape out into the surface world.
Jeez.
A very direct parallel to the sister location ending. Book number 5 has In the Flesh, where, fine, I'll talk about this one. A male game designer, after a series of events, literally gives birth to a physical form of glitch trap by slicing him
that's so-
out of his own impregnated stomach. And of course,
What
the game
is
designer
this?
is named Matt. The guy is also a supreme jerk to everyone
Bro,
else
what
throughout the
is
story.
this?
So thanks a lot, Scott. Very subtle. Didn't know you felt that
I
level
own
of
the first
hostility
three original
toward me.
novel
But
of
yet,
FNAF.
animatronics using humans
Did
to
you
escape
read
out
them?
to the
Are they
real world, to
cool?
become real or outright
I think
posing
they
as their
you
identity.
know, I'm
And
not
last,
that
but
person that
probably
reads
most
horror
explicitly
stories.
is the latest story.
But I don't know if
He
it's
told me
well
everything,
written or
which-
not.
and I'm
Probably
gonna tell
it
you
is,
what happens in
if
the
the
story,
games
and you're
are
not
so
gonna believe
elaborate
me,
on
but
theories.
This is what happens in this story. A cult-like science club experiments using a
Ooh.
substance called Fazgoo. The
Fazgoo.
experiment involves the students pulling out one of their own teeth and feeding it to the goo, which then connects a gooey tendril to their finger. We eventually learn that the goo is draining the students' organs and bones in
Jesus
order to grow
Christ.
into a perfect clone of the original
Oh my God, I
host.
didn't finish the
It
first
is
closet.
odd, and it really
It's
feels
okay,
like it's
don't
pushing the limits
worry.
of what can and can't exist in the FNAF universe. Now, could all of this just be recycling the
Don't
same
worry,
ideas for
one day
horror
we'll
stories in a
finish
series
it.
that now has an enormous number of installments and is in constant need of new content? Absolutely. But it is the strongest recurring theme in the book series, and one that, when coupled with the Afton infection concept, seems like it could very well be the next logical step for the games. Think of it like prop hunt for FNAF. Who's real
Prop hunt
and who
for
isn't? You don't know.
FNAF.
You gotta figure it out. We've exhausted what one killer can do, so why not an army of killers? Besides, animatronics posing as real people
I started
is
it
already
about
something
6
that Sister
years
Location
ago.
opened the door to, so if you have the ability
It's
to
okay,
infect
don't
the masses,
worry.
that's a new direction to
One
take
day
things,
we'll
I guess.
finish
I'm just saying,
it.
we've
It's
had
okay,
bad
don't mind
animatronics, looks
that.
like we'll have good animatronics.
I
We've
have
had
books
people
that I
stuffed
finished
inside
like
animatronics.
1
We've
year
had
after
animatronics stuffed inside people.
starting
Now in the
it,
books, we're
or
on a regular
3.
basis having
It's
animatronics
okay, it
turning into
happens.
people. So why not an army of AIs inhabiting flesh-stolen
AIs,
suits? And if I'm right,
lol.
and Baby is indeed filling the villain role for the series moving forward, seems like the sort of thing that she'd totally be into. Skin suits helped her escape Sister Location. She is literally
True.
able to be a body double for the protagonist Charlie in the original novel series. She's not a killer like her dad, she's a copier. A girl who's upset about dying young and losing her humanity early. So why not try to regain it back while creating an army of body snatchers to come along with you?
I used to read fast, but not that
that's
much
just
anymore.
a theory.
Oh, it's okay,
Game
Shiny Pikachu, it
theories.
happens.
Thanks for
Don't-
watching for 10
don't feel
years,
bad
guys.
because of
By the way,
that.
theorists, if you're
You got
worried
your
about some
time,
creepy
you got-
animatronic possessing you through your screen, then you'll really love our sponsor for today's episode,
You got your
NordVPN.
reason.
With Nord, you
Okay,
can rest
it's
easy
not
knowing that no
bad.
reanimated
It's
lab
okay,
infected
it
serial killer is
happens.
gonna steal your identity.
Everything
because
will
Nord
be
is
better,
keeping your
don't you
information
worry,
safe behind
okay?
a wall of next
Everything will
generation
be fine.
encryption. Not only that, but Nord has a strict no log policy, meaning that your data is never being stored or saved anywhere that you don't want it. In fact, if anything, Nord makes you into the
You know,
god of the
I
interwebs, shattering
I
the
actually
global
read
barriers
way
that
more
prevent you
books
from
than I
seeing your
read now.
favorite content. For instance, one of my favorite
You know,
YouTubers is
but it's
Derek from
because,
Veritasium. He was recently
you know,
on the
I'm
British
with
show
kind of,
QI, which is available on Netflix in the UK. Not doing me a
kind of
lot of good here in the
depressed lately,
States,
but
with
it's
Nord,
okay.
in one
It will-
click, my
I will
internet
fix
appears like
this.
it's in jolly old England, and I can see my friend doing his across the
For
pond
like 2
cameo.
years,
It is that
but it's
easy,
okay.
my friends.
Don't
Same
worry,
thing with
one day I'll be
RuPaul's
back
Drag Race
reading.
UK season 2, which is
Ooh.
fantastic, by the way. I struggled to find it here in the US until I hopped across the pond with the help of Nord and binged the whole season in one go. I am a hardcore
Sly.
Bimini Bon Boulash and Lawrence Cheney stan. Today,
Sly, I
NordVPN is
guess.
offering you theorists a special deal. You can get a huge discount on a
Thank
2-year
you for
plan
the
plus an extra
sticker.
month for free by going to nordvpn.com/MattPat, MATPAT, and then using the code MattPat at checkout. And it's risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. So go to nordvpn.com/MattPat, use the code MattPat to get that deal, or just click the link in the top line of the description below. And in the meantime, I'll see you all next week for another special anniversary.
Okay, let's go. New video. Oh, so cute, it's running.
You stupid ghost! Thought you could
lol.
get revenge on me? Do you know who I am?
No, I don't know.
I'm William
Lol.
Afton. I always come back. I am Golden Bonnie.
Wow.
I'm about to end this man's whole career.
Lol, Sly. I love the memes. Oh. I'm sorry.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Game Theory.
Game
the wet
Theory.
springlock suit clamping down on your subscription
Jeez.
feed. And oh my gosh, guys, finally, after all that waiting, after being patient for so long, after all the delays, it has finally arrived. It is
Finally.
here, a brand new Freddy game just released where we finally get to go up against Vanny the Killer Bunny. Here it is, Security Breach. Furries Rage. Didn't know it had a subtitle. Apparently it's about an onslaught of angry furries on the attack. Oh, wait, sorry. Misread that title. It's a Fury. Fury's Rage. Very important
Fury's
distinction there.
Rage.
Well, anyway, let's fire this puppy up.
Let's see if they're ready for Freddy.
What is this? That's so random, what? What is this?
Not quite quite what I expected on multiple fronts.
Yeah, don't you tell me.
Apology for all the delays with the real security breach.
They're gonna kill me. They're gonna kill me when they find out that I have to delay the game again. What am I gonna do?
You can tell that Scott's feeling a little guilty these days, huh? Also, apparently he sleeps in a fairy
It's
tale
a troll.
bed.
Okay.
With this one, Scott. Anyway, just because the official game is still
Lol, the
TBD
game looks so
doesn't mean
funny.
that there's any less to theorize about. We've got a new book, we've got secret bosses, and we've got a
Secret
lot of pent-up
bosses,
theories behind the
ooh.
floodgates just waiting to pour out. So today, I'm doing another roundup of short FNAF theories, some looking back to the past, some looking ahead towards the future, and some that are so out there that, well, you're gonna see when we get there. So open your minds, your hearts, and your hollow animatronic chest cavities reserved for the bodies of dead children, because I'm shoving theories in everywhere. Theory number one, we definitely play as Michael Afton in FNAF 3. In the newest Fazbear Fright book, Gumdrop Angel, released at the beginning of May, we as always have our three main horror novellas. The first is the title feature, Gumdrop Angel, a tragic tale about a girl who transforms into a giant gummy bear pinata thing that gets eaten alive by a swarm of saliva-mouthed kids at a Freddy's birthday party. Talk about your hygiene concerns. This one became a whole heck of a lot scarier reading it in the aftermath of a global pandemic. But as you might imagine, not a whole lot of lore to be found in a story about a sentient gummy bear. Our second story, Sergio's Lucky Day, is all about Balloon Boy, or should I say Lucky Boy, a doll who's wearing a propeller hat and holding both a balloon and a sign that says, "I'm a lucky boy." In this story, our main character Sergio finds the doll and ends up buying a lottery ticket because of its advice. The next day, Sergio finds that he won himself $600,000.
I won a lottery!
That's great.
It's a story that's a bit confusing because the doll does seem to offer good advice, encouraging Sergio to leave a job that he hates, leave a girlfriend that he hates, upgrade his life in small ways, all things that improve Sergio's existence. But as a result, Sergio becomes obsessed with the doll, asking it for advice on everything, including how he can look good for his big high school reunion. Lucky Boy suddenly takes the chance to turn evil and tells him to remove his ears, scalp himself, cut off his eyelids, chisel his lips, trim his nose, and remove and reuse other body parts to become taller. As you might imagine, Sergio makes a big impression at the reunion. Again, not
what is this? Why would you listen to that advice?
From games. I'm assuming that this is going to end up being connected to the upcoming Book 9 story, The Puppet Carver, but we're just going to have to wait and see. And just when
those
this
faces.
book wasn't going to deliver on any lore reveals, we get to our third story, What We Found, which is quite literally just a retelling of FNAF 3. Stop me if this one starts to sound familiar. A night security guard working at Fazbear Frights, a horror attraction themed around the murders and disappearances happening at the Freddy Fazbear Pizzeria franchise, begins suffering from severe hallucinations the day the crew brings in a Springtrap suit found hidden in the walls of a different building. Hudson, our night guard, winds up trapped in a pizza oven and gets roasted to death at the end of his shift. It is really sad and also a really obvious parallel to the events of FNAF 3, right? But here's the thing, it also really feels like it's meant to confirm for us that Michael Afton is who we play as in FNAF 3. If you remember back to a couple years ago, I had a theory that Mike Afton is our player character in pretty much every game in the franchise. We see the name Mike on FNAF 1's paycheck, we see the name Mike again on the monitor and sister location. In fact, the player's guide for that game, the Freddy Files, practically confirms that part of the theory. So that's Mike appearing in 2 games, but what about FNAF 2 and 3? The name Mike doesn't appear anywhere in either of them. Well, in FNAF 1, we know that Mike eventually gets fired for tampering with the animatronics and his odor. Something that would happen if, you know, he was a rotting corpse walking around from restaurant to restaurant to free the souls of the dead kids trapped in suits put there by his father. So isn't it a little coincidental that Fritz Smith, our protagonist from FNAF 2, gets fired for the exact same reasons, tampering with the animatronics and odor? It's also why Michael would keep getting attacked. We know from sister location that he looks just like his dear old daddy. And lastly, it's why Golden Freddy says it's me every time he appears. It's the brother's soul crying child trapped in the suit, recognizing and reaching out to his sibling.
No, it's not even the name of the crying child, it's just crying child, okay.
I thoughtfully omitted FNAF 3. It made sense to me from a narrative angle, but in terms of actual physical evidence, there wasn't a whole lot to point to outside of the hallucination. Since the phantom animatronic jump scares in FNAF 3 were moments pulled from both FNAF 1 and 2, it implies that the person seeing them must have been present in both those locations. But beyond that, yeah, butt kiss. However, what we found may have just given us our missing piece. Our security guard Hudson in the story has a very tragic existence. His dad took his own life at an early age, and his mother got remarried to an abusive man named Lewis. And this guy is awful. Like, he is real bad. Eventually, we learn that Hudson seems to have burned his house down, killing this violent man in the process, and then repressing those memories. Fast forwarding back to the present day, as he's tormented by Springtrap, he hears his dad's voice coming
No
from
way.
the suit. That, along with a former abusive teacher named Mr. Atkin, or Mr.
Oh my
Adkin,
God.
depending on which page you're talking about. I'm looking at you, proofreaders. You got some splaining to do. Anyway, Hudson kills his violent father in a fire. A father whose voice comes out of Springtrap, along with another
Bro, this
person
is so
associated with
weird,
childhood
but
trauma
okay.
and with a name suspiciously close to Afton. The security guard himself then dies in a fire in a tightly contained pizza oven. To me, it sounds a heck of a lot like the journey of Mike, who would also be responsible for burning his spring-trapped serial killer father to death at the end of FNAF 3 before he himself meets a fiery end in FNAF 6, also trapped inside of a small box. It's potentially the confirmation that I've been waiting on for years. Or not, who knows. Speaking of FNAF 3, here's a small observation that didn't fit anywhere, but I wanted to call out. You know how we're pretty confident that Golden Freddy was possessed by two spirits, Crying Child and Cassidy, the vengeful spirit? Well, it seems like Scott may have been hinting at that since FNAF 3. I couldn't believe it either, but take a look. Here's a photo of the bad ending from that game. Notice how the mask in the background, Golden Freddy, has two lights on in its eyes instead of just one like all the others? Each light would be representative of a spirit trapped in the suit. Shout out to Game Theorist subreddit user The Real Bruffi for that one. And while we're on the subject of Cassidy, theory number 2, Cassidy died in the ball pit. Recently it was confirmed by Scott Cawthon on Reddit that the Fazbear Frights book series will end at number 11. Random number, with the 12th mini book full of stories that didn't make the cut acting as a bonus. Gotta admit, it's a bit of a shame because this whole time I was hoping they would get 76 more out of this thing just so we could make a joke along the lines of, was that the right of 87? Anyway,
the right of
endgame now, specifically with the story of Detective
87,
Larson and the
jeez.
Stitch Raid, the overarching narrative that happens in the epilogue of each installment. And that's nothing to sneeze at, my friends. Is that idiom acceptable after 2020? Anyway, it's a big deal since this is the story that's historically had the biggest lore reveals. Most notably, the hints that led us to believe that Golden Freddy had two souls trapped inside of him instead of just one. And with only 3 epilogues left before the end of the series, this story needs to have itself a really big payoff. So when we last left our heroes, they had just battled a 15-foot trash rabbit called the Afton Amalgamation. Larson got infected with the glitch trap virus, and Jake, the remaining spirit inside the Stitch Wraith, realized that he could use his, I don't know, his remnant powers to basically go into people's memories and make the good ones stronger in order to help them. Quote, maybe he could pull a memory out, a good one, and make it bigger and brighter than the rest. If he could ease the man's pain. It was almost like blowing up a balloon, only the balloon was a memory and the air was Jake's will. It's about on par with the level of insanity you'd expect from FNAF in the year of our lolbit 2021. And while that's certainly an interesting story detail, what I instead want to focus on is Larson's half of the plot. The detective who's been trying to piece together all the mysteries around Fazbear Entertainment. Getting infected by the Afton virus has had some weird side effects on him. Specifically, it's allowed him to hop between the memories of a bunch of Afton's victims. Quote, he was getting glimpses of the past. They were memories, but not his own. These images belonged to others from different places and different times. So it feels like this is the literary device that's going to allow the books to explain the missing children's incident. Larson is going to get clues via this memory hopping to either see for himself or get the clues to investigate what happened to Susie, Gabriel, Fritz, Jeremy, Charlie, and Cassidy. But then things start to take an unexpected turn. One final quote, as his mind swept him from one visit to the past to another, he always saw the same thing in between. He saw a ball pit.
A ball pit.
Here we go, friends. Get ready, Shark. You about to be jumped. See, despite all the craziness of the Fazbear Fright story, they've all roughly held to the same logic. Technology infects humans, endoskeletons become haunted, people can be replicated, but there was one that always stood out. For those of you who don't remember, the title story of the very first book was Into the Pit. The story of a time-traveling ball pit that allowed a boy named Oswald to go back to the past to the year 1985 and see the after effects of the missing children's incident. As he does this, he's chased down by Spring Bonnie disguised as his father. It was weird, because time travel is always weird, but, you know, we didn't think too much of it at the time because it was a one-off story in a collection of random one-off stories. But now,
I stretched it already.
Back to it.
Thank you so much.
Of the 24 stories that Fazbear Frights has had, this is the one that the big overarching narrative of the series suddenly deems important enough to come back to for some reason. The time travel.
I have the first 2 books
that's not
of
our only clue that this thing's important. Remember Security Breach,
like
Furry's Rage, or like
I guess I don't know because there are like 2 series.
Chica,
especially these are
it's this series. Hard mode, a secret boss battle against this, a slithering reference to FNAF 4's
Into the Pit.
surprising lore.
Did you read
Chica
it?
without her beak, the 6 a.m. alarm clock
Was it
face,
good?
the FNAF 4 locked box, what appears to be an IV
What
bag
is
in the
that,
back there.
bro? That's so
Basically, in
weird.
this one sprite, we have Scott
Yay!
acknowledging that the real final boss of this whole damn series is figuring out what FNAF 4 was trying
I
to
like
tell
to
us.
read
It's also him
books,
poking
too.
fun at the FNAF 4 dream theory, considering the thing's name in the source code is Dreamgeist. But of all the stuff that's hidden inside of that head, there's a few random round objects that don't really fit anything from
balls.
FNAF 4. Are they Easter eggs? Or maybe they're balls from a ball
Balls.
pit, considering that balls and ball pits have never once been important to this series.
Guess
and in the
game
level where you
I'm
fight the
going to
Dreamgeist,
stream.
we see screenshots from previous games, sister locations blueprints, a
Let me
camera feed
sing.
from FNAF 1, again implying some level of time travel. Or
Cult of the
spanning
Lamb?
across time, because remember, Dream Theory came out before
Are you gonna
Sister
play Cult
Location
of the
was
Lamb?
released, which makes that FNAF 5
Aw,
blueprint reference
okay,
really stand out here. Now, by no means am I saying that there's time
Fortnite.
travel in the games or anything like that, but the sudden reemergence of the ball pit and Fazbear Frights opens up a few interesting possibilities. One, that Cassidy died in the pit. Remember, the
FNAF.
vengeful spirit has powers that go
A
beyond
FNAF game.
all the other spirits, to the extent that it's able to trap Afton in a state between life and death. So if anyone or anything is gonna imbue a ball pit with time
Already
powers,
did?
Cassidy
Okay,
seems
sorry.
like the one to do it. And we know that someone did die in
let
there
me
because both in the
see.
pit and the latest epilogue make a point about the pit's sticky balls. Get your mind out of the gutter there, people. Quote, he studied the plastic balls, the
I don't
substance
know.
covering the plastic
Can you
surface
tell me,
looked like
please?
blood. Old blood. And here I thought
Old
the worst thing
blood,
that happened to the ball
Jesus.
pit was getting
They
pink
should
eye.
clean
Fire
that.
up the golden Freddy in the ball pit thumbnail, boys. 2, that the series is gonna end with Larson and the Stitch
GTA
Raid
3.
using the ball pit
Yay!
to
Oh my
save
god,
the missing
since
children
you
from
showed
Afton
me
and
that
release their
radio
spirits.
station with
Why would I
beautiful
assume
music,
something like this? Well,
it would
giving
be a
Larson
banger
memory
you
powers
playing
would
that
be
and
enough
listening
tell
to the
kid's
music.
story. Let him see glimpses of their trauma, clues that lead him on an investigation. The ball pit, though, becomes necessary if the story plans on him physically interacting with those
You know,
kids. So I wouldn't be surprised
yeah,
if
those
the
musics
ending
are
of this entire
amazing,
book
bro.
series is
One day,
unwinding
if one
the
day I
thread
get
that started it
GTA 3,
all.
I
The
will
missing
play
children
that
is
with
the kids are saved,
radio in
which,
full
in the process,
blasting.
undoes all of the other horrific stories that
Because
spin
I
out
like
from the
that style
Fazbear
of music.
pizzerias. In the process, Scott retroactively gives all the sad stories from the Fazbear Fright series a happy
We'll have to
ending.
get the
And finally,
trilogy.
number 3,
Okay,
Detective
it's no
Larson
problem.
becomes
I will get
Afton
it
in
then.
what is a
Don't you worry.
self-perpetuating time loop scenario.
I got the trilogy
sure,
for
you
20
all
bucks.
laugh.
It's
And trust
okay,
me,
one
I
day
think
I'll
it's
get it,
dumber
Chill
than
Gamer.
YouTuber boxing. But hear me
I
out.
get more
We
games
have
to
ourselves a
play.
character, Larson,
I get
infected
more
by,
games to
as
play
the
on
book
stream
puts it,
then.
Afton's darkness.
I have
Also
100
ourselves
plus
a ball
games to
pit that
play,
allows him to go back
Jesus.
in time for some reason that's
But
gonna
one
be
day I'll
important
get
to
it,
the
don't you
narrative.
worry.
So
I
what
already
if
have GTA
Larson winds
5,
up going back in time to investigate,
so one day I'll
only
have to
for the
get the other
darkness
games to
take
know the
over
rest.
and turn him into William
The original
Afton,
price is kinda
setting all the
60,
events of the
70.
story into
I'll wait
motion.
when
Who
it's
knows, maybe
on
we
sale
truly
too,
do
it's no
exist in the
problem.
darkest timeline, and Scott Cawthon gave the green light to a story that
It's
allows
okay.
Afton to be a creation of his own future self. Tell you what,
Just
it would explain
waiting
how
for the
Afton was
Winter
able to
Sale or
create such
something.
futuristic advanced
They get so
robotics when he
cheap, the
was
games.
literally in the early
I
80s,
saw
'cause
games
that's
that
something that'll never get
costed
explained.
like
Like I said,
60
that theory is
bucks,
real dumb,
5
but, you know,
bucks. It
is
was
on the table.
amazing.
I wouldn't put it
I didn't
past
buy
the
it,
series.
though.
Time travel opens up all sorts of dumb
Ooh,
decisions, and time
Portal.
loops are real hot right now. And heck, we do see a lot of ball pits in that new
Ooh.
trailer, one that comes complete with a day-night mechanic. Huh? Will I be right? Will I be wrong? We've got ourselves 3 more books and an indeterminate wait for security breach to arrive, so you can bet the theories are just gonna get more and more ridiculous
Jeez.
until that day comes. So in the meantime, remember
Oh,
to
damn
actually listen to
Chica.
my dear friends Rhett and Link's new podcast, Ronstadt. If you like FNAF, then chances are you're gonna really dig their new project. It's a
What
horror
is that?
sci-fi comedy about a guy who sounds suspiciously like Rhett from Good Mythical Morning. He becomes a
I don't know
911
who
call
is that.
operator who has a sixth sense that allows him to solve supernatural mysteries while also helping people on the other end of the line.
Okay. Ooh.
There's this thing, and it's after me.
Kind of like Ghostbusters meets Doctor Who. And even for me, a
Okay.
picky podcast connoisseur, it's really enjoyable. So check them out. I am super, super proud of the work that they're doing on that series. I want to give it a little bit more love because it's definitely worth your time. It's actually from the same people who make Markiplier's podcasts, which if you haven't
Ooh.
listened to those are also really good. So just high quality audio content right into your ear holes across the board. Anyway, I dropped a link for them down in the description below. Go check it out, especially if you're in the mood for something that's still a bit FNAFy, but a little less jump scare intensive. And always remember, it's all just a theory.
Theory. A game theory.
Thanks for watching. This is gonna be a hard one. Today we're gonna talk about FNAF. Like we have.
Don't you tell me, bro. There are like more 40 videos about that.
How many times have we talked about FNAF on this channel? Let's see.
Don't you tell. There's a lot, of course.
43. For some reason, I thought it was more. Wait. Oh, that's what it is. If you add the game theory videos and all the partner shows,
that's a lot.
We've done 49 episodes on FNAF. And let me just say, this is not the big 50th episode that I really anticipated.
5th FNAF video? Okay.
For those of you who don't know, FNAF has been in the news a lot lately. And not
Why?
for any good reasons, like the release of a new game, or them finally deciding to make the obvious call and cast me as phone guy in the upcoming movie.
Let's go! Sorry.
My audition reel, Blumhouse, I would also be willing to accept the role of purple guy.
Also, can you go back in the screen?
No, the reason
What is this, bro?
and blowing up all over the blogosphere have centered around the
Look at that kid painting with animals, so adorable.
You heard that right, friends. Scott, my longtime nemesis, is stepping down. Only one will remain standing, and that one is me. He's actually retiring with plenty of money, so who's the real winner here?
Lol.
As he himself said in his final post, and I quote, "I've had a blessed, fulfilling," it took me a minute to find it, I'm sorry. "I've had a blessed, fulfilling, and rich career.
Rich for sure, bro.
Let the debate ensue, and I've witnessed the creation of possibly the most creative and talented fan base on the planet. But here, on the 7th anniversary of the first game's trailer, I realize I miss a lot of things that I got to focus on before FNAF became such a success. I miss making games for my kids, I miss doing it just for fun, and I miss making RPGs even though I stink at it. All this to say that I'm retiring." End quote. He then goes on to thank everyone for their kindness, say that he's excited to spend time with his family, and assure everyone that FNAF is going to continue under the guidance of someone of his choosing. Scott, consider this channel my application for the role.
No way!
I'm here for you, buddy.
Okay.
All kind of
I thought
joking,
it
but
was real, bro.
Joking aside, this alone would be a huge deal, right? One of the most successful indie developers of all time stepping down from his still mega popular series after 7 years, with a book series still being released until the end of the year, a new game on the verge of being released, and a movie that's still in the works. I mean,
I don't know if they're gonna make a FNAF 3 movie.
He fades away to go spend time with his family doing whatever it is that indie devs do with their piles of cash. Buy a cereal wall.
What?
A candy room. Bacon every day for breakfast. I don't know why.
Bro, if I was rich, I would fix my house.
Because it's like the best food ever.
I would put my house on check.
Of what's going on here, because it's
I would buy the stuff I wanted. That's basically not fancy stuff. It would be like, I don't know, tiny horses, like they like toys. You know, I collect toys.
And 2020.
Like replicas, games, a PC, and then I will just save the money and help other people with it. And I would buy all the food I wanted too, and pay all the bills, and give my love a lot of gifts. What is happening? I was talking just
rights over the years, especially as it relates to the LGBTQ communities, which, you know, a large portion of the FNAF fan base is.
And I've seen a lot of people online responding with a, "So what's the big deal to all of this news?" But you have to stop and
I was talking, I got distracted, sorry.
The LGBTQ fans of this franchise. This revelation understandably hurt a lot of members of the FNAF fan community, considering that Scott's franchise has been this welcoming and inclusive space for them.
Okay.
Where a lot of people have found the ability to express their unique identities. To know that their support of these games and their game's creator, especially the financial support that comes with that their dollars had wound up funding campaigns for people who are looking to withhold or remove their rights, to fund the elections of people who would forward legislation that treats them as less than human. Yeah, that's gonna feel really horrible. It's gonna feel like
Yeah.
a betrayal. It's gonna feel like you had funded your own worst enemy. At first, people thought that Scott's account must have gotten hacked, right? There was no way that he could have done this, or at the very least that maybe he donated to a blanket Republican fund where his dollars had gotten funneled into individual campaigns without his knowledge, but no. After a few days, Scott took to Reddit and affirmed that these were indeed his choices, which
Oh
then
my
just
God.
proceeded to blow the internet up even more.
A few days later, he retired, and that was that. A confusing and awkward end to the career of someone who had legitimately changed the face of horror and indie gaming forever.
Now,
Yeah, kinda weird.
A lot of you have been asking me for my response to the whole thing. Does the channel stop covering FNAF? Do I still support Scott?
No, bro, I didn't
How do
stop
feel
covering
about it?
FNAF.
How
There's
can you
more
feel
40
about it?
videos about
Honestly,
that.
there is a lot to unpack here. A lot. One of the reasons it's taken me so long to respond is because I've had to sort it all out in my own head. I didn't really know how to feel. We've been teaching my son Oliver, who just turned 3 recently, about how sometimes you can feel multiple emotions at once and how that's confusing.
True,
And
that I actually understand that, yeah.
lesson at 3 is still just as hard when you're 33, so I had to
Bro,
take
you're
time to do my own
33, let's
soul searching
go.
and do my own research, quite honestly. One of the great things about the internet is that it moves so fast, right? You need something and boom, it is right there available at your fingertips. But one of the awful things about the internet is that boom, it moves so fast. There is no time to think. Everything requires an immediate response.
Yeah, I guess.
Your knee-jerk reaction, a headline. Search trends last for like a day or two at best. New game releases are like old by the end of the week. New video, well, gotta be the first to like and comment without actually watching what it's about. There's no time for thoughts, for research, for introspection if you're gonna be part of a conversation, or no time
Oh
to
my
look back
god,
and
thank you
actually
for the cute
analyze
tiny
the
hearts,
data.
thank you!
By the
So
time
cute.
that the father
You're
finished
adorable.
reading Scott's response to all this drama, he had already posted
This
his
video is
response.
about drama.
So, since this is going to be a long and tricky episode, to say the least, let me start off by making it crystal clear that I am pro-LGBTQ rights. And you don't have to take my word for that. I was in theater for years before I started doing YouTube, and
What?
it is difficult to be a narrow-minded bigot.
We
in
playing
the United
Blocktails
States.
later? Yes,
I'm a
we
member of the
playing
LA
Blocktails
LGBT
later.
Center, and I attend their events because I support their mission. And most importantly, I've done the best I can to
Do you
keep a
want to
sense of
play with
appeal
me?
to LGBT audience members. And also,
See if you
my
can
team
play,
members
okay?
know
There's
that
no problem
something
if you
is
can't play
okay
today.
or no longer okay, or they explain an LGBT
Sure, oh my god, so cute,
perspective
thank
that
you!
I don't know or understand because I don't live that. I don't have that experience in my life, so I'll never be able to know everything or be able to truly speak on behalf of people in that community, but
Bro, his jacket is cool. No, I'm seeing the jacket. I should have more attentive to what he's saying, but the jacket is cool. And that painting is so adorable, bro.
Try to defend myself by wrapping up
I know, you don't need to catch up, bro. Don't you worry.
Bothers me how so many companies just use identity politics to be trendier, try to sell more merch. It feels more like clout chasing to me rather than, you know, actual stances on things. No, I believe that if you want real change, it's not changing your logo to a rainbow for 30 days, but rather it's giving people of all types opportunities 365 days of the year, regardless of how they identify or who they love. And I'm proud to say that the team consists of people all across the spectrum. And I'm proud that they're here because they're talented. And they deserve the chance to show off their unique creativity. Which is why, before I get to addressing the actual hardest subject of all this, Scott
autistic spectrum?
I think it's important to say this right up front.
Because, you know, guys, I'm not autistic, but some psychiatrists now I think I am in the spectrum. I don't know anymore, bro. I got diagnosed with a bunch of stuff already. One day we'll see. Don't you worry, it's not yet confirmed. But if it is, I don't think it's important for you to be worried about that. About me, okay?
It's easy to point at his little anim dude avatar and assign everything in the franchise to him. Heck, I've made a running gag out of our little rivalry over the years. But in reality, Scott's just a figurehead, a visual shorthand to represent everyone who is now instrumental to the running of this franchise. All the authors and illustrators.
No, not autistic spectrum. It's relationship spectrum. Okay, thank you. Sorry.
Fan games, each employing dozens of people who use the franchise as their launch pad for their livelihoods, or as their own personal creative outlet. By not supporting the franchise as a whole, I'm not supporting those creators. And even more importantly, it's also that I wouldn't be supporting the community itself. The people who still do find this franchise as a safe haven, a source of
what is happening here?
For their unique creative expression. Scott said it in his retirement announcement. I read it earlier. I've witnessed the creation of possibly the most creative and talented fan base on the planet. And he's not kidding. There are so few fandoms like the FNAF fandom. I mean,
oh my god, a big animatronic.
There's so many darn fan games dedicated to it. And to me, these fans are the lifeblood of the community now. Of
oh my god.
Franchise now, not just Scott himself. And let me make it clear, just because I choose to support the series doesn't mean that I think anyone is wrong to not support it. That's definitely not the case. Wherever you choose to draw the line on this issue is completely valid. I'm just taking you through my thought process and all the variables that I went through as I came to terms with this whole issue. But aren't I, by supporting
you know, I guess this is the stuff of separating the art from the artist, I guess.
You might ask, and yeah.
My favorite FNAF fan is still is Five Nights at Freddy's. I know, bro, you love that game so much, I have to get that game.
The good of supporting the community around the franchise and the jobs that it creates is worth whatever minor impact.
Is it paid or is it free? Oh my god, I forgot to add a Nightmare card to my Steam. Oh my god, I will add it after the stream.
Applies to pretty much any major company that you talk about. There are good people and bad people pretty much everywhere. And not even that extreme, there are just people that you agree with and people that you disagree with everywhere. For one example that I think we could all relate to, just look at Walt Disney. There's great evidence to show that Walt was probably prejudiced against other races,
oh my god,
other religions. As one biographer states, quote, Disney willingly, even enthusiastically embraced
bro, this is a really political video, bro. I'm not used to see this stuff. The full game is also free, but gets real hard at night 4, but the demo is the first 2 nights. If it's free, why it has a demo?
Reincarnated one day. Or a more recent and much more extreme example, billionaire J.K. Rowling, creator of the Harry Potter universe, who has just all sorts of problematic viewpoints that she chooses to share on Twitter. Do you stop the Harry Potter franchise to prevent adding to her immense wealth? You can, and it is absolutely a valid option. Hitting people in their pocketbook is always the best place to get them to notice. But where things get complicated is when you start looking to their influence outside of just their IP. J.K. Rowling, for instance, is
Them was also when the first night was on. Okay.
Does that mean you then boycott that entire place? Even if that isn't true, it's still a licensing deal that she profits from. And by going, you contribute to her ongoing success. It is like this impossible dilemma.
And now I understand about the Five Nights at Freddy. What is this?
Means that you are unwittingly supporting toxic pesticides, exploiting, contributing to global warming. Humans think that they're making one choice, but they're actually making dozens of choices they don't even know they're making.
In my mind, it ultimately
I guess that's true, bro.
Have to weigh the good of a decision against the bad. As YouTube video essayist Lindsay Ellis said in her examination of whether you can support Harry Potter without supporting J.K. Rowling.
Because of her wealth and influence, she's going to be believed more than the
I guess, you know, just separate the art from the artist, I guess.
The way you read
in these cases.
You cannot control the way an author uses their money and influence.
And if LGBT rights are something very important to you and you think Scott is dangerous to those, then him stepping down from the franchise and removing
I don't know if it works, bro. I'm not much into this kind of stuff.
Moving forward, so you can always weigh that into your consideration of how you're going to view the overall franchise. Again, where you choose to draw that line is absolutely your choice and your choice alone. I'm just taking you through my week.
Oh my god, the music that is playing in the background is a banger.
I'm choosing to support the franchise moving
I'm sorry for it to get so much distraction. Oh my god.
Of them all, which is Scott himself. How to feel about him, you know? Again, because the internet moves so fast and because everyone just hates to read, I never really saw people looking at what he actually said in his response to all this drama. Instead, just jumped to the conclusion of, well, he admitted that he donated to these people, so he needs to be canceled now.
Twitter, lol. Now it's sex.
Supporting some of these individuals is an outright deal breaker, and again, that is totally your right to make that call, but to me, I wanted to know more, right? Because I had a feeling that maybe this is tied to the state of American politics. And this is stepping way outside of my comfort zone here.
True, yeah, for me too, bro. I don't understand much about politics.
It's always been a frustrating process to me because it forces you into one of two buckets. Are you red or are you blue? Are you elephant or are you donkey? Are you Republican or are you Democrat? It is a binary choice.
What's the difference?
Two people that are for these really important jobs, and that's about it. There are no other options. Or there are other options in the form
That's
of
France flag.
Because the system is set up the way it
Just
is,
a French
they don't
flag.
stand that much of a chance. And so everyone is always telling you that if you vote for them, you're throwing away your vote. So long story short, most elections just wind up being a compromise. You have to pick and choose whatever your most important issues are for that election cycle, and because no one candidate truly embodies them all, you have to vote for the lesser of two evils, in a sense. There is never this one perfect candidate that truly represents me as the voter, and I hate that.
Jeez.
And I wouldn't be surprised if maybe Scott felt
This is
like
really
he was in a similar
confusing for
position.
me.
So
I don't understand
wanted to
much
look
about
closer at his
this.
response. And admittedly, it's a long one, but I think it's important to not overly edit Scott's words in this case, but don't worry, we'll break it down as we go through it. I've debated greatly how best to address this, including not addressing it at all. But with so many people from the LGBT community in the fan base that I love, that's not an option. I'd like to think that the last 7 years would have given me the benefit of the doubt in regards to how I try to treat people. But there I was, trending on Twitter for being a homophobe, getting doxxed, with people threatening to come to my
He
house.
got
All of this
doxxed.
because I exercised my right and my duty as an American citizen to vote for and support the candidates who I felt could best run the country. For everyone. And that's something that I won't apologize for. Okay, let's
what?
there for a minute. First, as someone who has received very vivid death threats and have had to go into hiding out of fear of my family's life, just because I do a dumb show online where I call Sonic slow, personal attacks and threats.
Bro, what?
Never. Period.
Sonic is slow? What?
Him for who he chooses to support, fine. Pull your support of him, of his franchise, of his games, absolutely. But harassing and threatening someone's life and his family simply because they supported someone
You know, the
disagree
family
with,
probably is not
makes you no
guilty, you
better
know?
than the people that
It's
you
just
love.
its family.
That's just the way I feel. And when it comes to giving Scott the benefit of the doubt, like he asks for in this response, honestly, he has that from me. It's easy to overlook, but Scott, over the years, has donated over $1.2 million of his own money to charity.
Scott called it himself!
Including
What is happening?
$50,000 to the Trevor Project, an
What is a
organization that is
Trevor
focused on
Project?
helping LGBTQ youth. Does that necessarily negate the $42,000 that he made in political donations? Again, that is a personal
But
choice for
why do
to
you
call on, but
do
I
donations
think
to
it at least merits
political
being
stuff?
Anyway, the quote continues.
Do they need
For those
that
of you who took the
money?
time to look,
I
you saw
don't
that the
know.
candidates
I don't know how
supported
this stuff
include men,
works.
women, white people, black people, Republicans, and Democrats. I supported Kimberly Classic in Baltimore because I believed that she really cared for the African American community there and wanted to pull them out of poverty. I believe she could have really made a difference in a time when so many black communities were struggling. She lost, unfortunately. I supported Tulsi Gabbard, a Democrat, even though I disagreed with her on several occasions.
What are you doing? Thank you for the sticker, bro. Thank you.
I felt he was the best man to fuel a strong economy and stand up to America's enemies abroad, of which there are many. Even if there were candidates who had better things to say to the LGBT community directly and bigger.
What was the moment, bro?
I believe that their stances
You know,
on
why
other
do you make
issues would
donations
end up doing
to
much greater harm to those communities
political
than would. All of this
campaigns?
explanation, I fear, is wasted.
It is so
People
weird
don't
for
want to
me.
discuss with one another anymore. They want endless apologies
Okay,
and
thank
submission.
you.
People who are expecting those from
You
them
are
will
also
neither.
cute talking in the chat.
Okay, so now this gets to the heart of the problem that people had with Scott, who he chose to support through his donation dollars. And the list is quite long if you look at opensecrets.com. 16 candidates specifically singled out.
I think you could just vote. You don't need to give them money, right?
Like he called out in a statement, who, in his response, he not only chooses to support, but actually calls out as his first choice
thank you.
for president. I think this actually merits looking into. It's a bit weird. I'm about to roll into kind of like a mini game theory on political donations, which I don't really love, but hey, if we're doing it, let's do it right, so here we go. So, looking at the timeline of his 2019 and 2020 donations, Tulsi is in fact the first to receive any money from Scott, followed by his donation to Trump 2 months later. Now, this
Bro, they probably are rich. Why are you donating? I don't understand this. This is so confusing. I'm sorry.
That when his first choice, Tulsi, was no longer a viable presidential candidate, he instead pivoted and donated to the candidate that he most believed in, who also
hot time. Wait, I'm gonna put a hat. Oops, sorry. Wait, I'm fixing this. Okay, good. What's that time? Each side put a hat. That's basically that.
So had the best shot of winning, Donald Trump. But what was the policy that Scott appears to have cared about the most? Well, if you look into all
you know, I have many props and I put a prop. You know, I have many types of hats and every time that thing is activated, I change my hat.
Keeping trade strong and standing against foreign powers like North Korea. This also coincides with his statements about defending against enemies abroad.
I don't understand anything on this video, bro. I'm sorry. I'm the head. Now you're the head creator. True. Oh, that's a bomb!
Dunked on by an overseas nuke.
Jeez.
Now, I've seen people say that everyone on Scott's donation list also had a history of opposing same-sex and transgender rights. I chose to look into this, and across the board, that's largely true, except for Tulsi.
Later we'll do a Cult of the Lamb hat. Yeah. Do you want it to do it tomorrow? We have arts time in the next 2 days.
She supported efforts to promote LGBT equality, including co-sponsoring pro-LGBT legislation like the Equality Act, which, if you don't know, is a bill to amend
Hello!
to promote
That's so cute. Hello, Neufals. How are you?
She went on Twitter.
We are watching a video about political stuff that's in the playlists. And this is so weird. I don't understand this stuff. I'm too dumb for this.
When she introduced a bill that many saw as anti-transgender, something that was leveled hard against Scott's choice to support her. But
lol.
After Scott chose to donate to her campaign. The TLDR of all.
Call me tomorrow someone, yeah. Okay, kitty patootie. Also, tomorrow, are you gonna play with me? Or do I proceed with Minecraft?
The best I can put it. Outside of that, the only commonality that I could see across pretty much every candidate that Scott chose to support was keeping the military strong. Now, to be sure, not everyone places the same emphasis on that issue or considers America.
I only want to have just menu.
People on the other side of this issue may believe that the bigger threat is personal
me and you.
of people who are already in the country. Again,
but no, false. It's community day. Everyone can join.
God forbid, I do not want to do that. But it is my
probably
my political theory.
We'll see. Oh my God, get tiny face! Thank you. Okay, if nobody else joins, it's okay. It will be only me and you, Neufals. It depends on what. Oh my God, look at tiny faces! Thank you.
One who was publicly pro-LGBTQ rights at the time, he moved on to the next.
You know, we'll see. Did you find out how to get Twitch into to work on Cult of the Lamb? No, I still didn't. Oh my God, I forgot about that.
And let me be clear, I'm not trying to explain away.
I was reading and also joking around. Neufals, you're adorable.
That he donated to these people? Yeah, but is it enough for me to throw away?
I found. Why didn't you tell me anything, a creator? Jesus.
No. It's not. Like I said, a donation is a donation, and to many that is more than enough to condemn him. But I just thought it was interesting in my research.
Wait, let me see. There's also cute emote creator. It's like a black cat, I guess.
That life isn't black and white, red or blue.
I just say that he said black and white, and I just say that cute cat, black cat emote.
Everything wound up. Seeing ScottGames.com go dark after years of me checking it for updates. Or
found yesterday. Why didn't you tell me, cutie patootie?
It was a sobering moment. It was a sad moment knowing that it was dead now.
Just pausing the game and Twitch appears.
Someone who respects all the work that Scott's done. But I think
really? That's weird.
What I would encourage anyone out there who is struggling with this to look at.
Oh my God, so many good emotes! Thank you.
Regardless
that's so
of
adorable.
His true beliefs, whatever they may be.
That's so cute.
Has been a
Thank
source
you.
Of security and identity for so many people over the last 7 years, and it will continue to be.
Ah, so cute. I'm telling you now. Also cute tiny cat emote. Thank you. You're all adorable.
Life is all about trying to do the greatest good with the hand that you've been dealt, and the good that is spawned out of Freddy and his friends, for creators, for fans, for gaming as a whole.
I don't know why, but that's the video sounds.
I've had this recurring theme of, it's a new era of FNAF, the old
no, probably it's my computer. Let's see if it's better.
And I gotta be honest, now that rings true.
Oh my god, cute animal, thank you!
I assure you, I'll be here with you for the ride. But
so many kitties.
Not a theory, honestly. That's a fact.
Oh my god, cute tiny dogs! Thank you, Noifals.
Thank you for watching, and thank you for staying open-minded.
This was not a game theory, it was political theory, I guess. That I don't understand much, but okay. Oh my god, more cute animals! Thank you, Shiny Pikachu! Wait, you're halfway? Yes. Almost.
New Five Nights at Freddy's book drop. Let's see what's new to talk about in the world of FNAF.
Somehow, yes, somehow true.
For a scare when Fazbear Entertainment
I'm streaming this since like Christmas.
Sea bunnies, small blue fish with rabbit ears.
You know, so yeah, it's a lot of days.
Water tremble as they multiply inside his stomach and steal his identity. One cloned human made up of thousands of little blue bunny fish.
Jesus, what is that? What a weird resume.
Nope.
I wonder where Shill is. Maybe he's on school. I'm not sure. Ooh,
hello,
fish!
Internet. Welcome to Game Theory, the show that asks, have you signed my petition to make me the host of Jeopardy yet? I just need about 8,000 more signatures to get to our goal. And whether or not you know or
Fish Bunny, so cute, yeah, no, false Fish Bunny.
Your signature on that petition is a way to help support
doing the math only about 4 more streams.
Well, also just a huge vote of support to all of your favorite digital creators who often get overlooked and tossed aside by mainstream media. As a great example of that, our petition, when it crossed 200,000 signatures in a week,
counting
got
this
covered
one,
by one
thank
blog.
you.
Huge shout out to Newsweek. Thank
I'm
you
betting
for
5. Oh my god, cute tiny face, no false. Thank you.
An older school celebrity
Fish,
took
yeah,
nearly
fish.
a year to get to the same place. Got
the
tons
word
of
fish.
articles all over the
The
place.
word
Just
fish
saying,
is so
iniquity in this space. It's a real thing.
It's so
anyway, it's not like I'm going to be
funny.
leaving the channels or anything like that. If anything were to come of
Also,
this.
thank
so if you have any
you,
questions,
Shiny Pikachu, for reminding me. Jeopardy is a quiz show.
And sign it. Push me over the goal. I just love
it's
to show
about
the world
what?
Yet again,
About what
why
type
this
of questions?
And why digital creators as a whole are worthy of attention and respect. I know you guys are. I'm fighting on all of our behalves, and I'm going to keep shoving it down people's throats until they start to listen. Anyway, thank you so much for your support. Now, on to FNAF. You know the phrase jumping the shark? It dates back to an episode of the classic series
Jumping
Happy
the
Days,
Shark.
which aired in the mid-70s.
Any
and early
questions?
80s. This show
okay, thank
crushed,
you.
running for 11 seasons.
Oh my god, look
and
at those
staying as a top
cars.
5 most
So
watched
cute
show for
and
3 straight
amazing
years.
cars.
People loved this thing. Anyway, season 5,
What thing?
episode 3. At the peak of the show's fame, they do a special series of episodes where the characters all take a trip to Hollywood.
Is
And
it
the cool
even
guy on the
about
show,
FNAF
the
anymore?
Fonz,
I don't know, bro, Noifals. It's on the playlist, I have to watch it.
bravery by jumping over a shark on water skis. And as you probably guessed, he does it, complete with swim
my
trunks
god.
and trademark leather jacket. It was a moment that was so ridiculous, so over the top, and so dumb that it single-handedly created the phrase that would forever after be used when a series loses all of its sense. At this point, FNAF, it's
What
jumped
is
all
this?
the sharks. Just a big old shark sandwich.
Bro, what
Giant
is this?
tower of sharks right
So many
there. The only thing that
sharks,
would
oh
make
my
this more
god.
sharky would be if it suddenly introduced a shark animatronic. They haven't done that yet, right? Right?
5 knots
Well,
at
there's still time.
Sharkies.
Those Bonnie
Okay,
Guppies
lol.
get dangerously close, just saying. But in all seriousness, over in Bookland, the Fazbear Fright series
Shark
has just released
Tower.
its penultimate
True
installment,
Noifals,
and,
Shark
it's
Tower.
weird, tiny rabbit guppies that steal your identity. A pink
Oh my
substance
god,
called
what is
Fazgoo
this,
that
lol?
hunts you down and steals your identity. Animatronics that body swap you in order to steal your identity. Huh. There's a definite pattern in these stories, isn't there? Could animatronics stealing identities and humans not actually being themselves be
This is
somehow
so
important
weird,
to the
bro.
lore of the series? Certainly seems like the books are beating that point over our heads. And honestly,
That
this points
scares
to a
me.
larger trend here. For as crazy as these stories have gotten, and believe me, they've really gone off the rails at this point, there's
Lol.
definitely still merit in them from a lore-solving perspective. Because, as I'm about to show you, for every story about underwater rabbit guppies swimming around in your insides, there's another one or two that get you asking brand new questions about both the past and future of the franchise.
Oh, so cute,
go
Toy
ahead,
Chica.
take a break from eating your
Ah,
best
it's not
friend
Toy
that happened
Chica,
to
it's
fall
like
into a
a
bad
Glam Rock
pizza
Chica.
sauce, something that, yes, also kind of happened in one of these stories, and consider the following
And it
three theories
also got
ripped
worse a
straight
bit now. I'm
from
seeing sitting on my chair just for my cat to sleep on my bed. Oh, sorry, Neufels. Maybe your cat just wakes up and goes to the chair and you go to the bed to get more comfortable.
Yeah, it's not actually a Freddy Fazbear establishment. And you see,
but is the cat like
every other pizza place in the Fazbear
occupying the whole bed? Neufels, like that's a lot.
But for some reason, this one is deliberately different. What's also noteworthy about the Pizza Playground is the restaurant's animatronic band, which, we're told, breaks down frequently. These things are straight up busted. The roster includes a banjo-strumming country pig, a bear creatively named Baron Von Bear, 2 other unnamed
creatures bed for just my cat.
That's
cute, Neufels.
Now, if the words banjo pig don't jump out to you, well, congratulations.
But the cat shouldn't be so, taking everything for him. Your cat should share with you.
Melodies. The crew of broken
my dog Rex also doesn't share much. But it's adorable what you're gonna do. My dog is adorable. Where is my dog? I think Rex is with my mom now.
A talkative hippo, a cute young frog, and an overdramatic elephant. They're characters that we all brushed off at the time because they just seemed unaffiliated with anything Fazbear related. And then they came back, returning an ultimate custom night where they collectively gave voice to Cassidy, the one you should not have killed, as evidenced by voice lines like this.
Everyone underestimates me, but then they turn their back and I'm like, boo, and they're like, what?
Sorry,
what?
Up the wrong shift.
So cute.
This is how it feels, and you get to experience it over and over. I will never let you leave.
It suddenly occurs to me that maybe they were the ones that had to be Cassidy's voice in this game because he's a spirit who's trapped inside Golden Freddy, a spring-lock suit who was never actually given a true voice box, whereas everyone else in the series was given a voice at least at some point. Just a thought that I had randomly in the recording booth as I was rereading these lines. Also, Springtrap is able to talk because he has a guy inside of him, so interesting. Anyway, the Mediocre Melodies, a generic Freddy alternative, a country pig that plays the banjo, unnamed other characters that break down frequently. It seems like Pizza Playground animatronics are indeed the Mediocre Melodies, which makes the call
out my cat is first on bed, I kick them
part of the band particularly interesting. Was Chica originally a Mediocre Melody? Chica has always been a bit of an oddball in the group. For instance, she's the only one to go missing
makes
for a game,
sense.
specifically in Sister Location, when she's the only one of the core 4 to not appear. And if you'll remember all the way back to the teasers for Sister Location, Chica's party board was listed in the source code as a
why don't you hold your cat,
entertainment and rentals. We also know that
lay on the bed and put your cat in your lap.
Days, which means that Chica had
I think your cat is gonna love that. I don't know how cats work.
The entire time. I mean,
I only have dogs, and the only cat I had was for only 2 days because actually it was not a street cat, it was from someone else, so I had to,
makes you wonder where Foxy the pirate comes in now.
Return him
home. I bring
home.
all of this up is that for a long time I've suspected that Chica
Do
is
cats
the key
like,
to the whole
I never like
timeline
picking
of the
up my
game.
cat.
No joke,
I'm
I
sorry,
literally
no false, I
have an
didn't
email in
know
my
that.
inbox for years addressed to myself reminding me to follow the missing
I don't know how
Chica,
cats
since her
work,
coming
I'm
and going from the
sorry.
lineup seems important, but up until now I've never had enough dots to put together in a timeline. We've known for a long time that she was the
so
first
many
kid stopped with
dots.
the little girl Susie. But now
It's
this
alright,
story
thank you,
potentially
my
connecting her
false.
to the Mediocre Melodies is yet another piece of evidence.
All
that
cats
we
can be
need. So if you
different,
ever see a
thank
video
you.
titled "Follow the Missing Chica,"
I
you'll know
guess
that
it's
we
like
finally
how
figured it out. Theory number
everyone,
2,
right?
Balloon
All
Boy
dogs are
solved.
different, all
boy, it's
pirates
time
are
to talk
different,
about-
all people are
I don't know if
different,
you noticed this, but
you know?
50 videos into our FNAF series, and I haven't talked about Balloon Boy once. Not a
Yeah.
single theory dedicated to that guy. Go back and check me on that, but I've intentionally avoided him, largely because he doesn't fit anywhere. His design is different, his behavior is different, he doesn't seem to be possessed by kids, and honestly, I've just never had a good sense of what to do with Balloon Boy in the lore of this franchise. Until today, in that same puppet carver story with the Mediocre Melodies, we're introduced to Porter, the handyman who's supposed to be in charge of the faulty animatronics of the Pizza Playground. But Porter dreams of bigger things. You see, he's a bit of an animatronics genius, and his plan is to take wood and transform it into something alive. To quote from the story, I'm
that's
almost
weird.
finished with the prototype of my machine. It will will create low-cost but highly functional animatronics made from only an inexpensive slab of wood. And not only is this guy a genius, he aspires to greater things. Quote again, once I get a patent on my invention and find a buyer, I'm gonna be out of here so fast I'll leave a dust trail. I mean, taking wood and imbuing it with the ability to move on its own, yeah, I'd say that's gonna earn you some quick cash. And here's the thing, it works. In the story, we see Porter turn a log into an actual moving character, no remnant or Fazgoo required. He flips a switch on its back and it just comes to life. They describe it as resembling the drawing models from high school art class, but specifically call out that were you to put the figure in a fuzzy suit, it would resemble a bunny or a fox or a bear, and you'd have a low-cost animatronic. In short, it feels like this story gives us a lot. First, reading the story felt like reading Henry's origin.
But how do you make them
animatronic inventor just looking for a buyer to partner up with to launch his career? A buyer maybe
it's kind of
William Afton.
weird.
It seems to me that Henry was a college engineer with a great idea, and his earliest experiments were in the form of these living wooden dolls. This, in turn, explains both Balloon Boy and the Mini-Renas. Remember, the book describes these wooden puppets as resembling the drawing models from high school art class, which, if you're not familiar, are these guys. That is why we have so many living dolls wandering around these pizzerias that
my art school, we didn't use those dolls, actually.
Hello?
In short, Balloon Boy isn't an animatronic, or at least not in the way that
it's
we all
wood. I
consider
want one of
animatronics,
those.
as, you know, living robots
do they
with dead
move well?
children's souls trapped in them.
You know,
with remnant,
I don't
all
have
that
those.
stuff. Taking it one step further, this might even have timeline implications.
Like,
Wooden dolls
my
appear in
love,
pretty
a
much
creator
all the games
didn't
currently
buy
thought
one
to be
of
the
those
earliest in the
because he
timeline.
says
FNAF 2, of course,
that
with
they are
Balloon Boy,
not
but also
good
very
enough for
heavily
him.
sister
So
location. On the
I
main console, there's a marionette
gave
named
my
Little Joe, a doll named
bodycon to him.
a gypsy figurine, and a
It's
series of
kind of freaky. Okay, no, False, thank you for telling me.
Baby, Ballora, even the puppet's face all seem to stem from this era of Henry's creations. It seems to me that
because you know, in art school we didn't use those.
Look and feel of the Funtime
We used
animatronic,
pictures and stuff like that
opening and
to
immediate
draw.
closure of Circus Baby's Pizza World. As a reminder, Baby's Pizza World has never actually appeared in the game.
same
Rather, we know
False.
that it exists based on hidden website text, and that it was closed down due to a quote-unquote gas leak. It's just
Gas
PR
leak.
speak for Afton's daughter getting nabbed by Baby, and the characters got retired down into the basement, which would eventually become Circus Baby's Entertainment and Rentals. The only game that happens earlier than these two is currently FNAF 4, and wouldn't you know it, that's also the only one without a Balloon Boy appearance, or rather a questionably canon appearance, since Nightmare Balloon Boy was in it briefly as part of the Halloween update. Long story short, perhaps the appearance of Balloon Boy and the other wooden clown-faced characters marks the start of William and Henry's partnership. I know a lot of people tend not to believe me when I say that a lot of evidence points to sister location happening early in the timeline, but I think all of this is yet more fuel to that fire. And while we're on the subject of William, theory number 3, William Afton is a stepfather. At the beginning of the series, the observation that
but why is that important to the story?
Stories have a theme of identities being stolen. At this point, it feels like it appears once in every book. The other massive theme that keeps recurring in these tales are single-parent households, dads abandoning the family and just straight-up bad dads. Lots and lots of bad fathers. Up through the 8th book, 12 of 24 stories feature a single-parent home. Just to run through some quick examples, in the book Step Closer, there are 2 stories that have a dad up and leave the family. 1:35 a.m. is about a foster child that had an abusive foster dad. The New Kid, another abusive dad who left. The Cliff,
why so
about
many
a single
sad
dad
stuff?
losing his son. Breaking Wheel has the character Reed, who has a single dad who's, quote, trying his best. And in the short story What We Found, which is basically just a retelling of FNAF 3, Hudson loses his father when he takes his own life on account of mental illness, only to wind up with Lewis, yet another abusive stepfather. To me, this is not a coincidence. It's the books yet again trying to point our attention to a common theme in the game, that Afton may not be the father that we've assumed he was this entire time. At this point, we're fairly certain that the orange guy from the FNAF 6 minigame Midnight Motorist is Purple Guy, who is also William Afton, and we see that he's far from a caring and compassionate father, banging on doors, yelling at his son, making threats. Shock of all shocks, the guy who moonlights by kidnapping kids and running experiments on those remnant souls
this is
uses in the
confusing
father
for
you wanna
me.
go into the backyard and play catch with. Whoa, who would have saw that one coming? But the fact is, the books seem to be alluding to another layer in this, that he isn't actually Crying Child or Elizabeth's biological father. It would explain why Baby in both the Silver Eyes trilogy and Fazbear Frights feels a cold distance from her dad. Not just that he's lost his work, but that he's not interested in her outside of what she can do for his experiments. That might be why he actually prefers Henry's daughter to his own. It might also explain Afton's relationship with the Crying Child.
That's so
How we
weird.
suspected for a while that Afton
Okay,
might have
this
been
is
running
sus.
experiments on him, torturing him with animatronics
He's so
and supervising
sus.
him with surveillance cameras from his underground office. Taking it one step further, remember that story of Hudson whose dad took his own life? Well, Henry in both Silver Eyes and FNAF World is shown to take his own life. And Hudson
Oh
in the
my God.
Fazbear Fright story is a very clear parallel for Michael Afton. So could Michael Afton have started as Henry's son, only to wind up as William's stepson?
What
Think back
is
to the
this,
sister
bro?
location
This is so
cartoon.
confusing.
Vera, the baby isn't mine.
An undying vampire in purple repeatedly saying, "He's not my son," in between every night of that game. I mean, it is a big swing when it comes to theories,
I guess.
but I think there's at
I
least
think it
some
kinda
interesting
confirms the
parallels there to
stuff.
consider. Supporting this, we've also yet to see any adult females in the Afton household. Now, I've speculated that Bellora's song is about a wife leaving her husband when he can't escape his own grief, but who knows? That song could be related to Henry's grief at the loss of his daughter Charlie. In the original novels, we're shown that Charlie dies, and that Henry loses his mind with grief, leading him to eventually take his own life.
Oh
What if
my
the line
God,
about the
that's
empty tomb
depressing.
isn't William's sadness, but rather a song about Henry's. And that in the aftermath of his death, his kids go to William, his partner. Oh yeah, speaking of
Oh
Charlie,
my God,
did you know
no.
that the puppet's name officially was Coils the Clown for a while? It's true. In the story Jump for Tickets, we're introduced to a character named Coils the Clown who, quote, has a lanky body with lemon and lime stripes. It has long arms, 3 fingers, and a face that looks like a crescent moon that turns upside down when it's sad. And just
Oh my
like the
God.
security puppet in the game, Coils the Clown is canonically responsible for roaming around the restaurant looking for intruders and gets sad when a child dies accidentally on his watch. Again, like everything with all the books, there's definitely some changes that have been made, but the thought of the puppet having an actual name and that name being funny like Coils the Clown made me pretty
Coils the
happy,
Clown,
even
it's
though it was a
kinda
small
cute.
thing. So there you have it, friends. 3 more theories to chew on down in the comments below and on the Game Theorist subreddit. You can bet that I will be reading all of your thoughts, so make sure you keep them coming. I don't know if any of these will lead to massive lore revelations, but hey, they were things that I thought were at least worthy of calling out and thinking about. And all of this is without even mentioning the stuff that's happening around
Ooh,
security.
look at that,
breach.
so
I mean, have you
fancy.
seen the new images coming out of their secret
Jesus, that's
website?
horrible, that's
Pretty
horrible, that's
terrifying
horrible,
stuff.
what the
Still
hell?
early days to be sure over there,
Jesus,
which is why I didn't want to
that
comment
picture.
on any of that yet, but you can bet that we're starting to get close to the actual release of a game in this game franchise. FNAF season is upon us yet again, and finally I'll have a game to talk about rather than more books. So stay safe and watch out for any misfiring animatronics tied to security databases. In the meantime, remember, it's all
Not
just a
these
theory.
missing
A
fireworks.
game theory.
That's so
Thanks
weird.
for watching. You know, we joke about it a lot on the channels, but FNAF really has taken over my life. I mean, if I'm not gonna scour all 10 Fazbear Frights books for lore the second they're released, then who's gonna? Recently, though, I've been trying to broaden my horizons by consuming content that isn't FNAF related. I know, shock of all shocks. I'm actually dipping my toe into the world of modern independent cinema. You know, things like Willy's Wonderland, the Banana Splits movie. Oh,
Banana
well,
Split
Haunted
move?
Pizzeria inspired or not,
That's
today's
real?
sponsor NordVPN is here to connect you with your
Ooh,
favorite content
ads.
from around the world. Nord is the trusted online security solution used by hundreds of thousands of internet users worldwide, including myself, in order to keep their online info safe behind a wall of next generation encryption. So if your
Whoa.
open tabs look anything like mine,
Oh my God, look at Tiny Rainbow Kitty, thank you
rest
so
easy knowing
much.
absolutely no one will ever have the ability to track your data. Not even Nord. With their strict
I love those
no-logs
emotes, they're
policy,
so
they don't
cute. Oh
track,
my God,
collect,
thank you,
or share your
Noifalls.
private data. Your business stays your business, thankfully for me. Plus, did you know that with a VPN, you're given access to streaming sites from around the world? That's right, with NordVPN, you can access other countries' versions of your favorite streaming sites. For instance, the Banana Splits movie that I talked about earlier, you gotta buy that thing over here in the States, but 2 clicks and suddenly you're over in Canada and it's streaming for free on Netflix. Same thing with
what?
Willy's
It's free?
Wonderland. Here in the States, you need Hulu, but 2 clicks over to Canada yet again, and animatronic horror is streaming for free on Netflix.
It's
Things really
Netflix
are
is
better north of the border,
streams
and you can enjoy
stuff for
those things without
free?
leaving your home using Nord. So get Nord today and help support the channel by clicking the link in the description below or going to
Bro, I didn't know that Netflix streaming stuff for free.
MATPAT. And make sure you use that code MATPAT at checkout to get a 2-year plan plus an additional 4 months for free. Again, that's
Slay, I guess, I don't know.
NordVPN.com/MatPat with the offer code MatPat at checkout to take advantage of Nord's worldwide servers and ensure your privacy online. And as always, thanks for watching.
Oh no.
This is going to be a hard one.
Uh.
Today we're going to talk about FNAF, like we have
Jesus, sorry.
Bit by bit, we've been working to solve Security Breach before its launch, and so far I feel pretty darn good about what we've concluded. The reappearance of Glitch Trap and the dual nature of Vanny seem all but confirmed. The repurposing of the toy animatronics still feels very much possible. Even some of my bigger
Glamrock
swings have
Chica is
wound
so
up being
sly.
home runs.
What is that?
Well, that's explicit. Real quick.
What?
Music Man FNAF. There's a couple like evidence pieces or like loose threads that I keep in the back of my head and hold it until a point where it becomes useful. Music Man is one of those. So to suddenly see a character with 6 legs and clown gloves, this is the closest thing that connects. I would assume because anything that usually has a lot of legs like this is able to climb walls and climb ceilings. I wouldn't be surprised to see this be attacking you from the ceiling or a wall.
Jesus Christ. I like Glamrock Freddy. Oh yes, true. Glamrock Freddy is sly.
So, we've talked about the villains, we've talked about the animatronics.
You know, I think the Glamrock animatronics are one of the best ones. They're so beautiful. In a way, like the style is really good and the colors. Jeez.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Game Theory, the show
Also like
that
Sun and
critics
Moon.
describe as Vanny-tastic.
Oh yeah, that's, you know,
quick reminder that one
but
week from today,
like
Tuesday,
Sun and Moon are
November
the
30th,
same
is our
animatronic,
big
but
and final
they have
charity
different
live stream
personalities.
benefit
Like,
St. Jude. It is the single biggest YouTube collaboration.
the Sun
of the
one
year.
is so
53
adorable and the
years
Moon one
across
is kind
9
of
hours.
scary.
We have everything from Markiplier doing trumpet solos and Dawko doing contortions to Corpse Husband reading children's books and Dream getting dunked on in Squid Game. There's even giveaways
What is
that you can win
happening?
with your donations. Pixel 6s, OLED switches, even special Security Breach merch that was sent to us directly from Steel Wool Studios. And it's all dedicated to treating children with cancer and then passing those treatments along so that anyone else affected with cancer can benefit. Which, gotta say, all of us know someone who's been affected by cancer. And when you're a dad, hearing that a child has gotten that awful diagnosis makes it hit even harder. So if you want to be a part of the biggest YouTube collab of the year in a day full of fun and charity, make sure you're here next Tuesday, November 30th. Can we cross $1 million in 9 hours? I'll need your help to get there, so hit the button that you see on screen right now to ensure you're notified.
I'm like, I think 3 years, sorry. But I can donate off stream, you know, I don't need to donate in a specific day, I can donate whenever I want, I guess.
4 uploads, styled like an old Hanna-Barbera cartoon like 1969 Scooby-Doo or 1958's Yogi
You know, we
Bear,
can
have been
always
a
help
huge
at any
source of
time,
information
and that's
about this upcoming
important.
game, with each one hiding a frame or two screenshot of an existing animatronic in the middle of
What?
the episode, as
What
well
is
as
that?
the more focused reveal of a new animatronic towards the end. So, hidden in the middle of episodes, you see glitches showcasing Chica, Roxy Wolf, Monty Gator, our security guard from the game's first teaser, but now with yellow eyes, and these creepy bots, which we later
That's
learn
so
in the game's
creepy,
trailer
lol,
appear
my
to be the
god.
service bots that are wandering around the Security Breach's mall complex. Meanwhile, at
Jesus.
the end of each video, you had the reveal of the Sun and Moon guy, Evil Vanny, and of course,
Music Man!
there's even the
Music
reintroduction
Man.
of Glitch Trap, who, in the final video, can be found by piecing together the upload's 20 purple and yellow glitches kind of like a puzzle. Probably one of the coolest ideas for a teaser reveal that I've ever seen, and honestly, just a really smart callback because, based on the YouTube description for these videos, these things are coming from the Fazbear Entertainment Archive. And what are we doing with these old tapes? We're assembling them. Just like we saw with FNAF VR, where assembling the tapes also assembled Glitch Trap. So, yet again, we assemble a series of tapes, the glitches get stronger upload after upload, and boom, Gold Bunny make people go bye-bye.
Oh my god.
I don't know if they meant this intentionally or
Go
not,
bye bye, bro! I used that expression before you. What? Bro, this is so coincidence now. Matt Pat also uses the bye bye, go bye bye expression, I guess. It's okay. Everyone can use it. It's not trademarked. And if it was, I would let everyone use it. I'm not like, probably it was not only me that used that expression, lol.
At the end of Fazbear and Friends episode 1, we get this, a sliding tentacle slithering across the screen. And you know it's a big deal because it's simultaneously the first thing they tease, but also the last thing that they're keeping secret. In fact, based on details from the trailer, as well as new clues that have come to light in other parts of the FNAF universe, I not only think I know what that is, but also the whole ending sequence of this game. game. This one is a biggie and feels like, once again, I am swinging for the fences. But if it proves to be true, well, let me tell you.
Oh my god, thank you for the cute emotes, Nightfalls! So adorable!
Speaking of things that get you more hyped than seeing your favorite reject animatronic make his triumphant return, let me just remind you that new FNAF wear and Theory wear are available right now for the holidays. Live out your wildest fantasies in this awesome glam rock.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
Someone's watching your back. Or if black isn't your color, how about something a bit brighter? Like this.
Oh my god, look at these jackets, they're beautiful. Thank you for the tiny dancing dinosaurs, Nightfalls. That's so adorable. Thank you so much.
The only thing it doesn't have are totally rad lasers to go with it. Pew, 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 pew. There's
oh my god, this is so cool.
Or long sleeve t-shirts for all
oh my god, look
at
this.
Monty to Vanny and everyone in between.
Ah no, these ones are really cool.
The drip that'll make your friends go sheesh. Like this jogger set. You'll be camouflaged at your next chess club meeting in stylish black and white with a comfortable slim leg fit. It's sleek enough to wear outdoors and look cool in public, but warm and soft enough for all the
this one is kinda
social cuddling you could possibly
want. Not so colorful.
Soft and cuddly Theory blanket. That's all I have to say. Theory blanket. You and your cats will love it. And if you're looking for more to keep you warm this chill winter, wrap yourself in the big old hug that is this diamond quilted Game Theory jacket and this embroidered Game Theory beanie. Perfect for the wet weather or just a cold basement that you want to keep cold because you don't want to run up your heating bill. Who knows, maybe that's just me instead. Best of all, we have everything in stock right now, which means it's all ready to ship out with no shortages or delays. That means you get it ASAP for yourself.
That's kind of expensive, but okay.
Instant gratification for the win. So go get your FNAF wear or Theory wear by using the link down.
The FNAF wear is amazing.
Shelf below as YouTube continues to try and train you to use their platform as a one-stop shop for all your consumerist needs. Now then, let's talk tentacles. Across the series, there's only ever been one character associated with long, slimy tentacles, and that is Nightmarion, the Nightmare Puppet, who came out as part of the Halloween update for FNAF 4 way back when I still had hopes that this series would end with 4 games. Oh, what a fool I was. And who recently saw in FNAF VR's Night Terrors minigame. This thing is like a hentacle that is just waiting to happen. Probably a hentacle that's already happened, to be honest, but I dare not look in that direction.
Jesus.
So when you see a tentacle sliding across the staticky screen, immediately your mind is going to jump to this character. And from a story standpoint, this would also make some level of sense. I mean, William Afton is back in the form of Glitch Trap, so presumably the puppet, this protector of lost souls that stands opposed to him, would try its best to come along for the ride too.
But weren't Nightmare animatronics like only on the dreams of? Oh yeah.
It's complicated.
You know, yeah, because of that, it's not canon.
You see, Nightmarion's original appearance in FNAF 4's Halloween update is not canon. Something confirmed by Scott a long time ago before that DLC launched. Its appearance in FNAF VR, on the other hand, is canon, but not in the way you think. This is because FNAF VR is itself a video game produced by Fazbear Entertainment. So Nightmarion in the world of FNAF is no better than Mario or Mario or a Slender Man. It's a video game character, and as far as we know, that's it. It's not an actual active part of the real world lore in that universe.
It is confusing anyway.
Provides us another problem here. Canonically, the puppet is burned away. Its spirit is released in the fire that happens at the end of Pizzeria Simulator. And unlike Afton, who created a digitized version of himself hidden in a video game, something tells me that the puppet wasn't coding C++ in between giving gifts, giving life. As the last nail in the coffin here, the tentacle that we see at the end of Freddy and Friends is missing its signature white stripes. Are there ways to bring the puppet back? Sure, Puppet Mask didn't fully burn away and was found in the wreckage of the FNAF 6 pizzeria, so it's still infused with the agony of Charlie in order to fight against Afton one final time, whatever. But honestly, I think there's evidence to suggest a better candidate for that tentacle, Baby. So the final Fazbear Frights book just came out.
That's so random. That's so random.
A chance to look back across the whole collection and analyze what Easter eggs were there.
Cookie time, sorry. It's cookie time now. Let's proceed.
To help solve the game lore. One big takeaway from the series, we now absolutely know what was inside the FNAF 4 box. It was a person. Don't at me about this one. This is undeniable at this point, and nothing you say is gonna change my mind.
Oh my god, they're so adorable! Thank you, creator.
This line during the finale.
Kitty Patuti.
Found the real homeless girl.
Cookie. You're adorable. I love you.
In the abandoned building where Jake had originally found found Eleanor. Now, this one instance alone wouldn't be enough to make me 100% sure about this, but they repeat it.
Bro, we almost
earlier
finished
in
with
the
this
same stretch
playlist,
of,
bro,
20 or so
finally.
pages, the exact same thing happens again. Only this time, it's Eleanor that's locked in the box waiting to pop out. And if those 2 times weren't enough for you, in the final FNAF novel, The Fourth Closet, Baby hides a person inside of a large chest.
Jesus,
and then
no,
goes
that's
to
bad.
steal their identity. Quote from this book: John moved to a large green chest, the paint almost entirely worn off. There was no lock. John knelt beside it, found the handle, and heaved it open, then shuddered, falling back and pushing himself away. Jessica, he gasped, moving back to the chest and leaning over it. Jessica. What, John? I'm trying to listen. It's Charlie, he said hoarsely, in the chest.
Jesus
so, how many
Christ.
times in the various books of this franchise have we opened
It's
up the chest
horrible.
to find some person resting inside? That alone would be enough to be a trend, but the similarities in these situations continue. Not only does this very odd and very specific thing happen in both Fazbear Frights and the Silver Eyes novels, but both times the person inside the box is Charlie the puppet, or whatever her equivalent is in that universe. In The Fourth Closet, it's Charlotte,
Okay.
daughter of the genius animatronic inventor Henry, who tragically loses his young girl and then tries to rebuild her using robots. And over in Fazbear Frights, the homeless girl in the box is named Renelle. Stop me if this starts to sound familiar, but she's the daughter of genius inventor Dr. Telber.
Who is that?
Tragically loses his young girl and then tries to keep her alive by inventing Remnant. I'm just saying, whether you like it or not, it just
Okay,
seems like
that's
the books
weird.
are trying real hard to tell us the solution to this one. And that's not a theory. That is me just literally calling attention to a repeated pattern in the books. Anyway, with the final Fazbear Fright comes
That's
the end
creepy.
of the Stitch Wraith story that I've been yammering on about for the better part of 2 years. And for good reason. This one story, told in short chunks at the end of each novel, has contained some of the biggest lore reveals of any piece of media this franchise has ever produced.
Okay.
It was this story that really strengthened my belief in Golden Freddy having 2 souls inside of him. It's also the one that gives us that scene that we just talked about with the box. It even has a lore dump in the final pages where they just outright define what Remnant is. So that's why it really caught my attention when Baby started to do something that was completely out of character, shooting long black tentacles
Jesus
out
Christ.
of her body. Quote from the book: her eyes bulged.
Me
Black
took ice cream.
tentacles shot
Yeah,
from
you know
her
it falls.
mouth,
Ice
from her
cream is so
fingers to her
good.
toes. The slimy black vines climbed
Happy
up
that you
walls,
got some
slithered over
sweets.
the floor. Tentacles
I love
flew
ice
from
cream.
her and
I
wrapped
love
around his face.
vanilla
Yeah,
ice
that's
cream,
me.
caramel
So we
ice
have ourselves
cream,
Baby, an
and
animatronic that controls
mango
a
ice
believable
cream.
copy of any person,
And
now
white
also
chocolate
able
ice
to
cream.
erupt into blood tentacles.
I love
the,
ice
the
cream.
tentacles are made
I
from
sometimes
black
eat on
blood. Sorry
the
if I didn't mention
on
that before, but, yep.
on
There's
winter.
another reason I think babies are
But it's
tentacle
kinda
monsters,
expensive now, so I
because
don't
think she's
take it as
actually
much.
Our big bad of the game, the one who is really pulling the strings here. You see, back in April, I did 3 short mini-theories on Security Breach, with one focused on exactly
It's vanilla
the
ice cream with
the
chocolate
return
bits.
of a
Okay,
local
that's
bathroom.
good
At the
anyway.
time, it
It's
was a mini-theory
vanilla.
for a reason.
No,
It
it
was
falls.
just a hunch with a
Looks
bit of
good to
evidence,
eat
but now
that
evidence
ice
is starting to
cream.
pile up faster than dead bodies in
Oh
a
my god, so
pizzeria,
many
and you understand
bones.
why we have to make one more trip to the books. At the midway
I
point
love
of our
ice
Stitch Raid
cream.
story, we have our Golden Freddy spirit stand-ins having to equip themselves with the puppet mask in order to fight against a giant 15-foot
I love an ice cream in Burger King called what's the name? King Sandy Caramel. I love that. That's so good.
You hear that? Shakespeare is rolling in his grave as we speak. Basically, Afton's spirit had possessed a lot of different objects, and those all fused together with trash in order to form a giant
Godzilla.
garbage Godzilla. Back when I wrote
Lol.
that theory, I had this to say: I am not gonna sit here and say that we will at some point in the series be forced to fight a giant trash bunny possessed by a serial killer. But now, 7 months later, things have changed, and yeah, I am gonna sit here and say that we will at some point in the series be forced to fight a giant trash bunny possessed by a serial killer. Yep, the series about pizzeria-themed murders has decided that giant garbage rabbit kaiju is the next logical step in the story that they feel it
This
wants
is so
to tell.
weird.
Now, if this
This
was
is
a
so
normal
random
FNAF
already.
game,
What the
of course
hell?
There's no giant trash monster. But this is anything but a normal FNAF game. First, we know that Security Breach will have boss battles. This is confirmed on the
Boss
PlayStation Blog
battles?
article covering the game. And if
Oh my
these
god.
moments of Monty Gator from the trailer don't look like a boss battle intro sequence, then I don't know what does. Reminds me of the American Gladiators game Assault. We also know that the game's primary mechanic is climbing into Freddy's oversized birthday cake hatch to pilot him around like a mech suit. You don't just include a mecha suit like that in your game if all you're doing with it is stealthing around a mall. You insert that sort of stuff in order to punch serial killers in the face. But you know what seals the deal for me is the trailer. Throughout the Freddy and Friends teaser images, we've seen pictures of the animatronics all cracked and broken. Are they corrupted by Afton? Maybe we destroy them over the course of the night? It's a weird detail. But then the trailer goes and shows us a bit more. We see this scene of a broken Chica that's attacking us in a tunnel made from garbage. Now
that's really weird.
Set in the mall, and according to the PlayStation
It
Store,
should smell so bad, my god.
Trash is just everywhere. So, is this the game that's finally given us what we've all been demanding? Hashtag justice for Trash and the Gang? Or
Trash and the Gang, lol.
Remember what I said about the broken version of the animatronics that we keep seeing in the trailers? Well, one of the main components of Trash Afton are the pieces and parts of other ruined animatronics. I would be surprised if the final boss battle of the game is against a giant amalgamation of all the other animatronics combined, which in turn strengthens the baby theory. You see, in the books, yet again, Trash Afton is described as weak. In fact, it's so important that they decide to say it twice, first in book 6 and then again in book 11. In reality, it's actually Eleanor that's powering the whole thing. So if we do in fact descend down into a landfill to fight a giant trash rabbit kaiju, the one really pulling the strings will be the black blood tentacles of the shape-shifting baby. But there's one last thing worth mentioning, and that's this game's return to the first ever pizzeria, Fredbear's Family Diner. Dawko recently did a live stream to benefit our St. Jude campaign. Dawko, you're an amazing and wonderful person. Thank you for your support. But whenever there's a Dawko charity stream, you know that close behind is gonna be some FNAF teasers. And Steel Wool did not disappoint. They sent him a series of posters including these 3 from Fredbear's Family Diner, the original pizzeria mentioned way back in FNAF 2.
I'm gonna try to contact the original restaurant owner. I think the name
That
of the
vintage
place
style though. That's cute.
Family Diner or something like that. It was closed for years though. I doubt we'll be able to track anybody down.
Now, the existence of these posters alone is pretty sus, considering game developers don't have the bandwidth to spend a lot of time on artwork that isn't getting used in your actual game. What's even weirder, though, is that the new Freddy and Friends teasers also revisit what appears to be the first pizzeria in Episode 2, based on the building's small size, red and white striped awnings, and wooden interior. But all of that, coupled with the descent into a landfill-looking area, leads me to believe that the mall is built on top of the original Fredbear's Family Diner location.
Okay, I think that makes sense.
A lot of this before throughout the series. In both Sister Location and the Twisted ones, we have large underground warehouses constructed under existing buildings and businesses. And again, in the Silver Eyes,
I think it makes sense.
Breaking into a giant mall, read also Pizzaplex, built around one of the earliest pizzeria locations. Even FNAF VR ended with the scene of Glitch Trap beckoning us to the back room, where we then went out the side door towards security.
Me no wanna spoil. Okay, no, if I'll it's okay, don't you worry.
A constant running theme of old places being connected to and buried under new, flashier establishments. So, us going down
the place of I don't know how to say this, but the glamour of place, it's amazing. Look at those lights and statues, it's so beautiful.
Nightmare hand that we saw at the end of the first
Jesus, what is that?
Those fingers and eventually form into the trash monster that we fight. So that, my friends, is the wild prediction I have for the final act of this game. You descend into the sewers and eventually wind up in tunnels of trash under the building, which eventually leads to the site of the first ever diner, Fredbear's Family. Here, where his powers are strongest, Glitch Trap leaves Vanny's body and regains his own. We hop into our Mecha Freddy for a boss battle to knock him around a bit, and desperate, he absorbs all the ruined animatronics and trash around him. We destroy him yet again, only to reveal the black tentacles. It was Baby all along. Cue the
what is this? That's so weird.
20 installment book series. But hey, these animatronics may be horrifying, but not everything that's made of metal has to be. That's where our sponsored Displate comes in. Their little posters are a step above the rest when it comes to quality. We've all seen how long Springtrap's been around for, and how many fires he's survived. It just goes to show how durable metal is. And Displate's no exception. Plus, you don't need 6 hands like Music Man to hang them up either. Displate has made the process super simple with their special magnets. Just stick them onto the wall and your posters will stay there. No messing around with drywall anchors or screws or holes in the wall. Just a one-size-fits-all method that's so easy even a blood tentacle could do it. And all of this is without even mentioning how gorgeous they are. Displate's prints are high quality and come in lots of different styles and colors.
Look at that.
They're a really great way to brighten up your living room, your home
Slay.
office, abandoned pizzeria, Displate
Abandoned pizzeria.
designs to fit whatever aesthetic you want. I personally love the designs that they've got for classic video game franchises like Mario,
Ooh,
Zelda,
Minecraft.
and Minecraft. Some of them are
Minecraft
so
is a classic
fantastic,
now?
they fit perfectly with Security
Jesus.
Breach. For our latest purchase, I actually picked up
Oh
some
my
from
God, a
Among Us, Portal,
mouse.
Squid Game, and just a random
Portal.
colorful design that I thought would fit
Slay.
really well in her house. But whatever fandom you're a part of, or heck, whatever vibe you're going for, Displate has got something that's going to suit you, your style, and help
Oh my
you
God,
express
so
that
cute. I
passion
love
in a new,
Pushini. He's so
dynamic, vivid
adorable.
way. So if you
No,
fancy
she's so
leveling up
adorable.
the look of
Pushini
your
is a
home,
she.
click the link in the
Yeah,
description below
forgot.
to get a massive
Minecraft is
discount
old
off
but
your
still
order at
popular.
checkout. But it's only
True, no,
available
false.
for a
That's
limited
true.
time, so you better
Wait,
act fast.
Minecraft
Once
is
again,
old?
go to the link in the description to get a special
Bro,
discount
if
only
Minecraft
for
is
us
old,
viewers,
I'm
and see what
really
amazing
old then.
designs you find that can
Jesus.
make your house into a home. And as always, remember, my friends, that's just a theory. A game theory. Thanks for watching. After years of waiting, Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach has finally launched, and with it, we
Slay.
now have a whole
I
load
guess,
of
I don't know.
mysteries to discuss. What's the deal with the Vanny therapy tapes? Why is
Therapy
this room from
tapes?
sister location in Pizzaplex? Who is the best animatronic, and why is it
Music Man!
There are a lot of things
Music
to solve
Man.
in this massive game as and inside every arcade cabinet. But the theory I have today goes to the heart of this game, addressing the one character that we spend a lot of time with but don't actually see all that much. And that's our main character of
Okay, I'm back.
on the first ever living child we've seen in the main story of the games, except for in the Fruity Maze minigame, but we all know that she ends up dead. Who is Gregory? What is Gregory?
I don't know why, but I think 2009 was a great year for games because Spore, that's like one of my favorite games ever, was made in 2009 and it's amazing. What is that?
Oh my gosh! Gregory is brutal.
My friends, the answers to those questions will recontextualize
Fancy
everything
place.
that you thought you knew about this series. So let's begin. Hello, Internet! Welcome to Game Theory, the show that can't help but stuff its face with FNAF lore like Chica stuffs her face with pizza and garbage.
Oh my
Yes,
God.
At this point, it kind of applies to us too. Anyway, if you want to
Jeez.
stuff your YouTube feed with FNAF videos, then hit that subscribe button right now, because today starts what I expect to be a 3-part series into the many unsolved mysteries of Security Breach. I mean, on the surface, the game seems pretty self-explanatory, right? Survive being trapped in a mall for one night. Looks like the new team forgot to read the title of the franchise. That's nothing. That's easy.
Whoa.
Once you start looking into secret rooms, secret tapes, secret endings, secret minigames, and actually bother to
Is
read
this
all
game
the emails
easy?
and item descriptions, you learn that there is a
Very
lot
dead or
more
alive?
stuff that looks both
I think
backwards at the
Gregory
same
is alive, I don't
time and
know.
forwards
Probably it's
into
alive.
What is coming next? Stuff that, quite frankly, I'm still working on piecing together. This is a big game with lots of places to hide things. But today, I want to focus on a mystery that I do feel like I have a pretty solid handle on. The relationship between Gregory and Glamrock Freddy. What's the deal with this random kid and why is a killer animatronic suddenly trying to help him? Like seriously, the game kicks off with this incredible cutscene. Everyone is living their best 80s-tastic lives on stage before Freddy suddenly glitches out and smash cut to Gregory just being there, I guess.
What?
It is one of the weirdest, most jarring intros to a game ever. And then from that point forward, we're just expected to assume that everything is perfectly normal, no explanations necessary. So I'm here to give you that explanation, because I strongly suspect that this boy is not a boy, and this robot is not a robot. And that
what?
The story of their relationship is one that's trying to make amends for one of the earliest and most pivotal points from this entire franchise. To begin, let's establish what we do know about Gregory in order to piece together the rest. So, what does the game offer us in terms of his backstory? Nothing. First and foremost, we know that he's pretty much off the radar. At the start of the game, Freddy does a quick scan only to realize
your guest profile is unknown to me.
Similarly, when security guard Vanessa is chatting it up with Freddy, we hear this part of their conversation.
That is great news. He can be returned to his parents.
He can't. Turns out there's no record of him.
What?
Clearly, Gregory is not a guest at the Pizzaplex. It
What
also
is-
seems like he has nowhere else to go. In the game's bad ending,
This is
unlocked by
weird.
just leaving the building at 6 a.m., we see Gregory winding up in an alleyway sleeping in a cardboard box. He appears to be homeless. He's an
Aw.
orphan. This then explains a few other things that we
That's
see around the
sad.
Pizzaplex. In a couple of hidden locations around the building, we find little dens that are filled with drawings, plushies, and beds. The most notable one being the one behind the daycare center. Gregory seemingly seems to be living inside the Pizzaplex, which would explain his lack of a guest pass. We can't even be sure that his name is Gregory. In the game's opening scene, Gregory
Probably
has
eats
no
pizza to
issues speaking to
survive.
Freddy.
Will you shut up?
Who said that?
I did.
However, once Freddy asks him for his name, he stutters.
I'm Gregory.
Why would he stutter on his name when he was
I don't
clearly
know.
fine answering everything else just seconds before? So, what? Is that it? Gregory's just some homeless kid that sets up shop in the Pizzaplex and happens to get wrapped up in Afton and Vanny's plans? Yeah, right. Of course not. Nothing in this franchise is ever an accident. Take a look at Gregory here. Notice anything familiar? Dark
No.
eyes, brown hair with a piece fallen between his eyes, shorts, a shirt with 2 stripes across the middle. Ladies and gentlemen, Gregory is none
he's a
other
crying
than the
child.
crying child. Don't believe me? Early on,
What?
this weird moment when Freddy suddenly
Bro.
stops what he's doing and says this.
I feel you are broken.
We all know that the language
What?
of this franchise is never
Oh my
chosen
God,
by
look at tiny
accident.
face. Thank you,
Everything
not
is
false.
meticulously crafted. So is it a coincidence then that the word broken is only used one other time in the FNAF series to describe a child? That iconic FNAF 4 clip with crying child and golden Fredbear, you're broken, we're still your friends. I will put you back together. The fact that both crying child and Gregory look alike and
Makes
are considered
sense.
to be broken screams of a connection existing between these two. Him being the crying child would also explain why he has nowhere else to go. His dad is an undead zombie living inside
Whoa.
a yellow bunny suit, and his mom is MIA. There's also lines like this.
Your parents want you to follow me. Your family is looking for you. Let me take you to your parents.
On one hand, this just sounds
Bro.
like Chica spouting out some generic security protocol. On the other hand, if indeed Gregory is the crying child, Chica's lines here take on a whole new meaning, because she is quite literally bringing him to his family, his father living in the basement, William Afton. But obviously
Jesus.
there's one big problem with this.
My
One
God.
that I'm sure all of you are screaming at your monitors or typing aggressively down in the
Calm
comments.
down.
Crying child is dead. He died in FNAF 4 when his older brother Michael picked him up to be chomped. And not only did he die, his soul then went on to be one of the 2 spirits possessing
Golden Freddy, yeah.
the other being the vengeful spirit Cassidy, before he was finally put to rest by the puppet in the happiest day ending of FNAF 3. This kid is well and truly gone. He is removed from the franchise. He is one of the few cards that are officially off the lore table. So why then do I dare invoke his name here? Because
I don't know.
Gregory is a robot, a rebuilt version of the
Okay.
crying child. Flame shields activate, because it's time for everyone's favorite segment. MatPat uses the lore from multiple FNAF books to try and explain parts of the game that don't make sense. I'll try to
Okay,
make this
lol.
as quick and painless for all of us as possible. In the books, children having tragic premature deaths and then being rebuilt as robots by their grieving fathers is something that happens a lot. Like, if I had a nickel for every time this plot line
Gregory
showed up,
was
I'd have,
dead.
well, I'd have like 3 nickels, which isn't a
Okay.
lot, but it's weird that it happened 3 times. In the
That's
original
sad.
novel trilogy, the whole big twist of that was that Charlie, daughter of Henry Emily, died as a kid, and that her father put her back together by building robotic versions of her, each one representing a different
Aw.
stage of her growing up development. Then again, in Fazbear Frights, we have the character of Eleanor, who is strongly implied to have been built as a replacement daughter, as well as Dr. Telbert, who developed Remnant as a way to preserve his sick and dying daughter. And all of this is without me
The
even going
Remnant
into the
stuff is
numerous
still
stories
weird
where
for me.
children get swapped out for robots and or Fazgoo, which once it has
Fazgoo.
your DNA basically creates a clone of you. If that's the future of the franchise, we're going down some weird paths, my friend. Anyway, to
Jeez.
summarize, there's evidence in the wider canon that FNAF 4's lines about the crying child being broken and needing to be put back together were meant to be much more literal than any of us first suspected. But we don't even have to go that far. Within Security Breach itself, there is plenty of evidence to suggest that Gregory isn't exactly what he seems. When Vanny
Okay.
spots you and starts to get closer, your vision gets a CRT effect. Basically, the horizontal lines that old TV monitors used to get. And it's worth
Okay.
remembering that since this is a first-person game, that is representing your vision. So why are your eyes suddenly behaving like cameras
Yeah,
on
no,
the
that's
fritz?
probably, yeah,
Unless,
it's a
they
robot.
are cameras on the fritz. Later in the game, once we defeat Roxanne Wolf, we can take out her eyes and upgrade Freddy. Our Fazwatch tells us that, quote, Roxy sees things differently than others. Sometimes she'll stare and talk to the other bots through walls. She's able to see things that others can't, which allows us to see collectibles like secret CDs. In a way, she
Ooh.
has a sort of X-ray vision, which is why when you first install him into Freddy, his comment really stands out.
How are your new eyes?
I am having a hard time adjusting. You look different to me.
It's almost like he was seeing Gregory as a normal child, but now that he has these new eyes, he's able to see through Gregory's skin and reveal something that he wasn't expecting, like, say, an animatronic endoskeleton.
That would be creepy.
Be inside Freddy when he's inside the charging stations, which on its own feels weird. Like, I kind of expected you to hop out and leave him to charge.
Yeah, true.
Pilot him inside of it and then sit there as he charges. Or could it be that those charging stations are as much for us as they are for him? Remember that scene
makes sense.
Daycare where we assumed Gregory's living? There's a strange amount of decommissioned and what appear to be salvaged security robots. Maybe for a kid who needs a robotic upgrade. The fact that there's no record of Gregory would also make sense. If he's an animatronic, there wouldn't be records of him because he's not technically a human. It would also explain why Gregory has no parents. But maybe the biggest point of evidence comes from the very beginning of the game, where during the opening cutscene we see Freddy glitch out. This sets him on a course of being good for the rest of the game. But what causes that glitch to happen in the first place? Well, by going frame by frame, we can see that there's a security threat on loose, and it looks to be a small child.
Okay.
Gregory. It has to be. Gregory is the threat here. A robot that poses a threat to Freddy's programming.
Oh my OMG,
what would make sense about that? Well, to understand that connection, it's time to put a pin in Gregory and turn our attention over to Freddy. If you unlock the game's final secret ending, you end up going below the Pizzaplex, only to discover a former Freddy Fazbear location, Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Place. If that name doesn't mean anything to you, it shouldn't, really. Most of the restaurants in the series go unnamed. But while the name might not mean anything, the layout should be a familiar one. One large rectangular stage with lights on the trim and big speakers on either side, and a smaller semicircle stage right next to it. It's from FNAF's Pizzeria Simulator. Notice the stools that are placed right in front, the checkered floor. We even have purple striped tablecloths and blue, green, and red plates, exactly like we saw in Pizzeria Simulator.
Makes sense.
As a refresher, this is the location that Henry lured all of the roaming animatronics to in order to burn them to the ground one final time.
Although for one of you, the darkest pit of hell has opened to swallow you whole. So don't keep the devil waiting, friend.
And this is it here. Seems
My
like
God, that's so
Henry's
dramatic.
Didn't quite work as expected. We still see pretty much everyone that he tried to torch away, and they're all alive and well and thriving underground. Springtrap is there. Molten Freddy is there as this big
my God.
blob. And if you look inside that blob, you can even see Baby. And heck, even the puppet kind of lessens the impact.
What
of that
is
Savage Henry
this?
speech from FNAF 6, but whatever. Anyway, the reason I bring this up, outside of it giving me a chance to remind everyone that I totally called something like this happening at the end of the last theory from a year ago, is that one character is notably absent here, Michael Afton, who we're reasonably sure was the guard working at the FNAF 6 location and the one who helped to burn it down.
And to you, my brave volunteer, who somehow found this job listing not intended for you. Although there was a way out planned for you, I have a feeling that's not what you want. I have a feeling that you are right where you want to be.
After being scooped, turning purple, and trying to undo his family's sins location by location, he went down with the ship and burned alongside his father and sister.
That's sad.
Which means that presumably he should be here somewhere, and yet he's not.
Maybe you run away?
Form, say perhaps Glamrock Freddy. We know for a fact that Freddy's been down here based on some of the lines that he drops during the finale.
I know what they say. I have been here before. She brought me here. I had no choice. Now I have a choice. I have changed. My friends are here. They are so angry, confused.
What is this sound? Oh my God, that's scary.
So he's in a place where he can get possessed. We also hear that Freddy isn't acting like his normal self, saying,
I am not me.
And in yet another fire ending, Freddy is more than prepared to set the place ablaze, much like Michael Afton did to Fazbear Frights at the end of FNAF 3. I guess old habits die hard. And nothing says that clearer than the replica of Mike's room from Sister Location that's hiding inside the Pizzaplex. Yeah, for those of you who don't know,
that's
weird. Mall is the exact replica of Mike's living room from Sister Location, down to the TV, lamp, and basket of exotic
Michael Larson. Thank you, Neufels. Butter.
But here's the kicker. Over on Mike's wall is a coded message, one that was solved through an incredible team effort from Dawko and the rest of the FNAF subreddit. It reads as follows, quote, "Break and mend, I built the breath. They hunt now. drawn to life. Not real, phony, and fraught with thought and zest, and guessed no blunt woes. Dodge, duck, flash, shoot, crawl, run, crush the vile band. Cry not, try not, do not hold out hope. Your life.
What is this? Bro, that's so weird.
I feel like this is some sort of a poetry reading. Snaps,
Yeah.
everyone. Snaps.
Yeah.
Snaps. Yeah, man, cue the bongos. All right, basically, this is just a bunch of fancy talk, all relating to Mike's personal journey. The first line is all about breaking and repairing things, and in doing that, creating new life. In other words, Ennard and Baby. The rest is all about his commitment to try and stop the evil animatronics and try to save any of them with a soul left in their bodies. Now, does the presence of this room and poem necessarily mean that Mike is Freddy? No. But I do think it's telling that we're reminded of Mike's commitment to save everyone inside of a room that you're required to find alone in the dark, i.e. without Glamrock Freddy hovering over your shoulders. Heck, during the finale, we even get this line from Glamrock Freddy.
My friends are here. They are so angry.
He's talking about Molten Freddy, the spirits trapped inside of the blob. It's very possible that those were indeed his friends captured and killed back in the day. Maybe William himself struck back against the kids that had bullied his youngest son, and now some of their spirits are trapped below the
that's so
surface
cute, my false thank you.
in this abandoned restaurant. Or maybe that's why Gregory is so brutal to all of these animatronics at the end of each boss battle. They killed him back in 1983, and now it's his turn to show the bullies no mercy by launching a go-kart at their face and ripping out their eyeballs. And meanwhile, Freddy is sad because they are quite literally his friends from when they were alive. But to me, honestly, the biggest connection points between Mike and Glamrock Freddy are thematic. They're narrative. Mike has been moving to location after location to try and undo his father's horrible work. This would just be a continuation of that story, as both Aftons return post-fire. And more importantly, it also completes the arc of the crying child and his older brother. Since accidentally killing his brother in FNAF 4, Michael's been trying to make amends. This would be quite literally their grand reunion. An older brother finally able to protect and defend his younger sibling in a way that he failed to earlier in their lives. This is also why Freddy's programming would glitch out after he encounters Gregory in the opening cutscene. The soul of Mike, buried deep in Freddy's code, comes through upon sensing his brother again. It hotwires the system so that Michael Afton in the body of Freddy
but you told that it was that Michael Afton was not Glamrock Freddy. What the?
Made up of decommissioned staff.
I'm just confused.
A father, a mother that kind of looks like Ballora, a daughter with rosy cheeks and orange pigtails, a son, and one with its head missing. The child whose head was bitten off in 1983.
Ooh, makes sense.
This is very clearly the Afton family. There is no doubt about that. The story continues in this game. In fact, I expect that's why the Save Vanny ending here is so important. If you manage to find and complete all the Princess Quest arcade cabinets hidden throughout the Pizzaplex, you get an ending where we are able to save Vanny from the control of Glitch Trap. This is something that we predicted would be possible literally a year ago in a theory, but I bring this up not to pat myself on the back, but rather to call out the final moment of this ending, where we see Gregory, Freddy, and Vanny all sitting together on a hill. A hill that I should point out is oddly reminiscent of the FNAF 6 Gravestone Hill. It feels
oh my god, that's so
like
sad.
all these characters have some sort of history. Why would Vanny be there otherwise? Unless this is meant to be the crying child, Michael, and maybe even Elizabeth, the Afton children, the three kids who literally had their lives stolen by the evil deeds of their father.
Wait, that's so weird. That doesn't make any sense.
A moment of peace on this hill. After all, Vanessa does have green eyes and blonde hair, just like someone else that we know from the series, but that's probably a theory that's best saved for another day.
Yeah, please, thank you. That's so confusing.
Just any kid. He's not just the crying child either. He's the rebuilt version of the crying child, an animatronic designed to fill the void left by the death of Afton's youngest son, literally put back together piece by piece. And Mike, meanwhile, is also back, glammed out this time, continuing to make amends for his past by reuniting with the brother that he accidentally killed as a kid and protecting him in a way that he never could before. Which then leaves us with a question: who's Vanny? How does she fit into all this? Why does she fit into all this? And why does Robot Gregory glitch out each and every time she gets close? That, my theorists, will have to wait for the next episode, because this episode Time's running long, and honestly, I need more time to think through the answers. So in the meantime,
Oh my god,
remember,
thank you,
hit that
thank you,
subscribe button
Neufels.
so you don't miss how all these clues fit together. You're not going to want to miss that next episode, mostly because, you know, if you do, the FNAF lore will no longer make any sense to you whatsoever. Plus, hitting the subscribe button's free, and let's be honest, at this point, you owe it to yourself to see how it all plays out. But for now, remember, it's all just a theory. A game theory. Thanks for watching.
Oh my god, more cute tiny faces. Thank you, Neufels. Okay, more videos.
Gregory, do you see that bit of green spinach in your teeth? Have you ever heard
What?
of Fortnite, Gregory? You need to
What?
floss.
Oh my god, what is this? What is happening? What?
This is embarrassing. I'm gonna let you guys have this one, and I'll see you next game. I always come back, and you know the bit.
What is this, Wolf?
Just win.
No, we did not, Superstar.
What? That is confusing.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Game Theory, the show that's proud to pick the nerdiest option available.
What is
Anyone
that,
that picks
lol?
Monty Golf is just a nerd.
Woo! Gator Golf. Joke's on you, Mark. Fast Cam is OP.
Oh,
Plus,
so
being a nerd
cute.
allowed me to discover the secret daycare room and sister location room. So who's the nerd now? Me. It's still me. Last time
That's so
we dove
cute.
into the time travel ball pit that is Five Nights at Freddy's security breach, I walked away with some, let's just call them divisive conclusions.
Divisive
Basically, it was an
conclusions,
episode with
okay.
3 separate theories packaged together. We proposed one, that Glamrock Freddy wasn't just your average sentient animatronic, but rather was possessed by the spirit of Michael Afton doing everything he can to protect Gregory. This one was generally well received, so cool.
Okay.
Let's keep going. Why would Michael protect this random kid? Well, because 2, Gregory, whether literally or symbolically, is Michael's younger brother, FNAF 4's crying child. I started to lose people at this point, but it was really theory number 3 that threw us for a loop, because there's a good bit of evidence in both the game and in the history of the franchise to suggest that 3, Gregory is a robot, the crying child's consciousness literally transplanted into a robotic body sometime after he dies in the bite of 83.
Okay, I guess.
Oh, and there
I guess
were
it makes
a lot of
sense.
strong opinions on that, with some people
Calm down, don't
liking
get
the
so
theory, and
angry.
others, not so much. Suddenly I was flooded by people saying that I had rushed it out just to ride the trend, or that it was my dumbest theory ever, to which I say no, Deadpool is Ernest Hemingway is my dumbest theory ever. Closely followed by
Whoa, what?
Wario being 10 feet tall. Anyway, the outcry was so
Jeez.
huge that I ended up trending on Twitter because of it. You know, didn't get much better from there. Weird side note, later in the same week I was trending again because a group of performers juggled to the song Megalovania during an event for none other than the Pope. It only
Oh
took
my
5
god,
years,
let's
my friends, but it
go.
looks like that Steam code I gave him for Undertale finally paid off.
Let's go.
Anyway, like I said, a lot of heated opinions
That's so
on the
cute.
last one. With Twitter basically boiling down this 18-minute long 4,000-word theory down to this single image. So, yeah, thanks for not including literally anything else from that last video. So before we get to the next theory all about Vanessa, let me just address some of the biggest counterpoints I saw to the previous theory. Not because
Okay.
I'm convinced I'm right, far from it in fact, but because I think that the Gregory is crying child theory currently fits the best with everything the game has presented to us thus far. First, one of the key pieces of evidence last episode was this line right at the start of the game where Freddy says to Gregory,
I feel you are broken.
this, to me, was a clear connection back to the crying child from
Okay.
FNAF 4, where Psychic Freddy
Yeah, that
Fredbear
makes
says to
sense.
him, you are broken.
I think this theory makes sense, though.
Speaks for itself. It's a parallel that's made stronger when you actually remember how that line gets delivered back in that game. There was really no way of knowing back when FNAF 4 was released, but thanks to a secret room found in Sister Location, we know that Psychic Friend Fredbear is actually a plushie with a walkie-talkie inside of him. A walkie-talkie
So
that
cute.
allowed William Afton to scare and manipulate his
Oh no,
younger
that's
son,
bad.
Father of the Year,
Sorry.
ladies and gentlemen. Also know that throughout FNAF 4, all of William's lines use the color FFFF57, a bright golden yellow. Golden bunny, golden yellow makes sense. But the iconic final lines of "You're broken, I will put you back together" actually use a different color, a lighter yellow, FFFFA0. Back then, we never really came to a satisfying explanation. Was it a mistake? Was it another spirit? Was it maybe the puppet? But now, 7 years of investigation later, we know for sure. Someone else is indeed talking here. Someone who, in the sister location, is mistaken for his dad. Someone who turns purple, just like his dad. Someone who can't die, like his dad. And someone who had the lines immediately prior apologizing to his kid brother, but when that didn't get through, decided to try comforting him through the voice of his best friend. It's Michael Afton, represented by a lighter color of yellow, a color that symbolically connects him back to his father. In short, we have Michael Afton in FNAF 4 saying the line "You're broken" to his brother through the voice of a Fredbear plush. And here in Security Breach, if we're right about all this, we once again have him saying the same line, "You're broken" to his brother through the voice of another Freddy, this time Glamrock Freddy.
Glamrock animatronics are, I think they're the best ones.
But a lot of people were quick to point out that there's dialogue in the game files that was cut from the final.
You know, in terms of design,
Gregory is bleeding. Specifically, he
I love the colors and the design of them.
Blood, you are injured.
This, for many people, disproved that Gregory's an animatronic, and I actually have two things to say about that. First, when I've used cut lines of dialogue in the past, the internet has in no uncertain terms told me that I can't. But now apparently it's okay. Kinda inconsistent there, guys, and honestly, I think cutting it, regardless of the reason, shows that it didn't fit the final creative intent of the game. But anyway, if that's the case, then I gotta bring this line up. A cut line of dialogue discovered by GB Aura Recharged in the game files. This one is Freddy saying,
"Gregory, I know why you're not in the customer database. I remember you from the..."
And it cuts off. Obviously, it's vague. It's kept very intentionally vague. But it also
shows
that
Gregory
is special in a way that the other...
Oh my god, another cute tiny face! Thank you, Neufels!
He's not in the customer base.
So adorable. Thank you.
Specific that Freddy knows about. If I were to guess, I'd say, like, the underground pizzeria. But, you know, that's just me hypothesizing. Adding to the Gregory is special idea is the fact that Chica knows his name. She calls
I'm just gonna know when it's Roblox soon. Roblox is in 1 hour and
I hate to be the bearer of bad news
20
here,
minutes.
in the books, because everybody loves when I go back to that well, animatronic children do actually bleed. They can also cry and feel cold. Heck, they can even feel hungry and eat. You don't even have to go to the books for that one. You can just see it with Chica's pizza obsession in Security Breach. So to tell me that a robot child can't bleed, I think you gotta really look at the franchise that we're talking about here. And for everyone who's confused about the timeline of Crying Child still being alive and the fact that he would be older at this point,
that looks like a cute bear sign. That's adorable.
Whatever age they're built to be. Charlotte Emily actually had 4 separate versions of herself built, one for each stage of her life. So that way she could grow older, but she would just assume a new animatronic body each time. So Crying Child still being young would actually make more sense here. And to everyone saying, why would he say stuff like,
"Don't want to be crushed and twisted into a meat pretzel"?
No, again, Charlotte in the books is shocked to learn her true nature in the final chapters. Her consciousness had been grabbed
what is happening?
Boy while she was alive.
Where are those comic books from?
Her robot body to function as her memory. So for all she knew, she was just a normal human being just like anyone else. Is it dumb? Yeah, I'll say that it is. Is it complicated? Oh yeah, absolutely. But is it giving us
Big brain
insight into the rules that Scott and everyone who touches this universe operate by? Yes, it undeniably is. Lastly, for everyone who spammed my feed with pictures of sad white boys in striped shirts saying that you had found the Crying Child, thank you for your help uncovering the lore. I get the joke. All white boys with brown hair and striped shirts are apparently the Crying Child. But remember what series we're talking about here, friends. Visual design details have always been an important part of figuring these games out. Take a look at Baby. During Sister Location, she has green eyes. But when you play her minigame, she has blue ones. At least until she kills Elizabeth Afton, who, lo and behold, had green eyes. Superficial design features like this help us to connect the dots. Are they the be-all and end-all of evidence? No, but they do help support an argument. So a little brown-haired boy in shorts with a shirt and 2 stripes seems sus.
Have you ever heard of Among Us, so cute.
Speaking of eyes, so cute. All the complaints about the last episode, no one seemed to have any answers to what I see as the 2 strongest pieces of physical evidence here. Why does Gregory look different when Freddy gets Roxy's X-ray eyes?
different to me.
And secondly, why does Gregory's vision glitch when he sees Vanny? Why does he have such a weird visual reaction to her and to literally no other character in the game? Well, you hear that high-pitched ringing sound as Vanny skips and gets closer?
What is that? What's happening?
It seems to be a disruptor that makes her invisible to animatronics with older model eyes. In the fire ending, Freddy, who couldn't see her at any point in the game, explicitly says,
I can see you now. I have new eyes.
I mean, this is exactly how the much-hated sound illusion discs from the books work.
What?
Creating a high-frequency sound to make people in
Okay, it's so weird.
and or look differently. But I'm already fighting a losing battle over here, so I'm just gonna gloss over that one. Anyway, to me, it reads as Gregory's robotic eyes being disrupted. I mean, why have CRT lines over the screen and not some other type of filter to show that his vision is getting disrupted? In fact, why have the same CRT lines as the security cameras all around the Pizzaplex? But there's one final piece of evidence I'd like to talk about to help solidify that previous theory before we move on. And that is the screenshot here of the final scene from the Savior ending, where you rescue Vanny from the controller glitch trap. And I use quotation marks here because there aren't any official sources giving names to the various endings. In the game files, they're just labeled as S1, S2, and S3 based on the number of stars that you get for them. It is worth noting, though, that this is the only 3-star ending that currently exists, which seems to imply that it has some level of importance to it. But here there are 3 main characters, Gregory, Freddy, and Vanessa, all sitting on a hill, which, as I pointed out last time, is very similar to the FNAF 6 Gravestone Hill. But that's not what's important here. What I want to point out is the ice cream. Gregory
true, ice cream.
Freddy-shaped ice cream with part of its head bitten off. If Gregory is not meant to parallel back to the crying child in any way, shape, or form, then this detail is just...
Bro, imagine the original crying child soul is on Golden Freddy, and then there's this robot that thinks it's the crying child because of a ship or something.
Golden Freddy. That is not me reading too much into this. That is me lightly interpreting a very clear image that was put directly into this game by the designers. It is barely even subtle. And despite him wearing a blue shirt in most of the endings, here his shirt is colored purple, just like his father's signature color. Couple that with literally everything else, his lack of records, the fact that he goes into the charging station. So I stand by my theory that Gregory is an animatronic of the crying child. Is it a perfect answer? No. Do I love the fact that it complicates the lore even more? No. Does it answer the most questions with the evidence that we have? I believe it does, and it's a heck of a lot better than Fazgoo. But now, 4 pages into this episode, let's actually stop to talk about Vanessa, shall we? Last episode, I made a passing statement about how this final image felt to me like the 3 Afton children getting reunited. Crying child, Michael, and Elizabeth Afton, William's daughter that done got scooped by Baby back in sister location. It's a scene that, to me, feels like the narrative finally giving them a sense of closure after they quite literally die as a result of their dad's evil deeds. Last time, I briefly made mention of Vanessa's blonde hair and green eyes, which is the same as Elizabeth. And here, in this ending, we actually see 2 scenes of her wearing the signature Afton purple. Even the ice cream cone, as opposed to something like Gregory's novelty pop, is a potential callback to her death, where Baby delivered an ice cream cone to her before she did the scoop. And
oh my god, that's so bad.
Characters, it's more than just a couple of visual similarities. The biggest secret in Security Breach right now is a series of 16 retro CDs, invisible collectibles that only Freddy can see, hidden in every obscure corner of the game's map. Then, to play these things, he actually also found the secret sister location room that we talked about last time. Now, these CDs are, they're problematic. They open up a whole separate can of worms. They're recordings of therapy sessions following 2 separate individuals, Patient 46 and Patient 71.
More lore, I guess.
Patient 46 is a theory for next time that will absolutely launch us into yet another flame war, but early in Patient 71's tapes, we learned that it's actually Vanessa speaking.
Hello, Vanessa. How are you feeling today?
These are recordings from therapy sessions that Vanessa had while she was at the job for the FNAF AR game's special delivery. She mentioned speaking to a man named Lewis on several occasions, and we discover that she's also buying fake fur, both of which are things that we see in
fake fur.
FNAF AR.
Why?
In the last of Vanessa's recordings, she's leaving that job for a new job somewhere else, most likely the job of security guard here in Security Breach.
I'm needed somewhere else now.
But let's dive into the good
Ooh,
stuff. shall we?
nuggets.
In Vanessa's second tape, we learn about a custody battle that happened between her parents. Her dad won using manipulative tactics, forcing his daughter to falsely testify.
Your dad made you follow instructions, didn't he? I'm talking about the custody battle between your mum and your dad. Your dad didn't play fair, did he? He used to make your mum look bad in court.
After losing
Oh man,
custody of
that's
her daughter,
horrible.
Vanessa's mother, well, here's what the tape does.
I know your mum after she lost the custody case.
It glitches, implying that her mother ended her own life, which
Oh,
would explain
no.
why Mrs. Afton is missing from all the games, and why
Oh,
she
man, that's so
wound up being
depressing.
rebuilt as the motherly Ballora in sister location. A robot
That's
that,
depressing,
wouldn't you know it,
actually.
sings about
That's
her
so
inescapable
sad.
depression now that the walls of her house are empty.
All I see is an empty room. No more joy, an empty tomb.
We also hear Vanessa lines like this.
Depressing.
You like those? Apparently, the janitor on this floor has a garden and has been putting bouquets in the offices here for years.
Vanessa likes flowers. A small
Aw,
detail, but
so
you know me,
cute.
small details could often be the biggest evidence. Who else do we know in the series that has an affinity for flowers? Well, think back to FNAF 4. Remember this random empty bedroom with a huge portrait of a flower on the
Aw,
wall?
so
It's
cute.
Elizabeth's room before she got scooped. Then
Aw.
you have Vanessa lines like this.
Lots of people know more than I do. Sometimes I need to listen.
Now, this might be a stretch, but I believe it's referring to when Elizabeth got scooped by Baby. Her dad had repeatedly and explicitly warned her not to go near Baby, but she didn't listen. And in doing so, she ended up getting herself trapped inside the animatronic.
Yeah, that's sad.
I wanted to watch a show too. I don't know why he won't let me come see you. You're wonderful.
Vanessa
so
also
cute.
says in her tapes that she doesn't like dark basements.
I have a craft space in my basement. Maybe I could come up with something you could learn to do.
I don't like dark basements.
It's another line that seems to be pointing us in the direction of Baby, who was trapped underground for years in Circus Baby's entertainment and rentals, looking for a way back to the surface.
Yeah.
I've been out before, but they always put me back. They always put us back inside. There's nowhere for us to hide here. There is nowhere to go.
And to put one final
Aw,
nail in the
that's
coffin,
sad.
right back in the second CD, we actually learned the name of Vanessa's father.
I feel like I know your dad, too. Bill, right?
Bill is short for William. That's just the game
Ah.
with the coincidence, right? Wrong.
Wait, really?
Going back to FNAF AR, we learned that Vanessa's last name begins with an A. From there, we can connect the dots. Bill A, William Afton. But
Bill is
burn at the end
William?
of FNAF 6? Oh, yeah, she
That's
did.
weird.
But you see how effective that was.
How are you not dead? I mean, to be fair, the thought that burning him is going to work is stupid because people have tried to burn him to death no less than 3 times in this franchise. Spoiler alert, it doesn't work.
But here's the
I
kicker.
guess
In the
so.
game, we meet the Blob, a weird tentacle monster made up of all the original members of the series. FNAF 1's Chica and Bonnie, FNAF 2's Mangle, Sister Location's Funtime Freddy, a random endoskeleton crawling out of the bottom, the puppet mask without
That's
tears,
so bad,
I might
bro.
point out, and Baby's face. Now, don't get me started on this being Baby's original face and not Scrap Baby's updated look where she came back to FNAF 6 in. I have words about that. Anyway, look at them all here on screen. You notice anything strange? Most of the animatronics' eyes are lit up. Funtime Freddy, Chica, Mangle, even this random endoskeleton at the bottom. But now take a look back at Baby's mask. The eyes are blacked out. So although
Okay,
the Blob
makes sense, I
absorbed into
guess.
his body during the burning down of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Place, her spirit, the spirit of Elizabeth Afton, is no longer present. It is unaccounted
that's
for.
good, I
It is
guess.
on the loose, and as such, potentially at large within the game. Is she, in some way, Vanessa? And if so, how?
What?
The truth is, I don't know. This game has got my brain in so many knots, I might as well be a sailboat. I don't think
Oh my
there's
God,
any evidence to
jeez.
support any conclusion at this point in time. But I do know that this is what the evidence is heavily pointing us towards. The design similarities, the missing spirit, the purple color, the ice cream, the voice lines, the personality traits, and again, the narrative theme of 3 Afton kids reuniting and moving on after a traumatic past. It gives everyone this nice full circle ending, even
Yeah.
if it's only meant to be symbolic. And the screen really does feel like it's the end, finally, for these 3 characters. Maybe next time we'll finally see some new faces. So enough about them, we're moving past those 3. There's still other mysteries that we have to solve here. What happened to Glamrock Bonnie? Who
Yeah.
is Patient 46 and why are they
Also,
here?
yeah.
What's the deal with that room full of post-it notes? Yeah,
Okay,
I forgot about
that's one I didn't know.
It's important. And did you happen to notice the other missing animatronic from this game? Because I certainly did, and I...
Stop taking
Oh, an
my
mad.
And let ClickUp AI Note Taker do it for you. It allows you to focus on your meetings.
I think they might be hiding in plain sight. So next time, we get to cover some mysteries that don't require us talking about dead characters getting rebuilt into robots. Scratch that. We're talking about William Afton. It's kind of unavoidable at this point. Oh, this franchise is so ridiculous. Anyway,
don't you
time,
tell me,
a few
jeez.
other mysteries as we try to make more sense out of the game that quite literally threw everything against the wall to see what would stick. Speaking of things sticking
My
on
God.
walls, why don't you spice up your decor with some
Ooh,
80s
so
magnetic
beautiful.
posters that stick on your walls with today's sponsor, Displate. Who needs a time-traveling ball pit to revisit the 80s when you can have those bright neon colors and designs on each and every one of your walls? I don't know about you, but I love using posters to decorate, but paper posters can start to feel a bit flat and tired over time. They can fade, rip. This is where Displate comes in. They use metal to make their posters so that the bright colors and designs always pop, never fade, and don't feel cheap like paper scotch taped against the wall. Plus, unlike the animatronics that we brutally tear apart in this game, these metal posters are incredibly durable. Fazbear Entertainment, listen up, because we've all seen how Monty likes to
I like
trash his room,
art.
but this could be the solution for you. They survived a cross-country move for us looking just as good as they did when we began, so why not a rampaging alligator animatronic? With millions of
Look at
designs
that,
to
so
choose from,
beautiful.
you're never gonna run out of ways to dress up your bedroom, your living room, your office, your dorm room. They should probably let Vanny know. I get that she's going for that whole creepy serial killer vibe, but there's so much more to interior design than just dirty walls and writing your name on them. They have tons of designs.
Yeah, kind of crazy.
If FNAF's not for you, I found these.
Why would you write your name in a wall? That would be kind of weird. Also, cool posters.
Maybe you've moved away from glam rock into something more traditional. No worries. Displate's signature magnet hanging technology is there to make the process easy and painless. Just take the old poster off the wall and put up the new one. No nails, no holes, no problem. If you go down to the description below and click the link, you can get 23% off 2 posters. And if you really want to go crazy, you can order 3 or more Displate posters and you'll get 29% off your order.
That's not much, but okay.
Discounts will be automatically applied at checkout, but it's only for a limited time, so get going and upgrade your decor like you're upgrading Glamrock Freddy. Don't even have to destroy your friends to do it. Once again, head down to the description to get my limited time discount and level up your home with these awesome posters. And as always, remember, my friends, it's all just a theory. A game theory. Let's hope this one goes over.
Okay, next one.
Thanks for coming in, Freddy. I heard you got some new eyes recently. Just want to check to make sure that they're all functioning before we send you back out there on the stage. Tell me, what do you see here?
That is my friend Bonnie. I miss him.
Don't we all? Don't we all? How about this one?
It's me?
Interesting response with heavy lore implications. Gonna make a note
What
of that
is
one.
this?
Alright, how about this last one?
Oh, that's the DJ, you know. DJ... No, hold on, don't help me. I have this. DJ...
Come on, Freddy! It's obviously...
Music Man! Music Man! Oh! Music Man!
Slay!
Music Man! Music Man! Music Man! Music Man!
What is this, bro? Sly, I guess. Oh my god.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Game Theory, where the only thing that slaps harder than our remixes is you slapping that subscribe button.
Jeez.
A huge thank you to Doofix from the Game Theory subreddit for helping that meme achieve its true final form, and for letting me use it as a part of this video. As I write this, his masterpiece only has 400 views, so let's blow that channel up. Link is in the top line of the description. You know what to say. Fill up those comments. Let me hear you. Music Man! As the man said in the song,
let's go! Let's go! Go! Go!
Say what you will about Security Breach, and there's certainly a lot you can say about Security Breach. The fact that it launched this weird, unseen animatronic from Pizzeria Simulator into meme lord status is perhaps its greatest accomplishment. And speaking of other unseen animatronics, today's episode is actually a pair of mini-theories all about 2 animatronics that are notably absent from this newest game. Characters that have been with us since the very beginning of the franchise, but whose 80s shoulder pads apparently weren't big enough for the final cut. And in a game that throws so much Freddy spaghetti against the war wall to see what sticks, what gets excluded from the game is almost as interesting as what made the final cut. So what are the mysteries surrounding these two animatronics? Can we solve the mysteries? And what do the solutions tell us about the lore of this new game? That, my loyal theorists, is what we aim to answer today. Missing animatronic number 1, Glamrock Bonnie. We all thought it was strange when the trailers first dropped and we saw our favorite animatronics in their new 80s getup. Freddy, Chica, Foxy, kind of, and no, that's an alligator. Yep, Montgomery Gator was in, and Bonnie the Bunny was out. At first, I thought this was just gonna be a repeat of sister locations.
Kinda sad.
Introduce some new characters, reintroduce some old ones with new looks, and, you know, just leave a couple out. But then, right outside of the daycare security,
thank you, Neufels.
There is no rabbit at the Mega Pizzaplex. Not anymore.
And that right there, my friends, is theory bait. Stick it on a fish hook and drop it in the water to
Where
reel
is
me in.
Where is the rabbit? What is that?
Just an arbitrary
Where is the
swap of
rabbit,
characters.
bro?
There's a story here, a mystery to solve. Glamrock Bonnie did exist at some point here in the Pizzaplex and now doesn't. And the game continues to remind us of this mystery as we explore.
Where's the bunny
While
at?
trying
So
to
sad,
decommission
bro.
Chica, you have to venture into Bonnie Bowl. And while we're up there, Freddy says this.
I do not come up here anymore. I miss him.
We even get a collectible message from Roxy Raceway that talks about him. Quote, management report, the bowling alley needs a re-theme. While most of the Bonnie art was removed, kids keep asking, where's Bonnie? Do we have an officially approved response? So, where is Bonnie?
That's depressing.
The kids want to know, and heck, I want to know what happened to everyone's favorite rabbit. Well, to answer that, we actually have to follow up the other messages that we get in the Faz Watch. Specifically, this security alert found behind a locked Monty gate in the game's opening service tunnel. Quote, security report 12:24 a.m. Bonnie is seen leaving his green room in Rockstar Row heading east towards the atrium. 2:40 a.m. Bonnie enters the East Arcade. 4:12 a.m. Bonnie enters Monty Golf. Bonnie is wandering around the Pizzaplex and winds up in Monty Gator Golf. And see, this is an important detail because as we see in both the game and the collectible messages, Monty has a bit of a mean streak going on. He likes breaking things. He also has a bit of an ego. I don't know if you noticed, but the animatronics in this game
No,
are
don't you tell me that the alligator broke Bonnie.
We see Roxy crying in her room because we've managed to escape her.
We should have found him by now. It's not fair. I'm not a loser.
Chica is just.
Oh my god, that's not so. Why so? Why do you?
Looking for a way to rise to the role of leader of the band.
That's not so important, bro. Let the kid go.
This thanks to hole number 9 of the Gator Golf minigame. Monty is center stage and Freddy is left out in the dumpster. So when bass player Bonnie comes rolling into his domain late at night, Monty sees this as his opportunity to take him out and become the bass player himself. This is all fairly straightforward
That's sad,
just from reading
bro.
those collectible messages, but it does leave me wondering why.
Why?
Did Bonnie go to Monty Golf in the first place? Well, what if someone led Bonnie there so he would get destroyed? Monty would get what he wants, a more prominent role in the band, and Bonnie would be quietly decommissioned and turned to scrap. Scrap that could then be used to help rebuild another rabbit that we're all familiar with. One that's hiding out in the basement. Good old Burn Trap Afton. You want to know where Glamrock Bonnie is? Right there, right in front of your face. Burn Trap's body is Glamrock Bonnie's body. And I'm not just saying that because they're both rabbits. There's actually a couple more clues that pointed me in this direction. If we turn back to when we last saw Afton in the form of Scrap Trap during Pizzeria Simulator and Ultimate Custom Night, there were some interesting design details. Namely the fact that we can see a lot of bone underneath the suit. A lot of bone on top of his skull, his jaw.
That's so
eyes
crazy.
here,
Oh my god.
make out his jump scare. But here in Security Breach, Afton has basically got a whole new body. As Scrap Trap, he was made primarily of bone and muscle, but now he's almost entirely animatronic, with the exception of the weird fleshy tendons that encircle the endoskeleton, as well as the skull, which now appears to be melted into the rabbit face. But we see loads of endoskeletons throughout Security Breach. We even hear Vanessa saying that they could just put old casings onto new endos if they need to.
Monty will run the shows until Person Service can slap your casing on a new endo.
So why then am I so sure that Burn Trap uses Bonnie's endo when they could have used any other endoskeleton?
Yeah.
It all comes down to the hands. They make a big point in the trailers to reveal this mechanical
Wait, the hands?
at the end of its fingers.
Okay, I guess more finger stuff, I guess.
Afton's ending when his hand reaches outside the recharge station. On both occasions, the focus is on Afton's left hand. A hand that was completely missing from Scrap Trap in both FNAF 6 and Ultimate Custom Night. I mean, technically he was missing that entire left arm, arm, but you get the point. So what does any of this have to do with Bonnie? That could be any endoskeleton arm, right? Wrong. Take a look at the Glamrock endoskeletons from this game. Their hands? Yep, they don't have claws. The only animatronic whose endoskeleton does have claws? Montgomery Gator. We actually get a really good look at his hands once we've decommissioned him. But hold on a minute, I was saying that Burn Trap was made from Bonnie, so why am I so focused on Monty? Well, we have to go back to the messages that we get on our Faz Watch. Down in Parts and Services, we get this maintenance log. Quote, Montgomery's claw upgrades allow him to play the bass. Following performances, he mostly uses them to cause damage. Before I read this message, Monty having claws didn't really strike me as an odd design detail. I mean, the dude's an alligator. Kinda makes sense.
Yeah,
but this
I guess.
made me reevaluate that opinion. Claws are only for animatronics that play the bass. When we get the message about Bonnie
that makes sense, actually.
Quote, with Bonnie out of commission, we are making Monty the new bass player.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Proper adjustments. End quote. They're installing the claws on Monty because he's becoming the bass player, which means that Bonnie before him must have also had claws. They need to be built into the endoskeleton because they have to pluck the heavier strings. Therefore, the claws on Afton's new body prove that they could have only come from a single source, Glamrock Bonnie.
Bro, that makes sense actually, yeah.
Security Breach lineup. Where is everyone's favorite yellow clickbait, Golden Freddy? At first, I didn't think too much about his absence. Last we saw old Yellow Fredbear, he was twitching away at the end of Ultimate Custom Night, keeping the spirit of Afton trapped in an endless purgatory of torment. Meanwhile, you got Old Man Consequences over here asking Cassidy, "You good, bro?" And
yeah, good, bro. So cute.
The demon to his demon.
You know, the tiny pixel thing is cute.
Largely done. Cassidy, aka the one you should not have killed, aka the vengeful spirit, call the kid whatever you want, this was another playing piece off the lore table, the end of another character arc. So why would Cassidy appear in Security Breach?
I don't know.
Seem necessary. But then it was more Freddy spaghetti time. Security Breach once again threw everything
I like
at
spaghetti.
the wall to see what stuck. And I do mean everything they had. Basically everyone and everything in the series up to this point is represented somewhere in this game. FNAF 1 animatronics, FNAF 2 animatronics, tons of references to FNAF 4, a direct connection back to FNAF 6, there's Baby, there's the puppet, there's the fun times. If my theories up to this point have been correct too, you also get Crying Child, Michael, and Elizabeth. The app is all in one neat little package. And that's still not all. The arcade cabinets reference everything from the original novel trilogy to the Fazbear Fright stories.
Okay, everything is connected then.
Not only one, but two. Count them, two versions of William Afton. Glitch Trap and Burn Trap. You have all the versions of pretty much all the important characters throughout the franchise. So in a title that seemingly references every other important corner of FNAF lore, where's our golden boy Freddy? Well, he's there. He's hiding in plain sight. Right there, inside the Princess Quest arcade games. The princess is quite literally Golden Freddy. Or to be entirely accurate, it's actually the spirit of Cassidy inside the arcade game. I know, it seems crazy, right? And while I could try to bury the lead here and string this whole thing out, I'm not. There's just too much to talk about. We know that this is Golden Freddy because it's coming straight out of the horse's mouth.
Horse!
Yes, it's the
So cute!
mouth to the Steel Wool Studios. Anyway, if you dive into the game files,
I love horses. They're so cute and adorable.
Cassidy. Open it up and what do you
and
find?
They're beautiful too.
Princess. Now, I gotta be
They're
honest,
cute.
that alone didn't convince me. Sure, it is a huge deal, and obviously the golden color of the princess is a direct connection back to everyone's favorite yellow bear.
I like the design of the princess. It's cute too.
Jeremy in like what? At least 4 separate places? Is that right? 4? He's a missing children's incident kid. He sliced his face off in FNAF VR with a paper cutter. He's a security guard from the FNAF 2 paychecks, and oh yeah, he's in the latest Fazbear Frights book. So yep, those are the 4 instances that I can just remember off the top of my head. So forgive me if I'm in need of a bit more proof here before I call this one confirmed. So I kept digging. First, it's worth noting that in a previous theory, I suspected that the princess was actually meant to be a stand-in for Vanessa. You see, Security Breach isn't the first time that we've actually seen the Princess Quest minigame. It originated as part of the mobile port for FNAF VR when they needed some way of telling Vanessa's story. Instead of finding 16 glitching cassette tapes like you did in the original FNAF VR, the mobile port has you playing Princess Quest 1, lighting 16 braziers to eventually find the lair of Glitch Trap. Interestingly, though, digging through that game's files reveals that the princess character wasn't labeled as Cassidy. This is a new thing for Security Breach, which tells me that
princess,
there's
I
an
guess.
important story element for them. A story that, now that we have all 3 Princess Quest games to look at, suddenly takes
there are 3.
When you play Princess Quest 1, you're being hunted down by black and glitchy rabbit creatures. These things are clearly working for Glitch Trap. But if that's the case, why would he be sending them to attack you? If the princess is truly meant to be a stand-in for Vanessa finding the tapes, wouldn't he want Vanessa to find them? So
true, that makes sense.
Rabbits attacking doesn't make sense. However, if we consider the Golden Princess to instead be Cassidy, back from the dead once more to try and stop William for good, then of course Billy Afton would do everything he can to stop the princess. I also think that each princess quest represents a different phase of Cassidy's experience quite nicely. In the first one, Cassidy is helpless, an innocent, helpless child lured to a back room and killed by a monster that looms in the shadows.
Sad.
So by Princess Quest 3, the princess is fighting back, and not just fighting back,
makes
but doing it in the
sense.
same location that we walk through in FNAF VR. Notice the large central stage, the prize corner back behind us, and a rounded side stage to the left. Now, this is an important detail because as we see at the end of FNAF VR, we're playing in the location of the missing children's incident. Glitch Trap lures us to the back room only to shove our dead body into Freddy's suit while he dances
That's so
around.
sad and
This
depressing.
is Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria, where the initial 5 kids...
How are you? You're so adorable. Thank you for the pet pets. You're so cute. Look at you, so tiny in the chat.
It's unusual to have a giant Chica face looming in the background watching us. Like, why? Seriously, why? You don't just do that for decoration. And then I remembered this line from Ultimate Custom Night. I was the first. I have seen everything. This means that
Kind of
Susie,
depressing
the
too.
spirit inside of Chica, saw the deaths of everyone else, meaning that she was probably watching as Cassidy was killed. Hence why she, of all the characters, would be the one watching us in this moment. So the violin matches,
makes
the color
sense.
matches, the narrative arc makes sense as we revisit important locations from Cassidy's past, but that's not all. Elsewhere in the files, there's another piece of glitch text, similar to the text that we originally saw when you approach Glitch Trap in Princess Quest 1, but this time it's much shorter. It'd be hard to decipher if we hadn't just decoded Afton's text before, but we did. And using that code, we're able to translate these dots as "it's me," the iconic phrase that we've seen every time Golden Freddy has been present throughout the series. Last but not least, Cassidy being here just makes sense with the story. Whenever there's William, Cassidy is close behind, hence the whole vengeful part
makes
of the vengeful
sense.
spirit. This is something that we actually see in the Fazbear Frights books, specifically the story The Man in Room 1280. In this story, we get a ruined, burned William Afton dying on a bed, haunted by an angry spirit named Andrew with curly white hair wearing an alligator mask. This very clearly is meant to be the book stand-in for Cassidy. In a previous story, Andrew outright says, quote, "I do remember wanting to get back at someone who hurt me. I think I attached myself to him. I got into his soul, made sure he couldn't move on when he should have died. I remember I wanted him to suffer the way he made me suffer." Basically, the two are inseparable. Andrew grafted himself onto Afton, and now their souls are
Jeez.
mixed. So consider this. Glitch Trap was
kinda
created when a bunch
weird.
of circuit boards were scanned into a system to create a video game.
They sent us that stuff in the first place with no explanation. It was just junk. Circuit boards and things like that. Somehow, though, there was usable code on some of it.
If Cassidy was truly attached to Afton, then Cassidy's spirit would also likely be in those circuit boards, thereby creating a digital version of her, aka the princess. So yeah, I feel pretty darn confident that
this is
that is
quite
indeed
complex, I
Cassidy in
guess.
Princess Quest. Everything I could find backs it up, from a design, timeline, narrative sense. Also, the file name suggests that the king is actually Old Man Consequences.
Ooh,
Sure,
okay.
I guess, leave the demon to his demons. Unless, of course, you want to take my sword and go ham on him. Anyway, so what does it all mean? Why is this important at all? Well, it gives us a rationale for why playing some random arcade games somehow manages to free Vanessa from Glitch Trap's control. As a reminder, if you play all 3 Princess Quest games, you get the free Vanny ending, where she turns good and joins you eating symbolic ice cream cones. But
Thank you, now I know what to do when I play this game.
few random arcade games somehow gets this young woman free of the virus that's infected her brain. But now, it makes a bit more sense. At the end of Princess Quest 3, we confront a large security door that's covered in purple goo, only to get a blood-curdling scream. That goo tells us that it's Glitch Trap behind the door. It even has a glowing set of eyes on the left-hand side, which, if you squint, kinda looks like a rabbit head. This kind of goo wasn't present in the identical door within Help Wanted, implying that he is now in control. So when Cassidy unlocks the door and goes in, the digital scream that we hear from the other side is Glitch Trap dying, crying out as Cassidy delivers the killing blow, and maybe
Well, makes sense.
finally putting both of their souls to rest. Security
Finally,
Breach
I
is
guess.
a story about endings.
That's a
Throughout
good
all of my
ending.
Security Breach theories thus far, we focused heavily on the idea of characters coming full circle, giving closure to them and ending their parts within the FNAF storyline. The crying child and the missing children got their closure back in FNAF 3's Happiest Day. Henry and the puppet got their closure in the FNAF 6 ending. If I'm right about my theories, then the rebuilt Afton kids get their closure on the hillside eating ice cream here in Security Breach.
It's so
And now
beautiful.
Cassidy. While all the other dead kids of the series have been able to move on, Cassidy has always remained, always trying to chase Afton down, torturing him in purgatory for what he's done, so driven by anger and revenge that she couldn't let go. So this feels like a great ending to this chapter of the series. Finally, Cassidy gets to join the others and rest, putting aside their agony and putting an end to the Golden Freddy arc, and hopefully to Afton's arc as well. But there's still one more that's incomplete. One more
What?
series of secrets in this game that we haven't talked about yet. Tune in next FNAF episode as we wrap up our coverage for Security Breach by talking about the most controversial and frustrating part of it, the retro CDs, the mysterious
Retro
Agent
CDs.
46, and what all of that has to do with the theories that we've covered so far. So bite of 87 that subscribe button to ensure that you don't miss it. And as always, remember, it's just a theory. A
Game theory.
Thanks for watching. So remember, February 19th, Saturday, for our final Security Breach theory, and then make sure you stick around after the episode for a live theorist talkback, where me and a bunch of other FNAF theorists from around YouTube get together to discuss all things Security Breach. The good, the bad, the robotic. And we can't wait to hear your thoughts on it as well. Today, we end the horror. Today, we solve FNAF. Wait, didn't we say this exact same thing 7 years ago?
Lol, I guess. Hi! Stop scaring me, please. Thank you. Ooh. Oh my god.
Welcome to Game Theory, the show that
This
reminds
is-
you that if you
this
click
is
the like
crazy. I
button
don't
hard
like
enough,
this.
it'll
It's
summon
it's
DJ
scary.
Music Man to your neighborhood for a block party. Go ahead, try it. Hit that like button. Didn't work? Have you tried clicking subscribe? I hear that sometimes works too. I guess you must not be clicking hard enough. I don't know what to tell you. Speaking of not working
Okay.
hard enough, aren't you tired of just plain boring merch? The kind that you buy and sure it looks cool, but it just sits there on your body, not doing anything interesting. Well,
What do you
what if your
mean?
merch was actually a puzzle? Introducing the world's first quest jacket. I know what you're thinking.
What is
Denim
this,
jacket
bro?
isn't anything revolutionary, and you'd largely be right, except you'd also be missing one of the most crucial details. Those patches, they're not just any old D&D style patches, they're clues to help you solve a much bigger puzzle that exists
Okay.
inside of this thing. It's not just a jacket, it's the world's first ARG jacket. You heard that
Slay,
right.
I
The
guess.
World first. It's not every day that you create like the first of something, but to all my research, I don't think a product like this has ever existed. We've actually been working for the past 2 years to make something like this happen, working with garment manufacturers to sew secrets into places that they've never even thought about before. Obviously, I don't want to give too much away because part of the fun is letting you guys solve this for yourself, but we pulled out all the stops
Ooh,
to
that
be a
looks
piece of clothing that you
cool.
can actually experience. This thing is premium to the max, and if you manage to solve it, you get a special final patch to show that you are truly the puzzle master. So go ahead, head on down to the description and be a part of history. Grab yourself the first ever piece of ARG clothing and
Slay, I
the
guess.
first in
Looks
our
cool.
series of quest jackets. Roll an investigation check to see if you've got what it takes. Today we finish milking.
Look, a cow.
I mean, covering
So cute.
the major mysteries of Security Breach. And you know what? I think I solved it. Or at least I think I've solved most of it. 7 years ago, I made this video, The Clue That Solves Five Nights at Freddy's, where we put together all the pieces to support Dream Theory. The concept
Okay.
of the first 4 games of the series were all a collection of nightmares happening inside the mind of a child. In that episode, there were lots of points of evidence, but ultimately the conclusion hinged on one key design detail, the alarm that brought each night to a close at 6 o'clock a.m. A grandfather clock
Okay.
for 3 games and a digital
True.
clock for number 4. 3
Yes.
games in the crying child's house where we see a grandfather clock, the 4th in a hospital right before he dies, which ironically enough is the one whose gameplay is happening in a recreation of the house. Oh, there's a reason this series is so difficult to talk about. Anyway, the
Lol.
reason I bring that video up is because today's theory works largely in the same way. Over the past few FNAF episodes, I've been trying to make heads or tails of security breach, pulling at what, to me, felt like the strongest thread. Gregory as the crying child, reborn in a robot body. Him reuniting with his brother Michael in the form of Glamrock Freddy and his sister Elizabeth in the form of Vanessa. And we've covered a lot of evidence trying to support that claim.
Oh, he can drive?
Design, colors,
isn't that dangerous?
Voice lines, robotic eyes, the satisfying narrative arc that it provides the game's 3-star ending. I mean, it's a lot. There are 2 episodes that are jam-packed full of discussion around exactly this. But today, I finally have my smoking gun.
A gun.
The clue that takes it from just a controversial theory to, at least in my mind, largely proven fact. Just like with the clocks and the dream theory, it's the one clue that is so specific, so intentional that it confirms that this was the main intent of the game. Until, of course, they decide to retcon it due to bad audience feedback to keep the franchise going for another 7 years. Sorry, guys, I hate to say it, but I think I'm unfortunately right this time. Gregory is a robot, and he's the crying child reborn. And by the end of today, I think you're gonna be convinced. And then from there, we're gonna talk about how all of that factors into the game's narrative and its final mystery, Patient 46. It all begins here, the post-it.
Ooh, so many posts.
What? This is unexpected.
After exploring the sewers to decommission Chica, Gregory winds up here. A room full of glowing staff bot heads and lots of post-it reminders on literally every surface.
What do all they say?
This is a flashing neon sign that says, important lore here. And yet, in online discussions, it's been largely overlooked because it's kind of sandwiched in the middle of the game, overshadowed by the animatronic spaghetti monster ending. And even though I knew that something had to be hidden in here, trying to figure it out was like finding a needle in a haystack.
So what is this? What are we looking at here?
Yeah.
It's pretty obvious.
Yeah? Is it obvious, Matt? What is it?
You get to a
Imagine reading all of that.
And you gotta start taking notes.
Post-it notes?
Yeah, you just leave them around.
Okay.
But also there's robot heads.
So with that incredible insight, I spent literal hours off camera trying to look at every single post-it note to make sure that I had the full picture. And the answer I got was, do not do that. Learn from my mistakes. It took me so long, only to discover that the game files had been dug up and the post-it textures were just there in 3 simple images. Thanks to just Xfot for uploading these to GitHub. Flush those hours of my life down the toilet. When you study these post-it textures, you actually realize that there are 3 phases to the post-it notes. One that's barely legible, another where the spelling and drawing improve slightly, and the final where they become nearly perfect. It looks like someone is trying to learn how to write and draw, slowly getting better over time. And it all begins here with a note written in binary. When you first enter the room, there's a cardboard box in the middle, which, if I were to guess, is Steel Wool trying to draw our attention to the most important post-it clues in what otherwise is a very crowded and busy-looking room. On it, we get this.
Why didn't that thing catch on fire, bro? It's candles and posts, like, jeez. It's paper and fire.
Consciousness, asking the question, why am I alive? And doing it written in binary, the language of machines, computers, robots. Elsewhere in the room is more binary that translates to hide. Whatever this thing is, it's scared and it's confused. It hides until it can better understand what or who it's meant to be. The other illegible Phase 1 notes here are random flashing thoughts, the sky, kids, love, random glimpses of memories coming into focus. The phrase, I can feel it, is this creature coming into consciousness. And this right here, you are something family, which looks like Afton family, but it's pretty unclear. In short,
so badly written, but okay.
In binary, but as more and more memories start to take hold, it begins to write in normal alphabetic characters. When you dive into the notes from phases 2 and 3, though, things start to get much clearer.
Cute tiny drawing.
And text revolving around birthday parties, happy place, birthday time, family, a pile of presents.
Oh, so cute.
Let's get snack, fun, friends forever, pizza time.
So cute. That's adorable.
Shattering for a series about pizza restaurants. But then there's one post-it in the Phase 3 notes that really stands out. The one clue that truly brings together the last 2 months of research. This thing is the linchpin. It's our smoking gun, my
what
friends,
is that?
And it all boils down to a present alongside 3 simple words, all for me. The party was all for me. Does that mean anything to you? Because it certainly does for me.
Okay.
In the FNAF Survival Logbook, a seemingly innocuous workbook full of pizzeria-themed activities, you have 3 voices speaking through the pages. Michael Afton, writing his answers in red pen, the vengeful spirit Cassidy using lightly faded text, and the crying child altering the physical text of the book. One conversation that happens between Cassidy and the crying child plays out like this. Cassidy says, the party was for you, and the crying
well,
child
he doesn't
responds,
refer anymore
"It
to having
was for
Chica
me,
depression.
all for me. Suddenly, all the party imagery makes sense. The balloons, the cake, the kids. This is the bite victim, the crying child, coming into consciousness and remembering the birthday party that took his life. And using this context, suddenly everything in these notes takes on a whole new meaning. In the first phase of notes, we see a clearly drawn house with a set of arrows pointing towards what looks to be a strange set of doors. Maybe another building? Which admittedly doesn't make much sense.
That's so
unless
weird.
This is the crying child, who, in FNAF 4, would walk down and to the right and then back up to go to Freddy's with his brother every single day. In the phase 3 notes, we see this close up of a bear, which would have been the last thing that the crying child saw before his head got chomped. Blue, yellow, green, and red, those are the flashing lights above the Fredbear stage as he gets bit. Or, you know, maybe it's the balloons on the nearby table for someone who can't tell the difference between blue and purple. Even things like hide and no hide relate to the crying child's behavior throughout FNAF 4. He hides under tables, and he is constantly made fun of for it throughout the game. We also see a lot of dialogue about running away, just like on the post-its. Digging deeper, we also start to see other patterns emerging. The number 7 shows up repeatedly as both a set of tally marks as well as a set of 6 faces with a smaller 7th one on the side.
Cute.
This ties us directly back to FNAF VR, where we had a glitching purple gravestone for Afton in the middle of 7 normal gravestones. 5 missing children, Charlie the puppet, and the smaller face watching on, the crying child. As it says in other notes, all my friends. There's also repeated use of three faces, 3
more
kids,
cute faces.
words
Look,
3 times, like home, 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 and fun, fun, fun. 3 slices of pizza, 3 presents, even just counting to the number 3. So what would that mean? Well, think about it. We've seen a lot of references to a house and family throughout these post-its. Seems to me like it's a reference to the 3 Afton kids. Michael,
makes sense, I guess.
Crying child himself. And the thing that brings all of it together isn't a post-it note, but instead the table higher up in the room where we see the staff bots arranged like a family at dinner. A mother and a father alongside their 3 kids. 1 red-headed pigtailed girl, 1 boy, and a kid with his head bit off. And just to hammer it all home, in the middle of the table, the collectible is a poster for Fredbear's Family Diner. The place of the bite. The place where all of this began. It looks like the robot finally figured out who he was, and he started to recreate his family. The robot is the crying child, which by proxy then has to be Gregory. And if you need further proof of humanoid robots in the game, Illy Becky on Reddit caught this detail from Sister Location. Humanoid heads, ones that look very similar to Gregory's face. Oh, and a last thing, much to everyone's excitement, there's actually a new book series coming out later this year. A new season of Fazbear Frights called Tales from the Pizzaplex, obviously referencing the location and security breach. The cover of the first book in the new series, Robot Kid. There it is.
Oh my god.
Leads us then to the last puzzle.
Well, I guess it's already done.
For those of you who don't know, there are 16 CDs around the map that you can only find once
I like
you've created
CDs.
Freddy's eyes. From there, you take the CDs to a hidden room designed to look exactly like Mike's room from Sister Location. These CDs seem to be recordings of the therapy sessions for 2 patients. Patient 71, who we mentioned last time is clearly Vanessa, and Patient 46, who we never get to hear speak.
Yeah.
And over the course of the various sessions, 46 and 71 are set up to be direct opposites of each other. Vanessa likes flowers, Patient 46 does not.
Why? Like those? The janitor on this floor has a garden and has been putting bouquets in the offices here for years. What's the problem? Oh, the flowers? I'll move them.
Vanessa likes blue skies and doesn't like dark basements. 46 prefers it dark.
I like the blue sky. I don't like dark basements.
Oh, right. Too bright. When the shade's pulled, it feels like we're in a cubbyhole or a cave, yeah?
Vanessa doesn't like candy. 46 does.
Would you like a candy?
Okay, it is confusing, but okay.
Sure, you can have a candy.
Clearly, we're meant to see these characters as opposites, which is why so many people online consider that Patient 46 might actually be Vanny, Vanessa's alter ego possessed by Glitch Trap. Or
maybe.
Evil twin sister, considering the fire ending shows us a dead Vanny on the ground and Vanessa looking down from the burning building's roof. But let's quickly talk about those 2 interpretations. First of all, Vanessa and Vanny
this is crazy.
They have to be. All the evidence leading up to this game in places like FNAF Special Delivery have pointed to a woman named Vanessa A getting mind-hacked by Afton and reluctantly following his orders. And in this game, we still have pieces of evidence. For instance, in the CDs, we learn that Vanessa is buying fake fur to make the Vanny costume.
On your breaks, it looks like you were shopping for a costume. You purchased some fake fur material. What are you gonna make?
If she's not the one wearing it, Why would she be making it?
Oh yeah,
Seeing the
that makes
fire engine
sense
here is
now.
not
I was like, why
we
she
haven't
wouldn't
been
the fur? Now
so
it makes
Vanessa's
sense.
spirit is still trapped inside that burning building, but her body has died. She is
Aw.
one person. But could the persona
What?
of Vanny actually be patient 46? Again, the evidence
Probably,
just doesn't seem to add up.
maybe.
Throughout their sessions, we get multiple indications that the therapist is speaking to a child. The way they speak to patient 46 here.
You don't want me to get in trouble, do you? I could be put in the corner for a timeout. Yeah, you think that's funny, huh?
And again here.
Tragedy always leads to a feeling of loss. It's a hole that feels funny, right?
The way they explain simple words.
And I'm surprised by your knowledge of computers. You're something of a phenom. Do you know what that word means? It means you have unusual skill, like a hacker.
The way they point out that 46 doesn't fit into the chair.
That chair doesn't really fit you, does it?
They even mention the fact that they specifically work with children.
Okay, it's a kid.
I work with people of all ages, from little kids to the very elderly.
I understand that therapists would want to treat alters as they see themselves, but this just doesn't seem to fit. At no point do we get an indication that Vanny sees herself
what is happening?
as a child. But now let's go back to what we assume we know about 46. They're a kid, they like the dark, they like candy, they're really good with computers. In fact, they're a bit robotic themselves, answering questions in cold, detached ways.
When I read your account of what happened, it came across as, well, more of an objective rather than a subjective narrative. Oh, sorry. You don't know what that means, do you?
Here again, we get another example of the therapist having to explain a relatively simple word. Now, look at our post-it room. It's a dark cave underground, outright labeled as "This is my home." On the central
Maybe it's
cardboard box
Gregory.
is a drawing of candy. And a robot would be emotionally detached and would also be great at hacking. Heck, the therapist does tell patient 46 to write down their feelings.
I suggested you write down exactly what made you so sad and scared.
Yeah, I think
And
it's
if this
Gregory.
isn't an example of that, I don't know what is. Taking it one step further, if I'm right in saying that Gregory is indeed the robot that came into consciousness here, that's why he doesn't fit into the chair. He's a kid.
Yeah.
That's also the reason Steel Wool couldn't let us hear
Finally,
46's
hello,
voice
Night
throughout these
Falls.
therapist tapes. It would give away the game. It would immediately take away the mystery of who 46 is, since we hear Gregory.
This was the thing that you didn't want me to get spoilers, right?
Actively be seeking out therapy. He's not in a school of any kind, and he's not employed, so it wouldn't be mandated. What is going on here? Well, over the course of the 16 CDs, we listen as both patient 46 and Vanessa visit a total of 5 therapists, all of whom are implied to have been mangled to death by machinery. But the deaths here aren't arbitrary. If you track the tapes,
That's
each therapist
crazy.
ends up getting killed off immediately after they start asking Vanessa about encrypted messages that she's been receiving from a mysterious figure.
Your performance reviews are good, but a routine check of your online history has revealed that you spent quite a bit of time with someone in an encrypted conversation. We have transcripts, and I've read them.
Dead the next session.
The
Oh my
messages you're
God.
getting seem very manipulative in nature. You know who I'm talking about. Why won't you open up about it? These files are full of details.
What is
about your
happening?
life.
The time said got me time to do the thing. Okay, Night Falls.
Same thing.
When I saw some of your recent encrypted
Okay.
conversation logs, at first, I thought I was looking at more examples of you just talking with yourself. Then I realized it was different. When I study this, it sounds like there is someone else responding to you.
A third therapist bites the dust. The therapists
Bites the dust? What?
Bad childhoods, work history. One therapist even confronts patient 46 with all the other dead therapists. Nothing.
Jeez.
No response. It's only once the encrypted messages come up that they're suddenly marked for death.
Oh my
We also
God.
know that it's 46 doing the killing here. The dead therapists are a complete surprise to Vanessa.
Hi, go ahead. Sit down.
I don't know you. What happened to...
Oh, we'll get to know each other in no time.
But to 46, it's just business as usual.
Why did you lie? Why don't we come back to this another day? You're shaking your head as though that's not going to happen.
He's shaking his head because he knows that now she is also marked for death. To me,
Oh
all of
my
this
God.
screams of 46 keeping tabs on Vanessa. He's going to therapy not for himself.
Why they
but
don't
rather
go to jail for
follow her
killing
actions,
people
making
then?
sure that she's not saying anything that she shouldn't about these encrypted messages. And when the therapists do get too close to the truth, they're bumped off. We learned
My
in one
God.
of the last CDs that patient 46 isn't being manipulated, but is instead the one doing the manipulation.
Oh my
I
God.
don't think you're being manipulated here. I think you're the one doing the manipulating. No
My
comment.
God.
Huh?
Putting 2 and 2 together,
My
reveals that
God.
Patient 46 is the one communicating with Vanessa. He's controlling her life for some reason. In fact, 46 appears to be the reason Vanessa is working at the Pizzaplex in the first place. One odd detail of the in-game messages is that Vanessa was not supposed to get the security job. In the message
Why?
for deletion, we see that Vanessa's lack of security experience gets the interviewer to not recommend her for the job, and yet she's hired anyway, despite, as it says in another message, no prior qualifications. In both messages, we're told that it's an internal reference coming from the top that got her the job. Someone has brought Vanessa here for a specific purpose, and who better than a hacker that's clearly established to be in the Pizzaplex's emails? Patient 46, Gregory. In short, it looks like Gregory is manipulating the situation, determined to get
Okay,
Vanessa to work at the
Gregory's mean.
Pizzaplex, following her to all her mandated therapy sessions, and ultimately killing off anyone that gets
Oh
too close
my
to the
God.
truth. I mean, after all, Gregory is not opposed to using a bit of violence to get what he wants.
We have to get these.
Jeez.
We can upgrade you.
He's also not opposed to lying about it.
This upgrade, it was Chica's. Please be honest. How did you get it?
When I was in the kitchen earlier, she fell into some sort of garbage smasher.
Is she okay?
Well, she's still functional.
But
Oh my
why
God.
is he going to all of this
Gregory's
effort? Well, combine it with
mean.
what we saw in the post-it room. There's a family reunion scene. Multiple post-its referring to family, the 3 siblings, their house. Remember what I said earlier? A robot has come into consciousness and is trying to reclaim what he lost, his family. He wants the family back together, and so he's doing everything in his power to make that happen. Using his
Oh my
hacking
God.
skills, he's managed to break into staff files, so he knows that there's something off about Vanessa. Maybe he even knows that his dad's consciousness is inside of her. He's also got his brother and Freddy and his dad in the basement. The family in this game
Okay.
is truly coming together again. reclaiming
What about the
fine
mom,
child
though?
once lost. And that's it. That's the whole theory done. There are definitely no holes or flaws to anything I just said. Don't look any deeper than everything I just told you. All right, fine. There might be a few
And
holes to all of
jeez.
this explanation. Namely, some of the info that we get from the last 2 CDs. If Patient 46 is Gregory, then why is he glitching the system to make all the animatronics scarier? If he lured
Yeah.
Vanessa to the Pizzaplex, then why would he then be avoiding her throughout the game? Why would he be surprised to see Afton in the basement if he's trying to bring the family all together? There's also the mystery of the whole parent story. 46 is said to have good parents.
None of what you said in your file about your parents was true. The truth is, you had great parents, a great childhood. Why did you lie?
But how would records
Yeah.
of good parenting exist
Okay,
for
then
a
who is the
robot
guy
who
in the
presumably had no
therapy
parents? Or
session?
the crying child, whose records presumably would say that he was dead. Or even if you don't believe those theories, if 46 is Gregory and Gregory's just a homeless kid, that doesn't sound like he would have had a great childhood or any sort of home life.
Yeah,
But the
then
kicker,
it's
the
not
one thing that
him.
makes this really difficult to explain is this email that I had long forgotten about from FNAF AR. Strap in for this one, friends. Hey Ness, I hope things are good. I saw you ordered 3 lifelike human male rubber masks, and I was dying to ask what they're for. Sounds to me like a robot kid is confirmed, but it also sounds to me
Okay.
like Vanessa built it or gave rise to this robot kid. If so, then I ask again, why would Gregory be avoiding her throughout the game? I mean, the best I could come up with is that somehow Gregory escaped and is now convinced that Vanessa is trying to shut him down because of his rogue programming. I mean, it's not a bad
Okay.
idea, but then why would he be luring her to the Pizzaplex? It's like one half of each explanation works, but then when you try to connect it back with like the other
It's so
half of the
confusing
theory, they end up
already.
contradicting each other, which is really frustrating. There are 2 other options. First, the robot kid from the post-it room is entirely brand new, or the second
Okay.
option is it's someone that we never see in the game, Baby. Now, the first option of a brand new character,
Maybe,
yeah, it's cool, I
maybe.
guess. I can't really speculate about that. It could literally go anywhere and solve everything. As for option 2, Baby, just like with Gregory, there are certain things that fit and other things that just don't. Baby, like
Oh my god,
Gregory,
get tiny
could not
dinosaurs,
be
thank you,
together.
Knifells.
Baby has always wanted to make Daddy proud, so she'd be quite happy to kill off therapists that got too close to the truth, just like we see with
Jeez.
46. And she would willingly spread the Afton virus to make the animatronics scary in order to bring Daddy back. If she's using illusion discs, or if she acts like she does in the books, then it's possible that she'd be able to take the form of a child and make up a backstory. She's also
Yeah,
a character
true.
that canonically loves disguises, just like Patient 46.
It reminds you of a mask? Like a disguise? Yeah, I can see that. You like the idea of being disguised? Disguises let you be sort of invisible people, don't they?
There's also a line about the therapist being able to see patient 46's eyes.
That's better. On this side of the desk, I can see your eyes.
And we know that Baby's eye color has always been an important detail in the past.
Yeah.
But as with Gregory, there are still a number of holes with this line of thinking. Baby/Elizabeth likes flowers. Patient 46 doesn't. We also know Baby hates being in the basement of Sister Location. So then why, as Patient 46, would she prefer to live in a cave rather than blue sky? In short, as I wrap up my overall coverage of Security Breach, I guess I gotta summarize it like this. This game is frustrating from a lore standpoint. Smaller questions like Glamrock Bonnie and Golden Freddy, yeah, those are pretty easy to answer. But when it comes to what this game was actually about, no one theory actually solves it all in a clean way. There are references to every corner of the FNAF universe in here, but as a result, nothing fits cleanly together to solve everything. There are pieces that always dangle or always contradict something else. Do I think the crying child is here based on the post-it room? Yes, absolutely. Is he Gregory? I mean, right now, I think that he's our best option. Is he also Patient 46? It seems like he's trying to be, but there are just a lot of holes there. And there are holes in the Baby theory too. And that honestly just leaves the option of a mysterious third party pulling the strings behind the scenes, which on one hand would be welcome. I'd love to see a new character inserted into this lore. But on the other hand, it also feels unsatisfying because it's like, well, that came out of nowhere. This franchise has never operated like that, so it feels weird for it to start acting that way now. Individually, small pieces of the mystery make sense, but when you take a step back and look at the wider lore of this series, how it connects to other games, how it connects to the wider story arc that's been created, that's when things start to fall apart. And I think that is what is so frustrating with this title. So that's what I'm left with. Let me know what your thoughts are. Are you seeing things that I'm not? Hopefully it at least sparks
I don't have no idea either, bro.
You can let me know live right now. I am officially live with other members of Team Theorist, other FNAF tubers, all of us covering things about this game, my hot takes on the Security Breach lore, other theories that we haven't covered yet, and of course, just generally chatting about what we thought of the game, where we think the franchise is going, and what we predict will be the upcoming DLC. Nothing is off the table, friends. So if you have FNAF theories yourself, throw them out there and we can discuss them live. Link is down in the description right now. Stop on by, join us for some good old-fashioned live theory crafting. And while you're down there, just one last reminder to head on over to our merch store to get your hands on the first of its kind puzzle jacket. There's a very limited number of these available because it was very costly to make them, so if you want your hands on the first ever puzzle jacket, make sure you're checking it out in the description below. See you over on the live stream, and as always, remember, it's all just a theory. A game theory. Thanks for watching.
Okay, this is the last video and then it's Roblox time.
4 months without a single FNAF episode. Feels like it's a brand new day for the channel.
This is the last video, yeah. Then it's Roblox. Yay, so cute, Knifles. How many videos you have? I'm on the 35.
And now, time to relax.
No, 37. We missed 36 for the next days. Oh my god, that shark.
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Game Theory, the show where old habits and old animatronics die hard. Today we're talking about the 12th and final installment of the Fazbear Frights book series, Felix the Shark.
Oh my, Felix the Shark?
Final book.
My god.
Next three come out later this year.
To watch? Oh, I think YouTube I like Shark, yeah. In YouTube I have like 1,700 videos, I guess. Now here watching it, I still need to watch other 36, but that will be for other streams.
Reads, quote, stories that didn't make the cut for the first 11 books, which, okay, they didn't appear in numbers 1 through 11, but still, they wound up getting published anyway as the 12th one. Is that such a big deal? In fact, because they're last, they're probably in the most important position of any of the stories. And, well, you
Robot in water, true. It's a waterproof.
Than the 33 other Fazbear Frights that were produced. It's not really true. You cut the story about an animatronic shark, but you kept the one where a boy turns into a traffic sign. You cut girl solves dead body shoved into animatronic suit mystery, but kept tiny guppy bodies. You cut a
Guppy bunny
Mike going around collecting haunted FNAF memorabilia, and yet kept Fazgoo. The truth is, we don't really know why these were cut. It could have been a quality thing. It could have been that they confused the lore, or maybe, just maybe, it could have been that they were intentionally designed to set up secret puzzles that we were meant to solve, and those puzzles never got fully realized. Spoiler alert, I think it might have been that last one. I believe that Scott was planning to use this final book as a launching point. The
It would
start
be
of a
cool if we
real-world treasure hunt that would have
should have all
required using the books,
also.
games, even stuff like the coloring book in order to crack.
Could have
I suspect that this was a riddle so
would be
far-reaching
cool
and so complex, it would have required the
if we
cooperation of
could
FNAF
have all-
theorists from across the globe. Today, I'm gonna explain the clues that led
Okay,
me to this
how many
conclusion, but
Roblox
more
block tales there
importantly, I'm
are?
gonna ask you for your help. You see,
No, if also the phrase is kind of confusing, sorry.
I can't be sure unless you all double check for me. A few years
Oh
ago,
yeah,
I
that
asked for
box
all
is
your
still
help
not
in
opened
solving the
after all
security
these years,
logbook,
I
and a day
guess.
later, we discovered the name of Cassidy. Today, I'm gonna ask you for something similar. I'm gonna take you on a journey through some weird corners of FNAF lore and some loose threads that I see in this new book, and then I'm gonna ask you for the favor. I need you to help me either solve this thing once and for all, or debunk it. And who knows, maybe this is the push that we need to get the next major answer to the game's lore. But before you help me with the lore, I was wondering if you'd help
more
me another
lore.
way. It's time for our newest collection.
Yeah, but
of
why is
theory
there a
world
shark
merch. And as
in the
always, you
books?
checking out the items goes a long way to help fund everything.
I guess it may help in the lore. I'm not sure.
If you're a fan of analog horror, the X
Analog horror.
51, because it's all
Area
about
51?
boards, sky watching, and
Ooh, Sky. I like the Sky. Like, if all the time we have played Block Tales gets turned into one video. Oh, okay, I guess I can do that if you want.
Non-stop in my office since I got the finalized prototype a month ago. It is
I already posted videos, but I guess if you want. Oh my god, so cute! Snowfall's cute tiny face. Thank you.
Perfect item for you. The lava lamp also partners really well with another brand new item in our roster, the T-Man sunglasses. These things are perfectly balanced.
Ooh, glasses.
A classic design that perfectly frames
Number
your face with
36
a
is
fun
next.
Game Theory green on the
No, we are
insides
not
of the
good.
arms, but also
Yes,
keeping a muted
yes, but we'll not watch today. After this one, it's Roblox
I
time.
struggled finding sunglasses that I love, so I decided to make some sunglasses that I absolutely love.
It was just texting.
Speaking of things I love, this new
Aye.
jogger set. I mean, just look at the picture on screen right now. I don't know if I've ever felt that good.
What
in a
happened?
picture in my
Is
life.
everything
And if it made
okay?
me feel that good posing in an awkward photo shoot. Imagine how great you'll feel in it, lounging around or out and about.
You know,
Soft
like
and
in
lightweight, but
4
still
streams we'll
warm and
finish this
stylish,
playlist,
and
don't you
of course,
worry.
complete with thumb holes. Also, it wouldn't
Thumb
be a new
holes.
Theoryware merch drop without a slew of new hoodies, t-shirts, and jackets. All of it with embroidered details to give you
Ooh,
quality
okay.
that you can feel. This isn't just your typical YouTuber spray-on design merch. These items are all custom cut and sewn to deliver you actual high-quality garments. Garments that you'll actually want to wear and that will last for as many
After
times
this
as you
one,
wanna
there
wear
will
them. Just
only
look
be
at the liner
36
of this
videos
jacket.
left.
It is literally
Finally!
a
Well, how much
redacted
time are we on
document, which is
this
the code I
already?
specifically requested the team execute on. I mean,
That's
where
kind
else
of
do you find
crazy. We
one
are
that
here
has
so
cool
much,
details like
so
that?
much
In my opinion,
streams
it
in
just
here.
elevates the design, and I think that you'll appreciate it too. Last item that I'll specifically call out
Ooh,
here, our
aliens.
first ever button-down shirt. Ripped straight out of Roswell, New Mexico, the alien print here is super
Roswell
fun.
is
We
in
custom designed this
Mexico?
fabric from the ground up to make the shirt. It's also
Oh, New
perfectly
Mexico,
accessorized
okay.
with a tinfoil hat.
Oh,
So
cute
grab
tiny
yourself a
dinosaurs.
garment
Thank
that
you,
goes perfectly with
Neufels.
some red yarn and your conspiracy theory boards. A handful of items are available right below this video in the merch shelf, or you just head on over to theoryware.com to check out the full collection. And as always, thank you guys so much for the support. Now back to FNAF. In order to unwrap the secret FNAF ARG, let's start by breaking down the stories in Felix the
What?
Shark. Shall we?
Wait,
The final
am I
story,
not a
Board the Band,
subscriber?
is probably the most obviously related to
What do
existing
you
FNAF
mean,
lore.
a subscriber
In
in
it, a small boy named
YouTube?
Timmy becomes obsessed with everyone's favorite pizza murder franchise, Freddy Fazbear's. His mother finds him a strange Freddy mask on the internet.
I have a YouTube channel, but it's okay if you don't follow me. It's okay, I don't mind. Some people watch on Twitch, some people watch on YouTube. It's no problem, don't you worry.
Led to an abandoned Freddy Fazbear's building by a shadowy figure. The whole thing gives off some very
But now I saw
solid
something
midnight
wrong.
motor
Okay, don't you
vibes. In
worry.
order to rescue him, his
It
mother teams up with a
happens.
former Freddy's security guard named Mike. Turns out the Freddy mask was possessed by one of the children.
Possessed, oh my god. Oh, thank you.
The mask, the spirit transferred into his body, which allowed it to control him. When Mike and Timmy's mom arrive at the restaurant, Timmy is on stage in Freddy's position, performing alongside Bonnie and Chica. After getting attacked by the puppet, Mike manages to get the Freddy mask back on Timmy, which captures the spirit. He then puts
Thank
the
you
mask
so
back on,
much.
which
I feel
Freddy
good
gets
now.
the spirit back to where it belongs. Now, I gotta admit, I got really
So good.
excited when I
Okay,
read the
more
story.
hydration.
I suspected for a while that
Again, okay.
guard Mike Schmidt was really Michael Afton going from location to location to undo the evils of his
Thank
father,
you.
William. That's why we play as Mike through pretty much every installment of the series up through Ultimate Custom Night. It's why
So
Mike's
good.
name appears in Sister Location, why Fazbear Frights burns down in FNAF 3,
Oh my god,
and why
cute
the
tiny
security
face,
guard in
thank you,
FNAF 2 is fired
Noifalls.
for tampering with animatronics and odor, just like Mike was in FNAF 1. Up until now, that theory's never been confirmed, but this story seems to be strong evidence for exactly that idea. A security guard named Mike going around collecting the old artifacts from Freddy.
Why would he
locations in
collect
order to
that?
help free the spirits of those trapped within.
Well, I
it's
guess.
already pretty cool and totally made reading this book worthwhile. Anytime we can get more evidence to support a theory within the franchise, absolutely worth it. But while You're the Band was explicitly
You're the
lore-heavy,
Band?
other two stories were equally fascinating, but
Felix the Shark,
there were
lol.
details that felt odd or
That's a
out of place.
cute name, I
Some
guess.
characters that seemed oddly specific in a way that just triggered my lore hunting senses. In the title story,
Ooh.
Felix the Shark, we follow a young man named Dirk who's reminiscing with his friends about their shared experiences with Freddy Fazbear's. However,
Okay.
Dirk's memory is slightly different to everyone else's. He's convinced that there was an extra animatronic, a shark. named
Oh,
Felix. Since his
wow.
friends make fun of him, Dirk sets off on a cross-country quest to prove that he's not crazy. It takes him 6 restaurants, but Dirk eventually does learn the truth. It turns out Felix was made by the owner of one very specific Freddy Fazbear's after his son tragically drowned. Why would that lead him to a shark animatronic? Because it was the shark that actually pushed the body back to shore.
Bro, that's kinda bad. Why would you do that? Then make an animatronic to remind you of that
An
happening?
abandoned water park. But the weird part isn't the where, but rather the how of finding Felix. You see, Dirk is
Okay.
only able to find the pizzeria using a series of clues that are found in a random novel written by the creator's daughter. In universe, Felix's creator also had a daughter who grew up to become a popular author. And in one of her
Okay.
books, The Dogged Dogmatist, she hides
What?
a series of clues in plain sight within the book's dialogue. These clues ultimately prove meaningless to the characters in the book because they weren't meant for the characters. They were instead meant for the readers to give them information they needed to find Felix.
Okay.
It is very weird. Anyway, Dirk figures all
Yeah,
of this
don't
out
you tell
and
me this
confronts
is
the author. She
weird.
gives him her butterfly necklace, and he uses all of this Indiana Jones style to unlock a secret key hidden in the bottom of an empty pool at the water park. The key unlocks the path to the secret Freddy's where Dirk finally finds Felix. And then Dirk dies by climbing into the tank with Felix because these characters always have to die in the stories. It's dumb,
Lol,
but,
I
you know,
guess.
so be it. Anyway, you see what's so
This is
weird
so
about all
weird.
this, right? Out of nowhere, this story is talking about clues to a real-world location hidden inside of another book. Clues that are meaningless to the characters, but meaningful to the readers. Not only did
Okay.
this stand out to me as a suspiciously meta moment, but it also got me to immediately think about the previous Fazbear Frights installment, Prankster. You see, in preparation for the release of Felix the Shark, I wanted to refresh myself on all the previous stories. There are 33 of these things after all. It's a lot to keep
Jeez.
track of. So I turned to another book, the recently released Ultimate Guidebook, which, if you don't know,
Oh,
has
so
summaries
cute.
of literally
Christmas
everything
Freddy.
that's ever happened in the Freddy Fazbear
That's
universe,
adorable.
from the games to the books to the fan theories. Basically, if you're trying to catch up with the series quickly, it's definitely worth a read. And since this is the third and final addition to the book, one written by Scott Cawthon, you know that whatever is deemed most relevant for the lore is going to be called out within its pages. Anyway, each Fazbear Fright story has its own little summary
I got
page
me
providing
too,
a general
Pimmy.
plot overview as well as a list of connections between
What?
the story and the games. Not everything here is useful, but it definitely gets you into the mindset of the authors, and it helps you see some of the connections that the
Okay,
stories
no,
are
false, I
drawing.
guess.
Again, if it doesn't
I
make
don't
the
know what
cut
that
here in this
means,
book, you might
sorry.
be embarking down the wrong path. Likewise, if something is called out within these pages, it's at least worth considering when theory crafting. TLDR, as I was getting close to the end of my refresher course, I noticed this in the new lead section for the title story of Book 11, Prankster. Quote, some of the
Okay.
puzzle clues, such as Stinger Moot and even more frights, have implications beyond the plot. Careful readers may want to give these scenes a second look. Implications
What?
beyond the plot, you say?
That's
Just like
kinda
the
weird
Felix
to
the Shark,
say.
it appears that the Ultimate Guide is also pointing us to meta clues within a different book. Clues that are meant for us, the readers, rather than for the characters in the story. So, I went back to Prankster. In this story, the main character Jeremiah is trying to save his friends from a mysterious glitchy voice that's freed itself from a FNAF VR game that's
Okay, that's weird, I guess.
Along the way, he's presented with a series of riddles. Stinger Moot, which is an anagram of testing room. Give me one and I'll make more, each one like the one before. What am I? Your next clue contains even more frights. To get there, you just need to follow the lights.
Okay, it's like, I have to guess stuff?
And for the key to find where your friends hide, roll up your sleeves and reach inside. Now, I've gone back and forth over these clues multiple times, but it felt like a lot of them were just pointing back to stuff that we'd already discussed in previous theories. The "give me one and I'll make more" felt like a reference to the glitch trap cult, using FNAF VR's tapes to infect more playtesters.
Okay.
The following the lights clues maybe could be a reference to Princess Quest, where we have to light the lanterns to reveal the truth and eventually set Vanessa free, but none of this was new information. We've talked about all of this stuff in depth. Security Breach seemed to confirm some of this stuff, and to be honest, the connections I could make were speculative at best. I tried rearranging the letters into anagrams, didn't really get anything interesting. I even considered that maybe the Stinger Moot and Even More Frights clues were literal. The Stingers of the Fazbear Frights books were the epilogues about the Stitch Raids, so maybe if the Stinger is moot, then the Stitch Raids
I guess that story is ended already.
Even More Frights might refer to the next set of books.
The Stinger one.
I mean, sure, that's a valid explanation, but it was speculation at best, and also pretty darn lame. Why would you go to all the trouble of hiding meta clues like this about stuff that feels ultimately underwhelming? These aren't really questions that people were asking themselves, you know? So, at least according to the Ultimate Guide, there's definitely something hidden inside of that prankster story, and I'm not exactly sure what it is. But there was even more that was suspicious with Felix the Shark. You see, Dirk doesn't just find the secret Freddys thanks to written clues inside of a random book. There's also a very specific drawing in the middle of that book.
So
Here's
beautiful.
the quote describing the Dogged Dogmatist, the book where the hidden clues are from. Quote, "The man's search for the creature was convoluted on the whole, but certain lines in the book went beyond convoluted. They just didn't make sense. Neither did the drawing in the middle of the book, an ornate and frilly sketch of what looked like butterflies and flowers. The drawing was never
so beautiful,
in the book, and it couldn't be related to any of the story. Were the odd lines and drawings some kind of code? For what purpose? And that's not the only time drawings are brought up in this one story. There was yet another odd reference in Felix the Shark that jumped out to me. Quote again, I'd forgotten all about Freddy's, but yeah, now I remember. I loved the Freddy's coloring books. That's what started my drawing.
There's
Eventually
coloring
I got tired of
books.
coloring and just drew the figures. Last year, the official FNAF coloring book released, which for a normal franchise would be a big old who cares moment. But here, where the biggest character reveals
lol, and I love coloring books.
Yeah, I wouldn't put anything past this franchise. So it felt strange to mention a real-world item for it only to mean nothing. So, of course, I
these
bought myself
appeared.
the coloring book and the official How to Draw book. I went through the pages over and over and over again, but the only thing I was drawing was a blank. Seriously though, I couldn't find anything. Loads of cool pieces of artwork, like this twisted Chica that's only ever mentioned by name, but nothing major. I checked with black lights, I heated up a page or two to see if it would reveal some invisible ink. Nothing. Or at least nothing that I could
What
find.
if it's
Then
literally
what if this
a
wasn't about solving the mystery
painting
within
book
the story, but instead
to
something
color?
bigger, something more real? The clues in Dirk's book didn't make any sense until you were in the right place at the right time. This could all be hinting at an ARG, where just like Dirk, if you find the location, suddenly the clues that people had been theorizing about for months start to fall into place. Which leads us to the final story of Felix the Shark, The Scoop. In this story, a young girl named Mandy is an online FNAF theorist. No joke, she even signs off one of her posts by saying, and I quote, "I can't share all my secret facts yet until I solve this game theory."
No
Anyway,
way,
Mandy
that's
is the core of
slay.
FNAF 3. Literally FNAF 3 the game. It is mentioned explicitly, only to discover a hidden picture of a building. She tracks it down and she learns about a real-life missing children's incident. After a few nightmares where the spirit of the dead child appears, she ends up going to the location only to find an old animatronic bear giving off a nasty smell. Surprise,
bro.
surprise, the kid was inside of there the whole time. Mandy is praised as a hero for finally finding the missing child, and she closes out her blog by saying, quote, "I will probably never know for certain how this mysterious building is connected to the FNAF universe. The only thing I am certain of is if the creator wanted us to know, I think he would tell us." Wow. Just
What?
wow.
Oh my, that's kind of breaking the fourth wall,
If
no?
Scott to tell us anything, we'd know next
But
to
okay.
nothing about this franchise's lore. Just saying. Anyway, outside of the heavy references in this story to theorists and the real-world game of FNAF 3, the weirdest thing about this one is that it contains a lot of specific
Planet.
details as to where the events of the
Whee!
story take place. 33 Fazbear Frights in, and no other story in the franchise features this level of detail. The cities, the street names, file names, locations of buildings, details that are seemingly inconsequential to the greater story, and in pretty much every other book would be skimmed over or kept vague. When Mandy finds this mysterious image in the game files, she traces it back to Utah. Yes, the actual US state. This fact is further solidified when Mandy's mom takes her on a business trip to Cedar City.
Square.
City in Utah
Looks like a
to
square,
complete the
though.
investigation. Now this is where the trail starts to go cold, because what Mandy's looking for is an old cinema on Willowfield Road in Peace Valley, which after a lot of Google searches I can tell you just doesn't exist. At least
Okay.
not in Utah. However, in the story we do learn that Peace Valley is only 15 minutes on highway from Cedar City, so I looked up where you can drive to in 15 minutes from the center of Cedar City. And it turns out there's a very small town just to the south called Canaraville. So I hopped on Google Street View to check out other details that the book mentioned.
That's so cute, tiny, I don't know, tiny stickman, I guess.
Unfortunately, neither of these things seem to exist in Canaraville. They do have a post office, and it's near a corner, but it's more like the middle of the street. And so shy of me buying a plane ticket to go to the middle of nowhere Utah myself, my options were once again drying up. So, okay, but what about the actual game? The game Mandy is playing is specifically called out to be FNAF 3. I wondered if Scott had maybe retroactively put a file into the game that maybe everyone's missed, so I went over to Steam and looked at the update logs, but the game hasn't been updated since April of 2015. I very much doubt that Scott's been playing a 7-year-long con, especially since Into the Pit, the first Fazbear Frights book, didn't hit store shelves until December of 2019. But Mandy wasn't just playing FNAF 3, it's explicitly mentioned that she's playing the FNAF 3 mobile port. So I took a look at those update logs. Same situation. The game hasn't been updated since February of 2020. Now, we don't know when this story got cut in the 2 years of Fazbear Frights run, so it could have been in existence then, but I'll be honest, I do not have the elite hacker skills to bust open a mobile game to look for the files. And so, just like that, I was out of options, out of clues, out of ideas. Gotta be honest, I feel kinda defeated on this one. Weeks of looking through these books trying to find something that just wasn't clicking, and yet I couldn't shake it. The whole thing gave me some big Gravity Falls ARG.
Gravity Falls.
For those of you who don't know, one of my favorite TV shows of all time, Gravity Falls, did
Gravity Falls is really cool.
ARG back in 2016. It was a series that was all about hidden mysteries, ciphers, secret codes, complete with a book, much like the survival logbook, that you could buy that contained puzzles and secrets for the fan community to solve. And this ARG, launched after the conclusion of the show, tasked fans of the series from all corners of the map to work together in a quest that would eventually lead them to a statue of the show's villain, Bill Cipher, hidden out in the middle of the woods. Maybe Flash was seeding out clues for something similar. Or maybe there were plans to do a similar sort of treasure hunt, but the plans got scrapped along the way. I can't be sure, but there were just too many weird details here that didn't seem to be mere coincidences. Regardless, I'd been vested, but that didn't mean I was done. The last time I felt like this was when the survival logbook released, but instead of giving up, I threw the clues that I'd noticed out to you guys, the theorist community, to help me solve it, and you came through. We found Cassidy's name, a name that has since been confirmed by Scott himself. So here I am again at the end of my tether, asking you for help once more. It seems like something's here, but if it is, I can't figure it out on my own. Maybe you're a theorist from Utah and you know the locations I'm talking about. Maybe you do know how to break open the files of a mobile game. Maybe you're as obsessed with the franchise as I am, and you
how much left of the video?
And you noticed something on those pages that I don't.
1 minute.
So beat us yet.
1 minute and it's gonna be Roblox time.
You've gotten yourself some answers, or maybe just another lead, head on over to the Game Theorist subreddit to post your findings. I'm gonna be keeping a very close eye on this one, because
oh my god, you're so cute, Knifels. That's adorable.
Down in the description below to check out the Game Theorist subreddit. And speaking of what's below the video, one final reminder about the new Theoryware, which is available
I'm awaiting voice chat. Okay, don't you worry. I will be there in a bit.
I'm super excited to finally be showing it to you. Also, I'm just gonna say it, if you do want the lava lamp, which I think is gonna be our hottest seller, both literally and figuratively, buy that one today or tomorrow. I'm pretty sure that one will probably sell out in a day or two. And some of these others,
almost
like
some seconds,
Broadcast and the Data Hunter sweatshirt, if I were to guess, are gonna be close behind. So if you have a theory yourself and you want to show off your theorist pride while helping to support everything we do here on the channel, grab some of this new collection before it gets redacted from the record and hidden in an underground vault. Merch shelf with selected items is right below the video, and the full roster is available right now on Theoryware.com. Thank you again for your support with the merch, thank you again for helping me to solve this FNAF ARG, and thank you as always for watching. Remember, it's all just a theory.
A game theory.
I'll see you next week.
Okay, finally we finished.